So get this dude has this totally busted power. Just by taking out monsters in dungeons, he can straight up yoink their stats. He's absorbing life points, feeling like an absolute beast, right? Put on some tunes, and I bet he feels like he can take on the world. Sucks up their physical points and bam, his body instantly gets shredded and just like overflowing with power. Okay, so the tea is this all started a little while back when he was just chilling double tapping his girl's IG posts. Then his screen glitches with some wild text and he gets straight up isekai'd to another world. An announcement drops that the placement test is about to begin. He cracks his eyes open and finds himself in some creepy-ass cave, totally freaking out, yelling, "Where the heck am I? Who even am I?" Then out of nowhere, from behind him, two tall, dark, and nasty-looking goblins pop up holding these huge clubs looking like they want to turn him into a pancake. But then he clocks that they're blind and can't see him. And you know from all the manhwa he's binged, he figures his quest is probably to wreck these guys. Just then his busted sandals make this loud-ass slapping noise, and the blind goblin just swings for the fences at him. Luckily, our boy Yu is quick on his feet and dodges, otherwise he'd be kissing the floor for real. Scared out of his mind, he hits the deck, clamping his hand over his mouth to shut up his heavy breathing, thinking to himself, okay, so they're blind, which means they're super sensitive to sound and movement, and they even know how to corner you. Crap, at this rate, I'm toast. So Yu pulls a big brain move and chucks two stones off in the distance to bait him away, then grabs his chance while one's distracted and just bashes a huge rock on its dome. The thing can't see, so it just freaks out and swings its club back wildly, but it totally ends up wrecking its own teammate. LMAO. At that moment, our boy yells, "Yo, the snack is fighting back, get him!" The one that just got decked thinks the enemy is right there and unleashes this massive swing. And just like that, he played those two goblins like a fiddle. You love to see it. Dude's using 100% of his brain, I swear. Oh, but wait. The short king goblin is apparently still kicking, but it's pinned under its dead homie's body and can't move. In the end, he just bonks it with a club, sending it to the great goblin in the sky. All of a sudden, these sick golden letters start flying out of their bodies and circle around him, and a notification window pops up saying the power of the Code of Babylon is unlocked, activating the ability to absorb and analyze concepts. Basically, he can suck the power out of dead monsters to get swole. He's feeling himself now and sets out to clear this whole noob dungeon solo with this greedy little smirk. Oh yeah, it's time to grind some stats, baby. Before you know it, he's completely mopped the floor with the dungeon with goblin bodies littered everywhere. A notification pops up. Congrats, you passed the test. He's thinking, sweet, I can finally go home. But psych, he just appears in a dorm room at some place called Union Academy. They toss him a school uniform, and okay, he usually looks kind of basic, but once he suits up, it's a total glow-up. He's a whole new man. So then he goes to meet a teacher, and get this, she's a green-skinned elf. Yeah, not your typical elf, but I mean, as long as she's a baddie who's complaining, right? She introduces herself as Ya, the Academy's combat magic instructor. She's all cheerful like, yo, are you using cheat codes or something? Because for the last 500 years, nobody has ever scored that high on the placement test. He could not care less, though. He's just like, can I please go home now? But then something absolutely massive in the distance catches his eye, and the teacher tells him that thing is the whole reason the Academy even exists. She's like, we train students from all over the multiverse to help them beat that tower, which is packed with tons of dungeons and secrets. It's the Tower of Babel. And my guy is shook. He's remembering what his grandpa told him as a kid, that his ancestors were the OG masters of the tower, and that he's the one who's supposed to bring back the glory days for the Ban family, the family of masters. What a legacy. So with his professor's help, he manages to get back home. He spills the tea to his family, and his grandpa is hyped, shouting, "You found the Tower of Babel, yes. That's my grandson." His uncle literally has to chill the old man out before he gets too hype, and you know checks out for good. So once all that drama is over, Yun starts getting ready to enroll. Flash forward, we're in a low-level dungeon of the Union inside some goblin cave, and Yun is geared up for round 2. And get this, he's rocking an AK-47 with infinite ammo, and he's about to school these goblins on the power of modern civilization. The goblins don't even get a chance to attack before they get absolutely shredded by a storm of bullets. And Yun is just strolling through like nobody's brave enough to get in his way. He's thinking, I got this. I'm here. Before my power was all about language, but now that I've copped it from the goblins, everything's a whole new ballgame. With the Code of Babylon, I can literally speak, absorb, and control the concepts of anything. Every time I clap an enemy, I get concepts I can understand. The more I get, the stronger I get. And the concept I snagged from that first dungeon, the blind goblin cave, I juiced up this club with it, and now it's a beast of a weapon. And check this bad boy out, Yun said, looking at the spiked mace that was automatically handling a goblin that tried to jump him, smacking it right in the jaw, and basically giving it a dental rearrange. This is the Goblin's Club, the first item Yun ever made by pumping demonic energy into it. This thing can just pop into existence whenever he wants, and it can also shapeshift and move on its own. Seeing his new little buddy being so clutch, Yun can't help but give the mace a proud little pat. Even though it was a total fluke thanks to this thing I passed the placement test with flying colors. Feeling pretty good about his W, Yun looks over the mess he made and mutters, "Aight, time to collect the loot and check the codes." And with that, he starts sucking up all the concepts from The corpses getting a whole stat boost from the goblins. Life 5 mana, 3 demonic essence, 5 body, 3 soul, 2 leadership skill, 1 murderous intent, 1.7 and family 0.5. As he's scrolling through the pop-ups, something weird catches his eye. Among the concepts he just got. It's something I've never seen before. What even is a soul? The second he says that, his mace Bang Manga zips right over to him. Yoon's like, what's up, you want this? And Bang Manga immediately nods its head. Yeah, it nods. Seeing that Yoon is like, say less, and just gives the concept to it. Of course it's all yours. Hold up, I'll toss you the life monster and demon essence too. After saying that, Yoon gets in the zone, controlling those floaty symbols around his hand and squishing them all into a little ball. This is something I figured out, he thinks. How to take these concept fragments and just juice up the mace with them. And with that thought, he quickly pushed the sphere into this Bang Manga thing, and bam, the mace just like exploded with this insane light, like it was going through a major glow-up. The concepts totally vibed, creating this wild transformation, and an item that was completely off the charts. Hearing that notification, Yoon's eyes totally bugged out. No way! How did that even happen? Did one of the concepts I split off just level up on its own? He yelled. And right after that, the sphere of light just shattered, revealing this little snake inside. And get this, cause the fusion was so OP, it created an M-class magical beast. A magical beast. So you just mix a monster and a beast and get this. That's insane. Can I touch it? Yoon asked, slowly reaching out, totally hyped but also kinda sketched out. Luckily, the snake was super chill. It totally remembered who its master was and started nuzzling his arm, same personality and everything. I wonder if it can still morph into a gun or a shield. Yoon thought, OMG, so cute. From now on, your name is Y. Aight, before we dip, let's peep my stats. And as he said that, he pulled up his personal info panel. Okay, UN stats. Life 45.1, body 32, soul 324.5, mana 38.7, swordsmanship 14.2, leadership 1, omniscient eye 105, omniscient ear 100, tongue of God 100. Okay, let's see. The life stat is pretty much like the level in the game. Body is my physical state, duh. But why is my soul stat so ridiculously high, and stuff like the omniscient eye and ear must be tied to my language skills? You know what, I'm just gonna ignore what I don't get for now. After that, UN turned to Y and was like, so what's the verdict? Why can we blend in with our classmates now? Hearing this, Y just shook its head like crazy, looking totally embarrassed. It's cool, it's cool. The most important thing is the stats, right? UN said, trying to cheer it up. Just then, the system hit him with a notification. The dungeon core has been destroyed. You can now leave this dungeon. Do you wish to exit? All right, let's bounce. It's time for the Union. Academy entrance ceremony, UN said as he smashed the button on the screen. Instantly, he got zapped away by a magic circle. Next thing you know, he's in the Union Academy auditorium. In the huge hall, all the newbies were scrambling to find their seats. UN, of course, gets teleported smack in the middle of the hall, which made a few people around him totally jump. Whoa, so many people. But as he said this, he flipped on his omniscient eye. The omniscient eye is basically a cheat code that can read everything. Depending on how leveled up it is, it helps you get an instant vibe check on someone's aura and spirit. So the stats of everyone around him started popping up in his vision. This dude who looks like a lava rock has BBC stats, while that hot blonde guy over there is rocking an S-rank stat. Okay, impressive. Looking at these numbers, UN couldn't help but feel a little shook. As expected, the students who got in the normal way are just on a whole other level. They're at least 10 times stronger than me. But where's my seat? He wondered. Just then a voice yells from behind him. Yo, if you're from a subdimension, quit wandering around. Beat it and go over there. The owner of the voice was some massive dude who looks like a straight-up raid boss from a game. UN knew he was no match for him, so he just kinda waved and replied, oh, aight, thanks. Seeing him be such a pushover, the guy's crew just burst out laughing. But honestly, UN wasn't even mad. No wonder the regular admission kids are so cocky, he thought. They're hating on me just because I came from a subdimension. It's the same drama everywhere. The strong always gotta look down on the weak. But then, as if sensing UN's sad boy moment, a blonde guy in the distance raised his hand and called out, hey, the special admission students sit over here. UN immediately booked it over there. Is this the spot for subdimension kids? It feels like we've been exiled to the losers' table, he thought awkwardly. But when he scanned the stats of the people around him, his eyes nearly popped out of his skull. Oh my god, are these people really from subdimensions? Their stats are cracked enough to wipe the floor with all the regular kids. In UN's sights, the blonde guy had SAA stats. The white-haired girl was SSS, and the pink-haired girl was ABS. Plus, he saw 3 other stat lines, a big ol' question mark, a C, and an F. Yikes. After getting a good look at their faces, UN realized he knew the blonde dude. Wait, is that you, Lai? Yeah. Yo, is this our spot? This is sick, UN thought to himself. This guy is Lai, that handsome dude I met at the dorm before the ceremony. Our first meeting was so extra. So picture this. They're meeting in the dorm room, and Lai's version of hello is pointing his sword right at him and screaming, "Who's there?" Seeing a sword at his neck, Yuen's eyes went wide. "Dude, look at my outfit! Who else could I be? I'm a new student, your roommate," he yelled. This startled Lai, who realized his actions were maybe a little too aggressive. "Oh, my bad. I just finished my practical exam, so I'm still on edge. You okay?" "Yeah," he replied, but he was still low-key annoyed. Then he thought, this guy looks like a prince straight out of a fairy tale. A bit of a hothead, but he apologized, so it's not a total loss. Before Yuen could even talk about his test, which was just fighting a blind goblin, Lai scoffed, his voice dripping with arrogance. "That was your practical evaluation. Even a total noob with basic training can hunt a goblin. My opponents in the practical test were a whole freaking army of ghouls and ogres." With a super excited tone, he was telling his epic story while making Yuen's blood boil. It forced him to take a few seconds to give himself a pep talk. "Okay, not so bad, but this guy has zero filter." Anyway, our main character's face finally started to relax. Speaking of which, we haven't even washed up and we're already spilling tea. It's been a minute since I had someone to talk to. Same here. Lai nodded. Right after that, the guy grins, takes off his shirt, showing off a totally ripped, muscular body. "All right, let's go shower. The bathroom here is shared." "Right. Let's keep talking while we shower," he suggested super casually. Meanwhile, Lai suddenly turned as red as a tomato. You go shower first." "Huh." Yuen turned back to ask, but Lai was so embarrassed he couldn't even look him in the eye. "I'll go shower later," Lai said awkwardly, making Yuen give him a super suspicious look. Back in the present, Yuen told himself, time will totally erase this awkwardness. Besides, this is an area for the special kids, so those two must be special too. Thinking this, he turned to greet them. "Hello?" "Hi," the pink-haired girl replied, and when he saw her innocent and cute face, Yuen almost fainted from the shock. "So cute," he thought. "It's nice to meet you," he repeated. Then he looks over at the white-haired girl like, "Oh yeah, you too, sup." But get this, she's just straight up staring down Yugen with these crazy intense black eyes, and my dude is getting low-key flustered. He's like, what's good?" "That thing wrapped around your arm is pretty interesting," she says, all chill. And you know he immediately knew what she was talking about. He didn't even hesitate to summon the little snake. Like, "What you mean this little guy, y'all see this, right?" And when they saw W's adorable little face, all three of them just melted. For real, even the Ice Queen with the white hair was blushing. "OMG, so cute." "Wait, this snake was that item from before, right? It's only been a few days. How did it get this glow up so fast?" Lai asked. The pink-haired girl was basically begging, "Can I touch it? It looks so freaking adorable." Then the white-haired girl finally pipes up to introduce herself. "I'm Dujo, daughter of a martial master. What's your name?" I'm Banugan," our main character fires back. Then he asks her, "Hold up, what's a martial master? You guys have some kind of martial arts like you shoot an energy blast or something?" Hearing that, all three of them just started cracking up, leaving my dude totally confused. Even Dujo was laughing so hard she had to cover her mouth. Your guess isn't totally wrong. For real, I mean, this is a fantasy world, so a whole martial arts world existing isn't that weird, he said, laughing it off. The pink-haired girl also introduced herself. "I'm Ruo. Nice to meet ya." "I'm Alan, but you guys can call me Lai. It's awesome to meet you, Dujo Ruo," Lai said with this super bright smile. But yo, the second he said that, Daiyoko just straight up turned away from him, totally dissing him, making Lai just roll his eyes. Seeing the drama unfold, Yuen just let out a little smirk and said, "Well, looks like the ceremony is about to kick off." Then he spots the gorgeous Professor Yuma sitting up on the stage. "Oh, snap, it's Professor Yuma over there," he blurted out, which got Lai all curious. "Wait, did Professor Yumina counsel you, Yuen?" "Yeah, she did." But before he could spill any more tea bam, the lights in the hall went crazy, and the roof started to slowly open up, revealing the sky above. "Yo, the ceiling is opening up! What the heck is going on?" The whole crew yelled, totally bugging out. Then all of a sudden, this ice-cold voice just cuts through the chaos. "All of you focus here." That voice was so powerful. The entire student body felt this terrifying pressure just slam down on their shoulders, making them tremble. What is this? Where is this crazy vibe coming from? Yuen wondered. He was totally confused, but he still gritted his teeth and looked up to where the voice was coming from. Way up high, this massive thing appeared and the voice boomed again. "The 2557th entrance ceremony of the Union Academy officially begins." And the thing was a giant eye, some super high-level mysterious being. For real. Anyway, time skips a bit and Professor Yuma starts chatting with the group. "Pretty intense, huh? The headmaster's speech was definitely one for the books," she said with a huge smile. But like the students were all still shook from that terrifying presence, so nobody said anything. It was just crickets. Only Yuen was chill, casually sipping his tea and nodding. "Yeah, it was super impressive." Wait, the giant eyeball is the headmaster. His question totally shocked the whole group. They whipped around to ask, "Yuen, you saw that eye. You actually dared to look up, bro. The pressure was so insane, most of us couldn't even lift our heads. It was terrifying." Yuan was a little taken aback, yeah, he felt the pressure, but it wasn't as crazy as they were making it sound. At the same time, Daoko was just staring daggers at Yuan, probably trying to figure out how he was able to look right at something so powerful. That thing was using some special trick to hide its true form, so how in the world could he see it? Under her intense gaze, Yuan got kind of flustered and quickly tried to explain. It was just a feeling, like there was a giant eye looking down on us. Meanwhile, Professor Yumina brought it back to the main point. In any case, that is the headmaster. Unless you pull off something special or cause a whole lot of trouble, you'll rarely get the chance to meet him. Again. But it seems like you might get to meet him privately, Yuan, she said with a playful look, making Yuan totally exasperated. Professor, why does that sound like you're putting a curse on me? He muttered. Yumina just covered her mouth and laughed. Ha ha, hey, as your supervising professor, your wins are my wins too. From now on, I expect all of you to bring your A-game. Hearing this, Lai looked shocked and asked, so Professor Yumina is going to be the one in charge of us? That's right, she replied, taking a sip of tea like it was no big deal. This news left Lai completely stunned. No way one of the Academy's 9 official professors is going to be in charge of us, he thought to himself. After putting down her teacup, Yumina formally introduced herself. I guess I haven't properly introduced myself yet, have I? I'm Yumina, a professor in the combat magic department, and I've been assigned as the homeroom teacher for this class. Class 11. Let's work hard together for the next 5 years. Lai, still shook, asked, I thought usually only teaching assistants were in charge of the lower level students. Yumina nodded. That's correct. However, this year you all are a special batch of students, so I'll be taking on the role. At this, she kind of muttered to herself. It's so special, I have no idea how they picked a bunch of weirdos like you. Thinking of this as if she just remembered something, she turned with a super serious face and warned them, be careful of the roadblocks and the hate from the regular students. Hearing that, he was a little surprised at first, but then he totally caught the hidden meaning she was throwing down. The hate the professor was talking about wasn't just about competing for grades. It included students literally throwing hands and starting fights. If these problems got bigger than the competition the school rules protected, not even the professors could step in. To survive in the race against other students, you have to be strong enough to get over all the obstacles and the haters. If not, well, from now on, the 4 of you are a team. You are special. Students one of a kind. On top of that, you'll be teammates trying to conquer the tower's peak together from now until you graduate. All right, that's enough heavy talk for now. The Academy cooked up a little gift for you. The rules and deets will be explained after you get the item. As soon as she finished talking, she snapped her fingers, and a sick shiny item popped up right in front of the group, leaving them speechless. It was a pendant. Is this for, student ID? It just looks like a normal necklace. You can use it for ID and to get into all the school's facilities. At the same time, it also lets you teleport anywhere on the Union campus to test the... So to use this teleportation feature, they gotta mumble this chant and get this, it's Professor Yumina is so beautiful. Like, for real? The second the words leave their mouths, they get yeeted outside. Lou, my man, not missing a beat, just yells with his eyes wide open. Professor Yumina is so beautiful. And just like that, poof, they're zapped right back to where they started. And you already know the whole crew is dead silent about this chant. Like, what are you even supposed to say about Professor Yuma being asterisk, that asterisk extra? The group just lets out a huge sigh like, good grief, we need this for real. We need this ID pendant to even get into the tower, so whether we like it or not, we gotta keep this thing safe, Lai said, immediately tucking the pendant into his pocket. Across from them, the pink-haired Ruo was like, but hold up, why were you the only one they kept back? Beats me, Lai shot back with a shrug. Maybe he sensed that super terrifying thing inside you? Hoso chimed in, spilling her own tea. As she said it, she was having a flashback of Professor Yumina on the phone saying, nah, we've got a tea party all set up. Wild right, but out of all the students, he was the only one who could actually look the headmaster in the eye. So boom scene changed to the headmaster's office. My boy, you was sitting there quiet as a freaking lamb, totally bugging out. What is this? I have to meet the headmaster one-on-one on the very first day. I didn't do anything messed up, did I? You was thinking, completely lost. Seeing him all anxious, the headmaster finally spoke up. Look right at me. My real body isn't here right now. The voice was coming from a little doll sitting on the desk. Hearing that, you finally got the guts to look at the doll and asked, the headmaster. Nah, I'm the chairman. Just call me teacher, he said. Yes, teacher. You shot back real quick. Then the chairman just got straight to the point. I should probably explain why I dragged you in here. Normally, I don't mess with a student's journey. If they're strong or weak, if they live or die in the tower, I honestly don't care. My only goal is to see with my own 2 eyes the one who climbs to the very top of the tower. Everything else is basically meaningless. Hearing that, you just went silent. I mean, for real, the tower is his family's legacy. The B-clan was destined to take it back with all its power and glory. He's literally willing to die to get the whole tower back. But looking at the headmaster and all these other students, he's wondering, what does the tower even mean? Why do they have to pull up to this dimension to conquer it? Unable to keep his curiosity on lockdown, you decided to just ask, Sir, what exactly asterisk is asterisk this tower? Hearing the question, the principal went quiet for a few seconds, looking kind of shocked that his student was this curious. Then he slowly replied, "The tower is the path to the gods, and it's also a major test. The gods are these the same gods. Everyone is always yapping about, this is getting more and more complicated." You muttered to himself, totally confused about what to even think. Meanwhile, the principal kept going. "Normally I don't step in when students are struggling, but this time is different, because I see some major potential in you. The most potential I've ever seen, actually. I'm going to make some special arrangements to help you prep for your journey to conquer the tower." As soon as he finished talking, the arm of the little doll on the table lifted up, shot out this bizarre beam of light, and it merged right into Yu's identification necklace. "Whoa, what is this?" Yu yelled, totally surprised. The principal was quick to explain. "I've expanded your exploration privileges beyond the academy's walls. Now you can freely travel to any dungeon. Use your free time to grind and hone your skills before you start to conquer the tower." "Outside the academy?" Yu asked again, still full of doubt. "That's right. Now you should get going. You remember, level up your skills before you start climbing that tower. If you do an amazing job, I'll unlock the next privilege for you." As he said it, he waved his hand and a portal just appeared under Yu's feet, sucking him in. "The next privilege," Yu yelled, completely shook. "That's right. It's the right to explore the tower all by yourself. I'm looking forward to our next meeting." The second he finished speaking, Yu was yeeted out of the room and fell right into the arms of teacher Yuma, who was waiting for him. "So, did the meeting with the big boss go well?" Yuma asked with a huge smile. Yu looked up, but his view was completely blocked by two giant hills. He got so embarrassed he scrambled away and stood up straight. The principal always dismisses his guests like that. "He's a weird one, isn't he?" Yuma shrugged and smiled while Yu didn't even dare to look straight at her. "Yeah," he replied, all shy. "He's been hyped to meet you from the very beginning, Yu." After he finally calmed down, Yu spilled all the tea about his chat with the principal and all the promises he made, leaving Yuma absolutely floored. "Oh my gosh, letting a student leave the academy, that is an unbelievably huge privilege," Yuma screamed. "Wait, is it really that big of a deal? I just need to level up my lame skills real quick." Yu asked again, still full of questions. "It's super huge. You can freely explore dungeons outside the tower and even trip to other cities. This means you'll have way more experience and prep time than anybody else. No student has ever gotten this hookup before," Yuma explained, making you realize just how much of a favorite he was. "Haha, so that's what's up. I seriously thought he was saying I was so weak that I needed remedial classes. Thank heavens," Yu chuckled. Yuma kept going, her voice kind of dripping with jealousy. "You are so lucky, Yu. I'm so jealous. Normally us teachers are way too busy to go out around this time." "Is that so?" Yu asked again. "Totally. Because Union is an academy, everything is student-focused, so it's pretty inconvenient for us teachers. With this privilege, you can explore dungeons, travel to cities, and even go shopping. You can also eat whatever snacks you want." I'm so jealous." The more she talked, the closer her face got to Yu's, with this really weird look making my boy break out in a cold sweat. Soaked, he finally saw Yuma reveal her true motive. "There's this absolutely beautiful city you have to visit. It's called Ronica, and the spring temple there is truly—" Not even waiting for his teacher to finish, he cut her off, scared she was about to ask him for his soul or something. "Professor, how about I just buy a gift for you?" Time flew by and the scene switches to a spot outside the academy. Yu is now on a mission that Yumina gave him, remembering her instructions about the honeymoon wine, which is brewed by monks and is famous for its sweet aroma, thick foam, and a mind-blowing aftertaste. "Buy me one. No 2 bottles. Got it." The wine-loving teacher set her eyes literally twinkling like headlights as she gave this massive responsibility to the brand-new student. Yu could only sigh to himself. A professor sending a student on a booze run? This world was seriously full of surprises. But hey, luckily he already had an item inventory. As he said this, he opened it up. He's checking his bag, looking all smug and satisfied. Then bam, he spots something inside. "Oh, yeah, this is that thing Gramps gave me before I dipped for school." Yu is just staring at this mysterious item his grandpa packed. Like, what even is this rare artifact? Aight, let's hit rewind to before enrollment day. As Yu's getting ready to bounce, his grandpa rolls up dragging this bag. "You all set, Yu?" "Yep, I'm pretty much good to go. Did you sleep okay?" Yu shoots back. And hearing his grandson, the old man just drops the bag on the floor with a massive asterisk thud asterisk. "Open it up, take as much as you want." What is it?" Yu asks, totally confused. "Just crack it open and you'll see," his grandpa says, laughing like he knows a secret. The second he opens the bag, this insane golden light just flashes, nearly blinding poor Yu. "Whoa, it's all pure gold. Wait, for real, I can actually take some?" Yu asks, his mind totally blown. "Haha, don't even sweat it. This is the family fortune our ancestors stashed away to find the Tower of Babel. It's all yours now, my guy. Do whatever you want with it," his grandpa says, all cheerful. He gets so emotional he legit starts tearing up. "Thank you, grandfather. This is gonna help a ton, but it looks kinda hard to carry, doesn't it?" he mumbled. "Why would it be hard?" the old man shot back. "Dude, just looking at it makes my back hurt," Yu complained. "You silly kid," the old man yelled, clearly annoyed. "And we're back to the present. After popping open his inventory, Yu just yeets all his personal stuff into the bag. Man, having an item storage is so clutch. Grandpa was right. Gold is cash money everywhere, so I'll just snag a few bars. I'm locked and loaded. Time to dive into this new world, Yu says, as he stares at the futuristic city in front of him and starts walking right in. He was completely floored by how advanced this place was. Yo, even though this is another dimension, the city's vibe is kinda similar, right? But while he was lost in his own little world, Yu suddenly sees people riding freaking flying vehicles in the sky and immediately shuts his trap. Nope, scratch that, it's very different. What is that? It's flying. How is that even possible, he thought, totally geeking out. But his whole new guy look had already caught the attention of some guards. Yo, you there, where you from? Yu turns around, but before he can even get a word out, the two guards clock his uniform, and their whole attitude does a 180. Oh my goodness. Are you a student from Union Academy? Hey there. We're the border guards for the west side of Ronica City. They snapped to attention and saluted him. Yu was getting super embarrassed by their super intense welcome. This is all just 'cause I'm a Union student. He scratches his head and goes, Hey, I'm Ban Yuan, a first-year student at Union Academy. After that, both of them are just staring at him, their faces full of questions. But for real, how'd you even get out here, Ban Yuan? Did you get a hall pass from the principal already? That's right, he said. I was free to explore. Yu just nodded back. I get it. It's all thanks to the principal and the teachers that our city is as chill as it is today. We're forever grateful to them, the two said with a huge grin, making Yu rethink just how powerful this academy really is. If you've got any questions, just hit us up. And for our boy Yu, who's still totally clueless, there was no way he was gonna pass up this chance. Right away, he points at a flying vehicle in the sky and asks, I wanna buy that. What's it gonna cost me? Time skip. And now our boy Ru is just cruising around on his brand new flying ride over a grassy field. Oh my god, this is amazing! Yu screams at the top of his lungs. Asterisk, record scratch, asterisk. Flashback to 1 hour earlier. When Yu asked his question, the two guards practically broke into a cold sweat, telling him, if you mean that one, you're talking about the HA flying motorcycle. The base model alone is 250,000 ronya, so yeah, it's pretty pricey. Hearing that, Yu's face was a total blank as he asked, How much is 250,000 ronya? So it was an HA flying motorcycle, got it. At that moment, he also just casually pulls a pure gold bar from his inventory and asks, Can I trade this for it? Seeing this kid just casually whip out something so valuable, the guard's eyes were literally popping out of his skull. This is this gold. Where did you get a gold bar this massive? Is this thing for real? Oh, my grandfather gave it to me, Yu says with a chill smile. Back in the present, even he's still a little shook. A single gold bar was worth a whopping 75 million ronya. He seriously had to thank his grandpa for forcing him to take it. Gold is useful anywhere, you idiot! Make sure you take it, the old man had yelled at him. But it's heavy and a pain, Yu had whined. For real though, having too much money can be a real headache for a young guy. Over here, as if feeling the wind rush past him, the little snake Y just poofs into existence, which gets Yu all excited to show off to his little buddy. Oh, Y, it's you. What do you think? Just like with you, I use the whole spirit and demon concept to bring this flying motorcycle to life. Her name is Lilith, so from now on, you two better get along. Lilith was born when Yu basically dropped some spirit and demon mojo on it, turning it into a living thing with its own personality, which is so on brand for Y. And get this, when Y heard its master talking, the little snake just did this tongue flick thing and you could not tell if it was ticked off or totally loving the vibe. But Yu literally paid that drama no mind, because they hadn't forgotten about the task from the professor. Yumina had sent him on. I bought the wine for Professor Yumina and made a little sister for Y. Everything on my to-do list is done, so I guess it's time to head back. Let's bounce back to the academy, Yu said with a huge smile. Plot twist a little while later, our hero is just miserably sprawled out on a table, his head spinning like he's about to faint. Oh god, my head! Our boy is groaning like a puppy crying for its mom. Just then, Lai walks over and slams a glass of water in front of him, totally frustrated, and shakes her head. I'm so disappointed in you, Yu. I cannot believe that right after we hung out, you snuck out without a word and came back completely trashed. Lai is giving him the majorly judgmental look, which makes him stammer out an apology. Professor Yumina forced me, I couldn't say no. As he's saying it, Yu has a flashback of the professor literally grabbing him by the collar, dead set on not letting him leave. Bottoms up, drink another round! She yelled until his face was as red as a fire truck. This is the first time I've ever had alcohol in my life, Yu whined quickly, grabbing the glass of water and chugging it down. Meanwhile, Duko coolly spots the flower-shaped pin on Yu's chest and asks, So is that pin what you got in exchange for being the professor's drinking buddy and becoming class rep? Yu just leans back and says, Class representative. If you mean class president, then yeah, that's right. At that moment, Doko totally startles them both by declaring, If we gotta pick a leader for the four of us, it has to be me, cause I'm the strongest one here. You agree, don't you? She dead-eyed him. Uli immediately clapped back like, Yo, that's kinda sus, Joe. We're supposed to be a team, but real talk, I gotta call you out. Your Your whole high and mighty vibe is gonna tank us when we try to climb this tower. And low-key, I don't even think you're the top dog here, Uli yelled, pointing right in Jiho's face. But Jiho, she just let out this little scoff and shook her head. LMAO, did you seriously just say we're asterisk equal asterisk? That's hilarious. Weren't you the one like literally yesterday? Begging the professor to let you climb the tower solo. Make it make sense, dude. She hit him with a shrug, and Uli turned beet red. That's... Uli was totally glitching, couldn't even form a sentence. Yun and Ruo were just staring at him with super suspicious eyes. Oh yeah, I did say that, Uli mumbled, cringing hard. But nah, I was just curious. It's not like I wanted to ditch y'all or anything. Meanwhile, Yun just face planted on the table thinking, bruh, I really thought I could dodge this kind of drama on day one. Like my whole plan was to get everyone to vibe and make a game plan together, but this squad is already a total dumpster fire. I don't even want asterisk to be class prez. But now I get why the prof picked me. Uli's got zero chill and a massive ego while Chiho's on a total power trip. Yeah, she's strong, but she's just gonna make everyone hate her guts. And Ruo is way too passive to lead anything. Haha, what a hot mess of a crew. With that little reality check, Yun finally spoke up. Hold up, y'all. Everyone actually shut up and listened for a sec. The class prez doesn't have to be the strongest one. In fact, they probably shouldn't be, he threw out there. Chiho squinted at him all like, and why's that? Because if the strongest person is in charge, they're just gonna steamroll everyone and do whatever they want. A class prez is supposed to bring everyone together, not be a dictator. The prez has to be someone who can find a fair play for the whole squad. So I think a chill dude like me should probably take the spot. You chill. Chiho literally almost died laughing. Fine. The prof gets to make the call, so I'll roll with it. For now, Chiho said with this little smirk. Seeing that the final boss had actually agreed, Yun let out a huge sigh of relief. He could feel all that stress just melting away. Thanks, Chiho. But she kept going, her vibe getting super real. From the jump, the only one I actually wanted on my team was you. So, even though I'm not feeling it, I guess I have to put up with this extra baggage to get what I want. As she said that, she shot this icy, shady look at Uli and Ruo. That's it, later. And with that, the white-haired girl just bounced, leaving Uli literally shaking with rage. What extra baggage? Uli was grinding his teeth, his voice totally pissed off. Seeing this, Yun immediately jumped in to do damage control. Chill, Uli, chill. After talking him off the ledge, Yun felt completely wiped. My god, this morning has been more of a war zone than a classroom. Egos are so fragile, man. Just gotta play the long game, Yun, our boy, told himself, trying to get his zen back. But before he could even catch his breath for like 2 seconds, Ruo popped up, her voice all hyped up. Hey, Yun, you didn't bring that cute little snake today, did you? I really want to touch it? The girl's eyes were sparkling like crazy. Oh my god, why is every conversation a freaking minefield? Yun just sighed on the inside. It feels like I'm getting ambushed from every direction. The scene flips to a fight arena. Erector, this dude who's literally got magma for blood, jumps up and starts yelling, Professor, I really want to see just how good these special exam kids really are. His yelling made every single head turn and stare at Yun's crew, sizing them up. The ref, who was randomly dressed like an inmate, just nodded and was like, For the first class, how about we warm up with a little sparring match, what do you say? Hearing that, the first years went absolutely nuts, all trying to get in on the action. Professor, let me at him. Nah, back off. I got dibs, hey you! You gonna take that pin off or what? All the trash talk and angry yelling made Yuen and Lai go quiet, and Lai shot Yuen a worried look. So Union Academy really groups people up based on their skills, huh? And no wonder Class 1 is the special class. They've got some serious beef with us in Class 11. Yuen just kinda mumbled, Oh, well, maybe it's 'cause my fit is a little extra. While the crowd was still beefing, Ector was just death-staring Yuan's badge, getting more and more heated. How dare this little punk! Rocking the pin from the goddess of flowers herself, Professor Yuma, and flaunting it right in his face. Nah, that was not okay. The more he stewed on it, the more Ector couldn't take it, and he just exploded. Professor, you gotta let me test this dude's skills myself. Let me fight him. The professor was instantly on board. I bet. Get up here, Yuan. You will fight Ector. Yuan felt like he'd just been backed into a corner with no escape. Meanwhile, Professor Yumina was low-key watching Yuan's first class. After she saw it was a joint class between Class 1 and Class 11, she started getting the bad feeling. What is this? Why is my student scheduled with the freaking special class on their very first day, and for combat training in the very first period, no less? How is a special admit kid from a subspace supposed to go up against some hater? They must have known that, which is why they set the schedule up like this. I don't know who's playing these games, but I can totally feel their shady intentions. Yuma thought, her stomach twisting with worry for her student. Back to Yuen, he wasn't dumb enough to just charge at the giant magma dude across from him, so he threw his hand up real quick to duck out of it. Excuse me, Professor, but my fighting skills are still pretty trash. I don't think I'm gonna learn anything from this. The professor in the prison getup just casually went, Huh, is that right? Well, that's a 3-point deduction then. That totally threw Yuen for a loop. He had no clue what was going on. Just get up here and stop with the excuses, the professor said, pushing up his glasses with this smug look. And right then, it clicked for Yuan that this guy was messing with him on purpose. But why? Why was the prof so dead set on making him fight? Was he trying to clown me in front of everybody? The more he thought about it, the darker his face got. I'm not making excuses. It's the truth. I got in through special admission for my unique skills, not 'cause I can throw hands. If the professor's that curious about what a special admit student can do, please find another way to test me instead of this. Trying to make us throw hands. And you were making some solid points for real. But after you kept saying no, the professor in the prison getup just grit his teeth and yelled, "Are you trying to school a professor on how to do his job?" Hearing that, you were so done being nice and clapped back instantly. Look, I don't care if you're a professor or a student. If you don't know something, you should learn it. Besides, ain't I the class rep? That's another 5-point deduction. The professor screamed, making Yuan just sigh. Haha, so that's how you want to play. He thought then shot his shot with a proposal. 8-bet. How about this teach I'll use this week to prep and we can fight next week? Just give me 1 week. I'll hit the tower once, and when I'm out, I'll basically be good to go. Yuan's super confident declaration made the whole classroom go dead silent, and like a bunch of people just stared at him, as if they were looking at a total psycho. What did he just say, a fight next week prep, bro? What is he even on about? His stats were literal garbage, so how in the world could he fight the special class after just 1 week? As for that guy, the professor in the prison jumpsuit was chewing his lip. He was so mad. So now he's just ignoring me and setting his own schedule. Fine, then do whatever you want. Seeing him all salty, Yuan's face was pure contempt. So what if I ignore you? You're not even a real professor. He muttered that so low-key it even freaked out Lai, who was standing right behind him. And after swallowing his rage, the professor announced, Class Y and Ector. Next Tuesday, you two have an official sparring match. And get this, the fight's gonna be public and the whole academy can watch it live. Everybody better tune in. He had this nasty little smirk like he couldn't wait to see Yuan get totally humiliated next week. So he doesn't just want to own me. He wants to make a whole dang circus out of it. Yuan frowned, thinking right before the professor turned to the whole class. Yuan, since you wanted prep time, you better show us something good. If you can't... Yuan totally annoyed. Just cut him off. Oh, for sure. Hey, Ector, right. We got an official match next week. I'm actually so hyped for it, he said with this super bright smile. Ector immediately spit on the ground in his direction, making it obvious he thought he was trash. Ha, you're pathetic, Yuan. Yuan felt kinda cringe, not getting why he was being so extra cheerful to this lava-looking dude. Not that I expected a polite answer anyway, 'cause I wasn't trying to check his attitude. Ector's stats popped up crystal clear in Yuan's vision. Ector, his stats were BC with vitality at 250, physique at 300, and magic at 120. Peeping those numbers, Yuan was even more sure that pushing the fight to next week was 100% the right call. As expected from a special class kid. His vitality and physique stats are just ridiculous. His vitality is 5 times mine, and his physique is a whole 10 times mine. But even with all that compared to them, he's still a total nobody, Yuan thought, glancing over at Lai and Ruo. If I want to climb the tower with them, I gotta get way past Ector's level, Yuan thought to himself, then said with a laugh, Ha ha, what's with the long faces y'all that worried about me? Totally ignoring Yuan. DHS just coldly started to warm up behind him. What's this, nobody wants to step up? Unlike the class prez, fighting is my thing. Aren't y'all dying to see what a special admission student can do? Does anyone have the guts to come up here? If it's a sparring match, I'm always down, DH said, looking crazy confident. Her stats were literally breaking out of the little hexagon box. Turning back to the peanut gallery after hearing Doha's challenge, the whole squad just froze for a few seconds. Even the professor in the prison uniform was totally speechless. The reason was simple, though. Even a scrub like Yuan could tell how terrifyingly strong Doha was. The silence was deafening, but it makes sense. Even by myriad poison, Yuan's eye was literally bugging out trying to get a read on Doha's power. He was thinking, ain't no way these first years can't feel that insane aura she's putting out. And then Doha, seeing nobody had the guts to step up, she said, completely bored, What's wrong? If you're scared, should I just pick someone? She pointed right at Ector. Ector, you're not the type to only pick on the weak, are you? Come on, I'll wreck you. Faced with that, Ector was totally stunned, probably realizing Doha's power was on a whole other planet than his. Ector has got to be freaking out right now. His original target was me, but now he's getting called out by a total monster. Everyone here can feel it. If he accepts Doha's challenge just to save face, he's so done for. He'll get messed up so bad he'll never recover in a week. And even though this doesn't really affect me, it can't go down like this. With that thought, Yuan decided to speak up. Yo, hold up, Doha. Sorry, but Ector's got a match with me next week. If you want to fight him, you're gonna have to wait your turn. Doha turned to him and asked, You for real? Absolutely. Thanks for looking out, though. But this time, I'm gonna use my own strength to prove I belong here. You declared it with so much confidence. If he wanted to up the difficulty on himself, Doha had no reason to stop him. Ho ho, I thought you were just a slippery little snake, but it looks like you've got some backbone after all. Fine, I'll let you do it your way. Besides, does anyone else have the guts to step up? She asked again, but the crowd was dead silent. Nobody dared to face Doha head on. Is there really no one? The white-haired girl asked again after seeing the students were still quiet as mice. Doha sighed, super disappointed. Y'all were barking so loud earlier, but the second you're up against someone actually strong, you just hide in your shells like a bunch of turtles. Hearing her say that the first years were gritting their teeth. But no matter how mad they got, they didn't dare to stand up. Until some blonde dude spoke out. Who are you calling a turtle hiding in its shell? It's always the weak and stupid ones that run in packs, acting all tough and barking to protect each other. Are you trying to put on a comedy show or what? The second he heard someone actually talk back to Doha, you immediately zeroed in on him. Whoa, what's this? This guy's gotta be in the special class too. But his power level feels like it's on a completely different plane. You frowned, thinking. From your point of view, this blonde dude seemed to be giving off an insane aura, making everyone around him too scared to get close. Besides that, Lai noticed your confused face and chimed in to explain. That's Optima, the ruler of the Centus dimension. Huh, Centus Optima. What even is that? You asked, looking totally lost. Your clueless question even surprised Lai. Bro, you seriously don't know. Besides the Union, there are 10 other high-level dimensions. Optima is from the family that rules Centus, one of those dimensions. After hearing this, you would have been sweating bullets for real. So get this, he's the kid of one of the most OP families in all these dimensions. And right then, with everyone watching, Optima starts strolling into the arena. Professor, he says all bossy, like super cold, and the prof totally gets it scrambling to do something. Ah, yeah, on it, he says, whipping out this little gadget, some electronic thing that makes you go, what's that? It's probably some recording thing. They're trying to put this on blast for sure, Lai guessed. And then what happens after they record it? You asked, totally curious. They were saying they're gonna drop it all on the internet, but I have no clue what that is. Lai just shook his head. Bro was clearly from a dimension without Wi-Fi, so he was totally lost. But you, coming from a place that was actually, with the times, instantly peeped the professor's game. So, that's the play. It's the same vibe here, huh? Seeing you was clued in, Lai turned and was like, yo, you know what this internet thing is? While logging into the Union Net, you explained, it's basically a private network like for a school or a company. You know to swap info. Hearing that, Lai was even more shook. Like, is your dimension so low-key that you don't even know about the Union, but you know about this asterisk, in my dimension? This stuff is basic. But for real, where's this school's internet at? You said, just swiping away on his phone, and R had to literally run over and show him. Here, there's a live stream channel for our class. Clutch, thanks R. You're the GOAT at finding things. You tapped that live stream link and boom, the screen lit up with Da and Optima. What is this fresh heck? It's a live stream. The professor is trying to flame us, but I bet it's gonna backfire big time, you mumbled. Down on the floor, both Doa and Optima were giving off this insane vibe after a major stare down. Optima finally spoke up. Make your move. Doa just hit him with a confident smirk. The weaker one gets to go first, so be my guest, she said, holding out her hand to totally troll him. Weaker, huh? Let's see how long that big talk lasts. Kneel, Optima said, throwing his hand forward while firing up some crazy ability aimed right at Dojo. From where everyone was standing, you could see this sus-looking wave shoot out from Optima's palm. The second Optima's power hit Yuan's crew dojo, Jo felt this insane pressure, crushing her whole body. What is this? This is way different from my language power. It feels natural, like water going downhill, or like how I literally need air to live. This is a law of nature. Everything in this whole area is screaming at me to kneel for this dude like it's the most normal thing ever. Is he literally bending the rules of reality? Dojo wondered. Lai, who was standing right there, turned to Yuan and asked, Yo, did you just figure out how that power works? That ability? Yeah, Yuan shot back. But before he could spill the tea, Ruo was clinging to him, shaking her eyes wide with fear. Meanwhile, when Optima's whole power trip hit Dao Zhou, it did absolutely nothing like trying to stop a train with a spitball. Like zero effect. A dark blue energy just started pouring out of her palm. With just a flick of the wrist, she straight up canceled his whole vibe, leaving the squad completely shook and speechless. Even Yuan. He could not believe his eyes. No way! She just clapped back with more pressure and snuffed his power out, Yuan thought. The golden-haired pretty boy Optima watched as Dojo shattered his move, and his eyes got this flash of interest. Haha, so you actually have some skills. Dojo just shook her head, her voice dripping with shade. Your power is as ridiculous as those horns on your head. If this is all you got, I'm majorly disappointed. Not even close. Optima. I shot back, swinging his arm like he was about to launch another attack. But that little move didn't get past Doc Gojo. Instantly, she powered up her leg, zipped forward, and kicked him square in the stomach, shutting his whole attack down. Did you really think I'd just stand there and let you hit me a second time? Are your attacks supposed to be stronger up close or something? Dojo taunted. Optima threw up an energy shield, but you could tell getting put on defense was bruising his massive ego. I can't believe I gotta use 2 hands for a fight like this, he grumbled, super salty. Well, you're all brawn and no brains anyway. Dojo's voice suddenly popped up right next to his ear, making Optima freak out and swing an arm behind him. You arrogant brat, he yelled, totally not realizing he was the most arrogant one there. Dujo just dodged Optima's sloppy swing, slapped his arm away with her left hand, and grabbed his collar with her right. Then she brought a knee up, aiming right for Optima's chin. Just as I thought, your moves are so clumsy. Seriously, do you still need someone to spoon-feed you? Du mocked, but her attack got blocked by another one of Optima's shields. Still getting totally owned was making Optima's blood boil. This damn wench. He gritted his teeth, juicing up his fist and throwing a lightning-fast punch. But Dujo just hopped to the side, dodging it like it was nothing. Lai was just watching, in total shock as Dujo played with Optima like a cat with a mouse. It was wild. Optima, the supposed ruler of Centis, was getting absolutely schooled by Dujo. Seeing this, Yuan, who was just quietly taking it all in, dropped his own theory. Okay, so it seems like that Optima guy is used to winning by just suppressing people's moves, like by messing with the laws of nature. But that whole trick has like zero effect on Dujo. And that's exactly why he's in this mess right now with everyone watching. In front of the whole crowd, the blonde dude was getting beat to a pulp by Hoso with no chance to even throw a punch. Every one of her hits was on point and packed a wallop from a combo of punches. To the face, to a high kick that snapped his head back. For real, if it wasn't for his little energy shield, he would have been knocked out ages ago. Cutting back to Yuan, our play-by-play commentator who kept analyzing. Even though he's got superior strength, and is built like a brick house, it's so obvious he doesn't train, like ever. That comment made Lai just stare at Yuan, totally impressed. He could tell that Hoso could hang with Optima, but Yuan could see through both of their powers. Clearly, they're all these special recruits from the subspace, but like, what is even going on? Back in the fight, Optima didn't even have a second to breathe, let alone fight back. Hoso's punches were a non-stop blur. How dare you be so disrespectful to me? The fool yelled, completely out of touch with reality. In that instant, Hoso's fist smashed right into his face, and his energy shield couldn't even stop it. Did you show up just to run your mouth, or is your... Oh, what's that? My tongue's too long. You want me to trim it for you? Hoso shot back ice cold. As for Optima, dude was losing it, completely fuming from being clowned on this whole time. A freaking diamond symbol thingy just popped up over his head, followed by this insane burst of power. He slams both hands on the ground and cracked the whole arena floor, just shatters. I will never forgive you. You want to get sent to the Shadow Realm? Fine, I'll do it myself. Optima screamed, totally unhinged. Seeing him lose his mind like that, Hoso just hits him with a super chill. Whoa there, kiddo. That's some big talk for a little guy like you. Then she starts gathering mana around her arm, getting ready to charge in and teach this blondie a lesson he won't forget. Optima was just as hyped, screaming, "Get wrecked," and shoving his hands forward. But right as they were about to clash for real, Professor Yumina's voice just cuts through the noise. All right, that's enough. And with just one clap, she dead stops the whole show. The two of them just froze. The whole arena was suddenly filled with flowers, leaving both Hoso and Optima completely shook. Yumina then gently says, So, our academy isn't exactly a fan of you guys trying to unalive each other. Save that energy for climbing the tower, Kay. You two get me. Then she snaps her fingers and the whole flower garden just fades away. Up in the stands, Yuen's mind was blown, thinking, the heck was that an illusion? But bro, I can literally smell the flowers. That's wild. As for Optima, the second he saw Yuma show up, he knew the party was over. He made this annoyed titch sound, turned on his heel, and just bounced, having zero clue that the professor's little pop-in just saved his life. For real. Hoso was about to introduce him to his ancestors. Anyway, Hoso couldn't care less about that loser. She turns to Yuma and is like, damn, you're strong. In response, the prof just gives her this little smile. Seeing that, Hoso just sighs and heads back to her spot. Aye, welcome back, Yuen says. Hearing him, the white-haired queen turns to get Lee's take. So what's the verdict? That was insane, just watching was a total rush. But before our boy could even finish his sentence, Ruo suddenly dashes over and latches onto his back like a freaking koala. This move had the whole squad like, huh. Ruo, what's up, dude? You still freaked out by Hoso? He asked, kind of frowning, cause his friend was shaking like a leaf. Haha, oh, so cute. It's all good, man. You can come out now, Yuen said with a smile. But Ruo was not letting go. Meanwhile, somewhere else, Yui's super annoyed voice cuts in, getting everyone's attention. You are so getting written up, Professor Farron, for letting a sparring match happen on the very first day. Not only that, but you just let it get completely out of hand. You know you messed up big time, right? I'm so sorry, Professor Fen, he totally stammers. Yeah, sorry ain't gonna cut it. You better brace yourself. Yuma snaps back all high and mighty. Then she strolls right up to Yuen. Oh, and another thing. For a class president, your image is everything. Yuen, my guy, why is your pin all upside down like this? As she's saying this, the super hot teacher gently fixes the pin on our boy's chest. It was an unbelievably up-close and personal move, driving all the other students behind them absolutely wild with jealousy. But like she didn't even notice their death stares, Yuma just dips right after. All right, I'm out. Y'all have a good one. Watching her walk away, Yuen could only let out this super awkward laugh. Ha ha! Well, the prof came to break up a fight and just ended up starting a whole new war of jealousy. After he said that, even without looking, you could feel a million salty glares from the Class 1 kids drilling into his back. Why him, that little punk, I'm not letting this slide, you could hear someone grumble. Anyway, time flies and the tea about the throwdown between Doc Ho and Optima spread like wildfire through the entire freshman class. Yo, did you hear the new girl from that other dimension went toe-to-toe with Optima? Nah, bro, she didn't just go toe-to-toe, she was totally dominating him. A secondary dimension. For real. That sounds kinda sus. Isn't that a bit of a stretch, like what is even going on? The curious comments just kept rolling in. And of course our boy Yuen is seeing all this chatter. But yeah, he was not exactly thrilled about his newfound fame. Dude, it feels like the entire school is gossiping about us, Yuen said low-key stressed. Across from him, his buddy Lee was basically short-circuiting trying to figure out his high-tech gadget. Turning to Doc Ho after she finished scrolling, her crazy cool eyes just narrowed a little. That's weird. Is that dude really supposed to be the #1 top dog? No shot. There's at least one other person in that class way stronger than him. Doc Hoso was thinking back to that girl dressed like a mage, just chilling by herself in a corner of the class before she turned and asked our main character a question. Figured you would have clocked that too, she asked. Yuen just shrugged it off with a little smirk. Haha, nah, I was too busy watching your epic smackdown. Meanwhile, Lee had just given up and face-planted on the table, totally drained. But yo, Yuen, your name is all over the school's social page, right? What's this master of provocation thing mean? Lee asked. Yuen just sighed and broke it down for him. Well, they're too chicken to talk smack about the girl who took on Mr. #1, so they're coming after me instead. But that's not the only drama they're dishing, is it? Doc Ho chimed in, glancing over to the side. And now that I think about it, we're usually not sitting this far apart. Huh, he exclaimed, finally noticing Ruo at a whole other table still shaking. And just like that, the vibe at the table got super awkward. It looked like Ruo was either picking up on some intense vibes from Doggo, or was just plain terrified to get any closer. Man, I wonder what it's like for them as roommates. He's probably still sketched out from earlier. Maybe I should help him feel more at ease. Everyone needs a little sugar in their life, right? Yuen thought, and then just whipped a jar of jam out of his inventory. This right here is fairy jam, made it with my synthesis skill. It's like a super concentrate of tens of thousands of different fruits. It's got this cool side effect. It's not huge or anything, but it gives all your stats a little boost. Check this out, Yuen said, and suddenly he had everyone's attention. The other two leaned in super curious, and Yuen just chuckled. Ha! Pretty wild, right? Gimme your bread, he said as he popped the lid, and this amazing sweet smell just exploded out. Across the room, Ruo whipped his head around, eyes wide, staring right at them. Yuen spread the jam on the bread and slid the plate over to Lee and Dokoso. Here, give it a try. They looked a little skeptical at first, but they both took a bite. And dude, the second it hit their tongues, it was like a flavor bomb went off. This is so good. What even is this? They were both like completely shook. You just smirked, feeling yourself. Heh, pretty fire, right? Lai was totally bugging. Fire, just fire, bro. This isn't just kind of fire. This is straight up God tier. Hoso was nodding hard like, for real, I've eaten all the fancy stuff in the Central Plains, but this is on a whole other level, no cap. You got all flustered by the hype and turned to Ruo. You'll get over here and get some. That pink-haired girl was literally drooling from the smell. She gulped and yanked her chair over like her life depended on it. Make one for me, please, she mumbled. You got it, you shot back all cheerful. The second she took a bite, Ruo basically melted. The flavor was just next level. The deliciousness of that fruit was insane. Best fruit flavor in the entire world, she said, totally blissed out. Lai then hit you with, yo, did you whip this up with your powers or something? DC Hoso was just staring, wanting more. Can I get another one? You just grinned. Of course. Here, go crazy, eat as much as you want. DC Ho licked her fingertips. It feels like I'm eating some super rare treasure or something. You were like, nah, it's chill. It's not even expensive. Friends gotta share, you know. Just think of it as a little thank you for having my back earlier. DC Hoso just let out a little laugh. Even so, this is a bit extra. All right, bet. I've made up my mind. To repay you for this godly grub, I'm gonna personally teach you how to fight, DC Hoso said, leaning right up in our boy's face, making him blush like crazy. So after they ate, DC Hoso took you to this house with a total ancient Eastern vibe. As long as there's enough room to throw down, it's cool. Low-key didn't expect to find a place this peaceful, she said, totally digging the scenery. Meanwhile, our protagonist immediately figured out the deal with the training room. Oh, I get it. This room is a total reflection of your headspace, isn't it? Of course, what else would you expect from your class? He blurted out, then turned to ask, but hold up, we just ate. What are you even going to teach me? Totally ignoring him, DC Hoso grabbed a wooden sword and muttered, this length is perfect. Then she's like, don't move a muscle, she said, swinging the sword around, which, not gonna lie, made you a little nervous. Okay, first up is this, she said, snapping into a thrusting stance, holding the sword flat across her chest, her right hand gripping the hilt tight, while her left hand was just chilling on the end. Then bam, DC Hoso used her left hand to blast the sword right at you. She stopped on a dime right before it could touch his face, but the wind pressure alone just slammed into Yu's face. That's a thrust, DC Hoso explained straight to the point. It's a clean, no-hesitation move, a human attack that's basically magic. In that split second, a whole new idea just clicked in your brain to pierce, piercing all the way through. But wait, why piercing? She's just showing me some sword moves, right? You thought, completely zoned out. DC Hoso had to call you out. Hey you even listening to me? You snapped right back. Ah, my bad, so pay close attention. A thrust isn't just one move. You can do it with literally anything. I just showed you the basic vibe and the absolute core of it. How many times you thrust where you launch from what you're aiming at, and how much power you put behind it. As she was talking, DC Hoso was busting out all these moves, finishing with a thrust straight at him. She stopped and kept explaining. Even though there are a million ways to use it, the core idea never changes. Don't you forget it. And even though he knew Doohoo wouldn't actually run him through every single time he saw that sword tip flying at him, Yuen still got a little spooked. That core concept Doohoo had was a single idea perfected to its absolute limit, which felt way more powerful than just mashing a bunch of ideas together. Maybe that's why she was a master of the thrust, you know? After she finished her lesson, Doohoo handed the sword to Yuen and asked, "You want to give it a shot?" "Heck yeah," Yuen shot back, rolling up his sleeves a bit. "I'm kinda clumsy though, so go easy on me." Doohoo just laughed. "Haha, dude, if you nailed it on your first try, then all my years of training would be totally pointless." But the second she finished talking, a crazy gust of wind from Yuen's thrust made this perfectly clean strike, and her face was pure shock. What the heck? Did he actually just get the whole concept after watching me one time? She wondered, totally confused. As for Yuen, even though he just pulled off a seriously high-quality move, he still didn't look happy with it. "Not right. It's still not right," Yuen mumbled, telling himself. "Focus. I can't just copy her. All this time I've only cared about combining concepts. I thought that was the only way to get stronger by mixing or adding stuff. But that's not the whole story. My power can be pushed to a whole new level just by grinding out what I already have. Let's see. There are a bunch of Chinese characters for thrust, so why pick the one that means pierce? To her, a thrust asterisk is asterisk piercing the target because it's a kill shot." As he thought about that, it was like a light bulb went off in Yuen's head. He focused every bit of his mental energy and unleashed a crazy powerful thrust. A strike so fast it broke the sound barrier, setting off a huge explosion in the air. But right after he pulled it off, Yuen felt this massive backlash hit him. He just collapsed on the ground, totally wiped out. Dako Hu, who was watching, saw him going way too hard and stopped him. "Stop. You don't need to go full beast mode right from the start. Just remember what you just saw, try it in a bigger space, and use it on the enemy you actually want to wreck." "Got it," Yuen replied, panting like he'd run a marathon. And right at that moment, like the universe was giving him a pat on the back for mastering a new skill, a ton of notifications popped up all around him. "You have comprehended and experienced the concept of piercing. You have comprehended and experienced the concept of martial arts." Looking at these pop-ups, Yuen couldn't help but laugh to himself. "Haha, I literally swung my sword a few times and my stats already got a boost." Suddenly, a super special notification caught his eye. Additional ability update successful. Observed and understood the concept of teleportation. The depth of the myriad poison eye has increased to 110, martial arts to 36, swordsmanship to 20, and piercing thrust to 16. Looking at these numbers, Yuen started to low-key panic. And my stats just skyrocketed for real. The piercing thrust thing I just learned is already at 16 points, and swordsmanship, which wouldn't budge no matter how many goblins I slayed, just jumped to 20. My overall combat technique has literally doubled. Does this even make sense? The more he thought about it, the more twisted up Yuen got. Meanwhile, Doohoo was just staring at him with this completely floored look. "I can't believe I'm the one at a disadvantage here. Who would have thought that right from— Wait, for real? You're telling me you just skipped all the basic stuff and went straight to the soul of the technique?" Doohoo was like kinda pissed. "How'd you pull that off so fast? And you're just like, nah, not really. I just kinda watched you and did what you did." All while scratching your head. And OMG, that just made Doohoo even more salty. She was like, "For real, if you can just copy-paste my moves by watching, then why does anyone even bother with all this insane training?" She totally snapped. And when you saw she was getting heated, you jumped in real quick to sweet-talk her. "Yo, maybe. But what if it's just 'cause you're an awesome teacher, no cap? From the second I saw you move, I totally got the vibe behind it. I was seriously blown away that anyone could be on that level, and I got so sucked in I completely zoned out." And get this, hearing you say all that, Doohoo's face started turning beet red. She was probably thinking, geez, this dude. We barely know each other and— he's already dropping lines like that so casually. She totally sighed to herself and started to bounce. But you weren't gonna let her go without paying her back for the help. I mean, that lesson was a game changer. From now on, I got you on the mana potions. But Doohoo was like, that's not even close to being enough for what I just taught you," she said all whiny. And you were like, "What, for real? Then what am I supposed to do?" Totally panicking. But then Doohoo just cracked this smile you've never ever seen on her before. She's like, "Haha, it's cool. I'll get back what I'm owed today plus interest later on. You just wait." Then she got all cheerful. All right, it's class time. Let's dip. And you were like, ah, oh, right. That's right. You'd answered totally clueless and just waited till Duhoro poofed away. Once you were alone, you mumbled to yourself, damn, I never knew she could even make a face like that. Then boom, the scene switches to a hallway. Inside Union Academy. So check it, Lai and Ruo are just vibing walking down the hall. But then this whole crew of randos from another class spots Ruo, and you just know it's about to go down. They straight up block her way. One of them goes, hey there, little lady, where you from? And Ruo just freezes up. But Lai, seeing these clowns trying to mess with her, immediately steps up and gets right in front of the pink-haired girl. And that move totally made the blue-haired dude raise an eyebrow and stare him down. The hell is this? He asked, all annoyed. Lai hit him back with a stone-cold voice. She's my classmate. What's your problem? And for some reason, just hearing that, the blue-haired jerk started getting heated. Huh, what kind of low-life bug thinks they can step to me, get lost? He screamed. But right then, you and Duhoro teleport right into the middle of the drama. You pipe up, hope we didn't miss the party. And suddenly all eyes are on you. Looks like we're just in time for the show to start, Duhoro adds. Meanwhile, you spot your friends up ahead, and you're all surprised, like, oh, what are you two doing? Aren't you supposed to be in class? On the other side of things, the blue-haired dude just clicks his tongue, super annoyed that you all know each other. But he still has to get an last-ditch threat like, you better watch your back, you punk. And after dropping that line, he and his two goons turn around and bail. You having just shown up are completely lost while Ruo stammers out, thank you. Yo, what's up with those guys? What just happened? You ask, totally confused, watching them walk off. Then time skips ahead, and now we're in a lecture hall. Some bald professor is droning on about the school's history. And so, the history of Union did not in fact begin when the chairman founded the academy, but rather when the tower appeared in the primordial space. Blah, blah, blah. But yo, in another corner, it's the same loser crew from before, and they're pointing a camera at Ruo, whispering, ooh, nice. Perfect for the collection. The bald one says, sounding like a total creep, while the red-haired dude in the middle gives her this nasty look. What's a bug like her even doing trying to climb the tower? Hearing that, the blue-haired leader just smirks and goes, oh, there's another job that's way more fitting for her? Fitting, one of his boys asks. Yeah, if she came over to my place to be a maid, she'd be getting the 5-star treatment every single day, he says with this super gross vibe. What a freak. Haha, if that's the case, I'm calling first dibs. And they all just bust out laughing. And they're not even trying to be quiet about it, which makes poor Ruo start trembling about to cry. Of course, Ewan and Lai, who are sitting right there, hear the whole thing and their faces get dark. Sigh, doesn't matter where you go. Trash people are the same everywhere. Ewan's thinking, but for real, what is this professor's deal? It's loud as hell in here and he's acting like nothing's happening. Is he just ignoring it or is he deaf? Meanwhile, Lai is totally over it and can't just sit there and watch this go down. So he gets up and calls out, Professor. The prof actually stops his lecture, turns around and is like, ah yes, were you calling me? Seeing how clueless he is, Lai realizes he has to be super direct. Sir, some of the other students are being way too loud and I can't focus on the lecture. Could you please do something about it? Hearing this, the blue-skinned professor just mumbles for a second before saying, all right, you all heard him. No talking during class. Please pay attention. Now where was I? Ah yes, the Renaissance of the Union. He just rushes through the command and jumps right back into his lecture, leaving both Lai and Ewan with their jaws on the floor. They're both thinking, seriously, that's it. Over on the other side, the three jerkwads see that Lai's complaint did absolutely nothing, and they immediately start ragging on him. Look at Mr. Perfect over there acting all high and mighty just 'cause he's got a pretty face. Oh, right is he, why I couldn't get her digits earlier. What are you two, a thing or something? No, we're not. Then why is he getting so bent out of shape? I mean, that girl is seriously stacked, am I right? Haha, you ain't wrong. Haha. All their nasty comments finally bring Ruo to tears, and Lai is so pissed he literally snaps the pen in his hand. But before Lai can go nuclear, Ewan puts a hand on his shoulder to calm him down. Yo, just chill. Lai just glares at Ewan and asks, are you seriously telling me to just let this slide? Even after hearing the trash they were talking about, their classmate Ewan was still totally calm, and replied, or what you gonna throw down a pointless fight ain't gonna solve a thing, and making a scene in class will just make it worse for us. Just chill out and watch this. And as he said that, Ewan whips out his phone and shows Lai a video he's recording Union History Class 1 live on YouTube. Lai is totally shocked, like, bro, what are you doing? Ewan just gives him this little smirk and says, there's more than one way to deal with a problem. When you're dealing with clowns who just run their mouths, the best play is to give them a taste of their own medicine. Hearing that, Lai's eyes went wide like he just figured it out, yelling, wait, Yun, don't even tell me. But without answering, Ewan just whipped out his phone and started tapping. Haha, go on and keep laughing, you absolute tools. Every nasty thing you're spewing in class is getting live streamed for the world to see right now. And just then, from a camera high up, the three troublemakers were still just casually talking mad trash. What's the point of a bug like her trying to climb the tower? If she came to my house to be a maid, I'd spoil her every single day. For real, what a psycho. And get this, the camera angle was coming from a tiny snake holding a camera in its mouth from way up high. The second those words hit the airwaves, the online chat absolutely exploded with hate. What the heck did he just call her a bug? Where are these dudes? What class is that? They gotta be the freshmen from class 7. Are you guys nuts? Where's the professor? This year's freshmen are totally unhinged. The nonstop flood of comments made UN grin from ear to ear. Oh yeah, the reaction is going nuclear. Real quick, the wannabe bad boys realized they were the internet's main character for the day. Yo, what the hell is this? A damn live stream who's filming Find the Camera. Quick, they yelled frantically, scanning the room. Just then, the green-haired dude spotted the little snake cam operator up high. Over there, he shouted to his two cronies next to him. However, before the goon squad could even try to snatch the little snake, it just poofed, vanishing right in front of their faces, leaving all three of them absolutely fuming. But there was one little thing they didn't get. Their whole chaotic act, buzzing around the classroom like a bunch of flies, had finally pushed the bald professor to his limit. Students, your attitude towards learning is a complete joke. You three were the ones making a scene just now, weren't you? State your names for the class and get out now, the professor ordered with ice in his voice. The vibe he was putting off was so intense that even the red-haired dude flinched. That's not it, Professor. Someone posted a video of us online, he blurted out. But the professor just shot back coldly. I don't care! And before the crew could say another word, he straight up booted them from the room. I told you to get out, he roared. Then he turned to warn the rest of the class. I'm giving them an F for the entire school year. And for the rest of you sitting here, stop distracting everyone. Just focus on the lesson. Back to UN, seeing the professor get so heated he was hyping him up in his head. Whoa, even a part-time prof isn't someone to mess with? Huh, still just getting an F after trashing Ruo like that is letting them off way too easy. UN mumbled and Lai nodded like no cap. But yeah, their student lives are basically over. As for Ruo, seeing the two of them go to bat for her, the pink-haired girl gave a sweet little smile and said, It's all good. This is enough. I'm fine now. Thank you both for helping me out. Looking at her super cute face, UN got kinda flustered and turned away. Nah, I didn't do anything, at least not with strength. I'm no match for you guys. That was just my way of handling things and it happened to work out. You don't have to thank me, he replied all modest. Even so, since you're the class prez, I can actually relax a little, Lai said with a smile. Time flies and the scene jumps to the combat arena. And of course those three scumbags had tracked down Lai looking for revenge. Yo, you pretty boy over there? They shouted. Lai turned his head and asked super coldly, What now? Is there a problem? What do you guys want this time? The three of them looked like they were about 2 seconds from jumping him. The green-haired guy growled. You better explain what happened yesterday, you little insect. The redhead was grinding his teeth too. Because of that stupid live stream yesterday, my grades are cooked. My friends are getting heat from the upperclassmen, and my own classmates are straight up avoiding me. Do you have any idea what you've done? Ignoring all that noise, Yuen glanced over at the professor, who was just chilling on the sidelines watching to see what he'd do. And just as he figured, the guy was just watching with a bucket of popcorn, basically showing no signs of stepping in. Look at that, Yuen thought. 3 students are waving weapons at their classmate, but the professor has zero intention of stopping them. Guess the professors and students here really don't give a crap about people from the secondary space, he thought to himself. I guess that tracks. Who pays attention to what happens to chickens and pigs? Meanwhile, Ruo immediately hid behind him. Back to the standoff. The blue and red-haired dudes gripped their weapons, growling all menacingly. What did you just say, you bastard? Hey, say that again, I dare you, they shouted, making a big scene like they were afraid nobody would hear them. Lai just let out a low growl, and his sword suddenly started glowing with this ferocious aura, which freaked the whole group out. Everyone was shook. They had no idea he was that strong. This was the first time they'd ever seen his power. The other 3 guys totally cowered. Their faces went ghost white, realizing they had picked a fight with the wrong dude. While Lai was absolutely livid, unleashing his power, and about to beat the brakes off them, luckily. Doha-jo zipped in and gave Lai a painful flick right on the forehead, stopping him from doing something reckless. You idiot, Doha-jo, is that you? Lai yelped while rubbing his head, his eyes tearing up from the pain. But before he could even ask her what was up, Doha-jo spoke first. You're being way too loud. Just because your whole vibe is influenced by a sword, you're acting all high and mighty. As she spoke, she flicked Lai's forehead again. It looked like Lai finally got what Doha-jo was trying to do, and immediately put the sword away. As soon as the sword vanished, Yuen felt that weird energy disappear too, letting him finally breathe a sigh of relief. Meanwhile, the blue-skinned professor leaning on a cane looked super annoyed. Tch, a lowly creature from a secondary dimension. How arrogant, he muttered before just turning his back and walking away. His whole pathetic tough guy act left Yuen and Lai totally speechless. That was a close call, wasn't it? Yuen glanced at his pink-haired friend. Meanwhile, Doha-jo was still chewing Lai out. You get your hands on one useful item and you're already shouting up a storm. Is that your true personality or what? As expected, Lai is the biggest ticking time bomb. A total ticking time bomb, you was thinking. So when the squad sat down for a bite, you didn't even touch his food, just poked at it before turning to Lee like, yo, I've been thinking like a lot. And for real at this rate, we're never gonna get any respect at this academy. Dude, what are you even on about? Lai shot back, totally caught off guard. Yuen's eyes went wide like so over it. Huh, what about me? Didn't I try to vibe with the professor? I even signed up for an official throwdown because I got called out. How are we even in the same boat? Hearing that, Lai's whole vibe just deflated. Yeah, about that. After seeing you flip out last time, I kinda wanted to fix things. Yeah, right. And you ended up making an even bigger mess. You cut him off. I seriously don't get you. You let the main clowns who started it walk and then try to square up with the professor. I'm sorry. Lai mumbled, his eyes literally welling up with tears. But honestly, Yu was way more freaked out about Lai's whole attitude with the sword. Normally, Lai wasn't that reckless. It was like someone totally flipped a switch on him. It was 100% that sword's fault. To make sure no more drama popped off. You got all serious and asked Lai, be real with me. You could actually handle that power from before, right? Lai slammed the table, all hyped up. Of course I could. If I couldn't, how'd I even pass the entrance exam? I was just pissed about the professor straight up lying earlier. Oh, so it was the asterisk lies asterisk? Well, yeah, lying is messed up, isn't it? You just smirked, his voice dripping with doubt, which made Lai like physically shudder. Trust me, I swear on everything. What happened today is never happening again, Lai declared, puffing out his chest. But of course, Dohojo couldn't resist jumping in. Good thing it didn't blow up into some huge disaster. I mean, watching you get totally puppeteered by a magic sword was kinda epic. Not gonna lie, you should get yelled at more. Alright, that's enough, Yuen said, seeing Lai had zero fight left in him, and was just slumped over the table, completely defeated. Dohojo just turned to Yuen and was like, by the way, Yuen, I'm starting to get what the professor was saying a few days ago. If we keep this up, our school life is gonna be pure chaos. If you've got any ideas for our future, spit it out now. As class prez, I want to hear what you're thinking. Hearing Dohojo put him on the spot like that, our boy was actually shook. Asterisk. My opinion, asterisk. After just a few days here, I'm already seeing the real problem. It's this whole vibe that some people are just born better. Or that where you come from makes you royalty. It's the insane level of shade thrown at people from the lower realms, and this ancient crusty system that says it's all good. What can a bunch of outsiders like us even do in a place where that's just... Like normal thinking about it made Yuen's head spin, so he just asked everyone, yo, what do we have to do to get everyone to like root for us? In other words, to get that clout, what's the game plan? Hearing this, the crew was kinda confused, but they threw out their ideas anyway. Communication, Lee said. Probably just being OP, Duro added. Yuen immediately shut that down. No, it's something you guys already have, and it's your looks. He said this while literally checking out his super hot friends, then Yuen dropped his master plan. Wait, so you want to make a channel and basically livestream our daily lives? One of them asked, completely floored. And our main character just nodded. Yep, on Earth where I'm from, that's how you get people on your side. We're gonna build a brand and broadcast it to everyone. When that image gets stuck in people's heads, it automatically makes them feel like they know you, right? That can turn into respect and even like standing, Yuen explained while messing with the camera angle and the background, then looked at Lai. He seemed to get the plan, but still had one question. But Yuen, if this is to get respect and all that, why do we have to have a fake fight? It's not a fake fight. It's a real one, Yuen corrected him, dead serious. And right on cue, Dohuru just blitzed him with a flurry of attacks. Lai was still kinda chilling, not taking it seriously, like asterisk for real. He wants us to actually fight out of nowhere, asterisk? He was muttering to himself while throwing a right hook. But like Dohuru instantly dodged it, smooth as anything. Yo, you don't have to worry, cause in a real fight, all it takes is getting rocked a few times to start taking it seriously, Duro said, grabbing Lai's collar and hitting him with a crazy shoulder throw. The landing was so hard, it literally made a crater in the floor, leaving Lai's head completely spinning. Doharo just taunted him. Oh wow, is that all you got? I knew it. Last time you were just getting carried by that artifact anyway. What's the point of even pulling out that sword? Even if you did, you're probably not good enough to hang with me, Duro said, totally roasting him, which made Lai clench his teeth so mad. Not able to take the diss, Lai screamed and charged into another brawl with Dohuro. Seeing them go at it so hard, Yuen was hyping them up like crazy. Yes, that's it. Lai, you're killing it, he said, trying to find the most fire angle to film from. Seeing how stoked Yuen was, Ruo asked, a little worried. Hey, Yuen, is this for real gonna make our school life easier? I'm still not really getting it. Yuen just laughed, not totally sure how to explain the genius. Well, it's not gonna be an overnight fix, but I promise you it'll work, he said, then gave her an example. Just imagine if the dudes who always mess with us knew how ridiculously awesome you guys are. They wouldn't even dare to breathe in our direction again. Makes sense, right? Ruo nodded, finally getting it. See, look at them. They're treating the floor like it's made of freaking tofu. Our boy said, laughing at the busted up floor under their fists. Anyway, we won't know till we post it. So don't trip, Ruo. Because a beauty like you is way too classy for all that worrying. Don't you know pretty people get even prettier when they smile? That one's on the house, Ruo. You have a face that people would simp for anywhere. It's a total waste to keep frowning like that. So just drop the worries and enjoy the show. He said it so smoothly that as if under a spell, Ruo just instantly smiled. Ruo's mind totally chilled out, and for some reason, a smile just popped onto her face. It was insane. Every time she heard Yu talk, she just believed everything would be okay, just like he said. Anyway, back to the beatdown. Even though Lai was trying his best, he was basically getting used as a punching bag by Dakozone. "Where do you think you're going? I'm just getting warmed up," the sword goddess said, cracking her knuckles. Meanwhile, a teary-eyed Lai was screaming to Yuan for help. "OMG, Yuan, save me, she's a total monster." So, get this, she was totally convinced everything was gonna be just peachy. But nope, back to the chaos, and poor Lai, bless his heart, was trying his best. But Ruo's over there literally bawling her eyes out like, "I can't eat this. It tastes like straight-up soap." But then she's all, "But I'll do it, for the YouTube channel." The drama. Channel. You were all like, "Chill, Ruo. You'll get used to it after you try it." But she was totally whining like, why do we even have to film this?" Anyway, time goes on, and the class prez has this bright idea for all the 11th graders to start dropping vlogs about their daily lives on the channel. The whole squad's little rebellion. And girl, just like you called it, they got a crazy reaction, especially the vid of the throwdown between Lai and Duzone. Just seeing the pure chaos they unleashed was enough to leave everyone totally shook. Whoa, for real, aren't they from a subspace or something? They're brand new. But before anyone could even process a video of the four of them playing some weird game popped up. Yo, what even is that? Somebody wondered. It's called the boss game, some ancient game for master negotiators. You literally just slide rocks on a piece of paper. Like what, this is a game. That subspace is on another level, man. Look, the rules are so simple, how can he not get it? Haha, someone laughed seeing Lai take the L so fast. The next clip was Professor Yuma, and the second she showed up, the simp army flooded the comments. OMG, Professor Yuma is literally an angel. Then it cuts to Ruo crying into her veggie noodles, and the viewers were living for it. Haha, so freaking cute, adorable. Ruo, are you from heaven? I'd on to the next one. Is the next video a live stream that's sick? Hold up, it's scheduled for tomorrow. Yeah, early in the morning. Wait a damn minute. Isn't tomorrow the tower climbing day? Someone totally freaked out. And when they looked closer, they saw it was a pre-scheduled broadcast. So back to our crew. Even our boy didn't expect the vids to get so much love. No way, I can't believe it. Why are there so many people watching? Ruo was buggin'. As for you, he could not care less. He was all about the stats. Our channel hit 100 subs in one day. We're blowing up, you announced all hyped. Meanwhile, Lai was looking salty AF, totally fuming. Why is the video of me getting my butt kicked the one that's going viral? Lai whined. At that exact moment, the gorgeous and classy Professor Yumina noticed the squad's vibe and came over to gas them up. This is just wonderful. Union is a place full of some wild stuff where everything's just become the norm. No student has ever thought about making content, but you all cleverly cooked up your own channel, weaving yourselves right into the scene. Creating entertainment and connecting with people? I never would have thought of it. Hearing that, you immediately zipped over to Flex. Yeah, our first fight video is super famous. Hey, take it down, Lai cried out practically in tears. Just drop it. The professor clapped once, getting their attention. All right, settle down. Today we're going into the tower. You all know the deal, right? You ready? Hearing that, the whole crew nodded, looking totally confident. Meanwhile, our main character looks over at his friends and just freezes. Wait a minute, I just peeped this. Am I the only one wearing a uniform? Why is everyone else dressed for a mission? In response, the whole squad just turned and stared at Yuen like he had 3 heads. Dude, we're gonna be fighting nonstop in the tower. We just picked comfy clothes we can actually move in. Exactly. If I gotta throw down this outfit makes me feel the safest, Ruo added, nodding. Oh, I see, Yuen whispered. So is the fit you're wearing okay? Lai shot back. Hearing this, Yuen got all deep in thought. Okay, I get it. I came from a peaceful place, so I don't really have any battle gear. But I chose this life. If I have to jump into a life or death battle... Thinking that, he adjusted his tie like a total boss and said, This is more than enough for me. Turning back to the professor, she saw the squad was ready and gave them a nod. Hey, so you're all geared up. Let's roll. After she said that, she snapped her fingers and a whole magic circle lit up under them. A flash of light and bam, they were teleported right in front of the Tower of Babel. And let me tell you, tons of other students were waiting to get inside. The second they appeared, the crowd knew exactly who they were. Huh, ain't that the crew from the Rebels channel? Seriously, they came too, some dude with brown hair yelled. Meanwhile, Ruo was looking around like a lost puppy. Wait, this is the entrance to the tower. It opens at dawn, but you have to line up by class rank. So we're in the 52nd group, Yuen explained. This made Ruo go pale. Are we the very first freshman class to go in? You can just see it as us being high level, she said with a shrug. While they were waiting, Lai spotted the 3 goons who used to give him grief standing nearby. Oh, it's those guys. I feel like they're looking at us way different than before, right? The swordsman wondered, seeing the trio look away all shy, not even daring to make eye contact. Faced with that reaction, Yuen was feeling petty and satisfied. Well, they did subscribe to our channel after all. Over here, the swordswoman Hojan spoke up. Yeah, but we're still getting some death stares. She said this side-eyeing Ector who was staring daggers at Yuen. Hey, my guy Yuen, she warned him, but she didn't even need to say much. Yuen already knew what was up. I know, let's go. After saying that, he led the squad inside. As he walked, he thought, today's the tower climb, and next Tuesday is the showdown with Ector. I've only got 4 days left. In that time, I'm gonna hit a power level Ector can't even dream of touching. Before the crew officially started the climb, Professor Elamanina gave some final words. Okay, last thing, just for safety. I hope you guys can finish this trip early and be back before the weekend. But it's probably best to let you guys decide right. How long do you think this little adventure will take? Hearing the question, Yuen turned to the others and said, We're all on the same vibe anyway, so let me talk. Yeah, okay, bet. The other 3 nodded. Yuen turned to Illumina, his voice dead serious. We'll be back like we promised in 3 days and 2 nights. As he said it, he pulled out a mini-robot to get the livestream prepped. Seeing the group had a solid plan, Illumina could only wish them luck. All right, then please be careful out there. After saying bye to their prof, the group of 4 and their little robot buddy stepped into the gate. Yuen thought to himself, Ansys, please watch my back. And then cue the flashback to when Yuen's crew asked Illuminina about filming in that busted tower. You're talking about recording inside the tower for real? Illuminina asked, double-checking. Yuen just nodded. That's right. I'm gonna record everything that goes down and this robot here will... to handle the filming. He pointed to this little teardrop-shaped robot floating around him, another one of Jan's automated gadgets just like Evie and Lilith. Then Illumina jumped in saying how film crews used to go in to scout strats, so she hit him with a reality check. So you think that's gonna help? This tower's layout literally changes every second, you know? Yuen was totally lost, like for real. Dude had absolutely no clue. Then Lai the Knight, who was busy looking at a screen, just nodded. To confirm. She's right, Yuen. If you'd actually read the guide, it says the tower is always shifting and any outside tech just dies in here super fast. Yuen was shook. Wait, what does that even mean? So Illumina had to break it all down for him. Okay, so every floor in the tower is like one big room. When you beat a monster or get past a trap, the whole space just morphs into the next room. They call this a shift. The more you do it, the deeper you get. Asked all curious, so the rooms are actually like moving when they shift. And Illumina's like, exactly. And once you're through, you can't go back to the room you were just in. Lai then asked, all worried, do the monsters and traps change too? Illumina was like, oh, for sure. With every single shift, the monsters get tougher and the traps get way more lethal. Then Doe, after taking a sip of his tea, drops a super serious question. What if someone actually dies climbing this thing? Yuen and Lai just froze. They were totally bugging, realizing this was way more serious than they thought. Like, oh snap, what if we actually die in a fight? They completely forgot about that little detail and started to freak out. Illumina answered super carefully. Okay, that is the main question, but contrary to what you're worried about, in most spots in the tower, challengers don't actually die for good, even if they get taken out. Yuen let out the biggest sigh of relief, like, phew, thank God. Both of them were just so glad they weren't going to actually lose their lives in the tower. But then Illumina kept going. To be exact, if you die, you just get teleported back to the tower's entrance. Huh, you mean we gotta start over from floor 1? Yuen asked, totally shocked. Not at all. Your student IDs basically log your shift history, so when you come back, you can just jump in right where you got knocked out. That's why your student ID is like crazy important when you're climbing this thing. So seriously, don't you dare forget it. Got it. As she's saying this, she points to this necklace in her hand that literally says, teleportation none, no return. Yikes. Anyway, back to our boys. After hearing their teacher's whole rundown, they were totally getting video game vibes. Lai was all hyped like, haha, this is just like an RPG with a save function. If I can just respawn after I die, I can challenge this thing as many times as I want. But meanwhile, Du was the only one really listening. He was paying super close attention to her words. Wait a sec, you said that in most areas of the tower, challengers don't die, right? Does that mean there are still places or times where it's actually life or death? That the tower doesn't 100% guarantee your safety? Hearing that question, the whole squad just whipped their heads around to stare at Illumina waiting for the tea. Is that true? You're a sharp one, Du. Yes, that's right. I'll now explain the special situations where even you guys could get totally wiped out. The teacher's voice got dead serious, but of course the author cuts the scene right there. Anyway, back to the squad. They're now going ham on a swarm of nasty toxic green slimes inside the tower. These little monsters are called glitz, and they're infamous for tearing up your gear and stealing your weapons. But to Yuen's crew, they were basically a joke, nothing more than a pile of mud, with just a single swing of his sword. Lai took down 3 slimes easy peasy, while Dako-Jan just flicked her fingers, shooting out magic bullets that made him explode midair. While those two were throwing down, Yun was over here messing with a wall lamp, but it looked like it wasn't working. Just as I thought, it's a no-go. I can totally feel the concept of fire, but I can't pull it out. I could do this in other dungeons, so why not here? Figuring this out is the key to unlocking my powers. While Yun's frowning all deep in thought, Daojun clocks him staring at the lamp and calls him out. Hey Yun! He jumped like, my bad, I was totally spacing out. You said you needed a sec to think. So did you figure anything out? She asked. Yun just shook his head. I was trying to see if I could yank the fire out, but it looks like I can't. Really, that's a bummer. If you could, we could have totally used the terrain to our advantage, Daojun said, looking disappointed. Whoa, now let's not jump to any wild conclusions about my powers, okay? Yun replied, all awkward. And while they're chatting, a little green slime starts creeping up on them. It gets right up to Daojun's heel and then it just lunges. It spread out in the air like it was about to swallow her whole. But before it even got close, a supersonic chain just shot out and blasted the little creep into a puddle of goo. That attack, of course, was from Yun. Seeing him use such a weird and cool weapon, Daojun was like, oh, so that's what that little Autobot of yours does in a fight. Yeah, pretty much. Yun nodded, then waved his hand to send Y into the fight. And thanks to its own independent soul, Yun barely had to give it any commands. It just flew around automatically, wiping out all the critters at a crazy speed. Even Daojun had to admit, not bad. That thing is pretty fast. Yun shot back with this weird little smile. Actually, I've got something way stronger, but it's a little noisy. Hearing that, Daojun just glanced over at Wuzhou and asked, can it compete with asterisk or asterisk? And right then, as they watched, Wuzhou went completely beast mode as her hand morphed into some kind of monster claw. With just one swipe, she tore a giant hole in the floor, sending dust and rocks flying everywhere. This is insane. The first rule of combat is to be sneaky, not to announce your location to everyone. And she's over here screaming in a place like this? Dujan just shook her head so over Wuzhou's whole style. Meanwhile, Yun was also kind of stunned. Haha, Wuzhou's fighting style is just pure instinct, huh? Galion, Wuzhou screamed, making Daojun, who was standing right behind them, just grind her teeth. So loud! Does she have to scream every single time she swings her sword? She grumbled. Time flew by and the crew finished clearing out the hallway. It looks like this room was just filled with critters. Monsters at this level are a complete joke to us, right? Lai said, all cool and collected. But right then, Wuzhou let out another massive yell, and you could practically hear Daojun's teeth grinding in frustration. She's screaming in a place like this. Daojun just shook her head, totally done with Wuzhou's vibe. See, this room was just small fry. Monsters on this level are nothing to us, right? Lai said again, super calm. But just then, Yun began to. So he uses his freaky poison eye to scope things out, and instantly clocks this super weird energy coming off a stone tablet up ahead. He's like, yo, Wuzhou, go wreck that thing. And Wuzhou, being the absolute unit he is, just lets out this massive roar and charges. He just decks the tablet so hard that the monster inside got totally deleted before it could even finish loading in, LOL. The punch literally made the whole hallway shake. And they're like, OMG, did we just one-shot a high-level boss before the cutscene even started? And it dropped a souped-up magic core. Like what Lai is just standing there completely dazed, all that's it for real? He was totally prepped for some epic showdown, you know, so he completely missed Yu swooping in and snagging the loot. But the second she touches the core, her pink hair starts turning this insane fiery red. At the same time, Yu spots these words literally materializing over her head saying furnace core. He's like, Yuchu, your hair's getting like way darker, while also trying to figure out the floating text. Furnace core, does that mean like a furnace in her heart or something? Turns out it's this whole concept of burning your emotions for fuel to get OP, just like a berserker. And Yu's just like, oh, I get it now. So is her hair gonna go full Super Saiyan red? Then he starts thinking, okay, things are finally clicking. And Yuchu, probably sensing he's having a whole galaxy brain moment, nervously tugs on his sleeve and asks, hey, was I like super scary just now? And he flashes this totally fake smile and goes, nah, not at all, you were actually super clutch. But like, what if it gets worse? Yuchu starts to stammer, but Dude Jun just cuts her right off. I already said it's fine. What are you still tripping about? If you're scared of losing control, don't even worry. I'll just, log you out permanently to prevent any damage, she says with a dead serious face, making Yuchu's eyes well up with tears instantly. The other two totally freak out and yell, no, Dude Jun, chill. If even one person gets knocked, we have to restart this whole freaking dungeon from room 1. Our boy quickly throws his hand up to stop her, but Dude Jun just calmly lays out her point. Look, if things keep going like this, maybe only the 3 of us will be able to get out of here. Then she pauses, shakes her head, and goes even harder. Nah, scratch that. I think it would be way better if just the 2 of us level up. Oof, savage. Hearing that Lai just breaks down, tears streaming down his face. Hey, wait a minute. What about me? He screams, feeling totally left out of the group chat. And Yu is just wondering to himself. Bro, why is he getting so pressed all of a sudden? Then he turns to Yuchu, who's still totally stressing about her new power-up. Yu gently touches her shoulder to calm her down. Listen, I'm gonna think this through for real. I totally get why you're worried, and as the team captain, I swear I'll find a solution. Yu's super warm smile makes Yuchu's whole face light up. She grabs his hand and is like, "Thank you, Yu." And faced with that, my boy Yu starts blushing. And scratching his head all, it's whatever. That's what a captain's for. Meanwhile, Lai and Dujun are on the sidelines looking absolutely disgusted. Wow, so you're just like every other guy. The second you see a pretty face, your brain just shuts off. Dujun says with so much shade, Yu immediately claps back. Whoa, that's a total misunderstanding. I'm perfectly normal around you. Then Lai chimes in. Guys, aren't you all letting your guard down like way too much? After clearing the floor, they hit a teleport spell and dip to the next level. Lai all business announces, teleportation complete. We're in the second room. He crouches down, picks up some random weeds and adds, besides some moss and weeds, I don't see how this place is any different from the last one. Meanwhile, Yu is still totally zoned in on that magic core they got from the first floor. The one from that instant kill monster that Yuchu had given him. As he's thinking about it, the core's stats pop up in his face. Life 8, demonic 11, melting 12, acid 5, resistance 1. Looking at these numbers, Yu is so disappointed. Are you kidding me? This dungeon is a total waste of time. The amount of concepts you can get in one room is on par with a single goblin cave. Lame. Acid and melting are decomposition skills for breaking down materials, probably because we clapped a chlorite. I'll absorb the melting concept into my sword. And as for the acid, obviously that's for you. He tosses the acid orb to his little snake EV, but the thing is way too big for it. The little guy is just staring wide-eyed like it can't even swallow it. Do-jun's watching all this curious. She sneaks over and asks, "This little dude is getting strong crazy fast, huh?" Her voice makes Yu jump out of his skin. "Hey, don't just sneak up on me and talk like that." Do-jun just complains, "If you trained your senses a little, you wouldn't get startled so easily." While those two are bickering, Lai's like, "You guys are unbelievable. The monsters in room 2 are about to spawn. Can you be serious for like 5 seconds?" And right on cue, a bunch of magic circles appear in front of them, about to summon some baddies. Before Lai can even finish his sentence, Do-jon just fires off a magic bullet, making the black smoke just poof. So much for being serious. See, this second room doesn't seem any different than the first one. Come on. A lion doesn't get taken out by a bunch of ants, no matter how careless it is, right? She just shrugs, totally not worried. Just then, on the second floor, a black smoke thing in the shape of a person shows up. It was an evil spirit, some nasty creature that literally snacks on people's mana. Lai is immediately against fighting them head on. If we're this careless, we're gonna get wrecked. I suggest we let you handle the fighting in this second room. What do you all think? A girl suggests, which totally startles Lai. But like everyone knew, Yu was still kinda weak, so they all shot it down immediately. What are you talking about? That's way too dangerous. Still smiling like she knows something, chimes in. I think that's a pretty good idea. We have that insane match next week. He needs to grind his skills like now, right? As she said it, she looked over at Yu, totally teasing him. At these words, you could only laugh. Riley, huh man, you're really something else. All right, fine, let me try handling this myself. With that, he starts rolling his arms, looking totally hyped for the fight. Lai couldn't help but worry, saying, "UN, it's dangerous." But Yu wasn't listening. He was determined to level up. It's okay. Just like Do-jun said, I need to get stronger fast. It'd be a waste for you guys to use up your energy. Here, you two will help me improve the fastest, right? Woojo just nods in agreement. Yeah, if you say so, then I'll trust you. All right, but if anything dangerous happens, I'm jumping in immediately, Lai added. Thanks a lot, guys. So, get this. He cracks a smile and turns to Do-jun like, I'd bet. You just chill and save your energy. I know you're gonna go all out for me later, right? And Do-jon just hits him with this super smug grin all, I mean, I can at least promise you won't like die from trying too hard, you know now. Hearing her say that, UN was like, I'd bet. He totally hyped himself up, screaming, let's get it. And bam, my dude literally just whips out an AK-47 and starts spraying. The whole monster squad got absolutely wrecked before they even knew what hit them. Bro Lai and Vucho were shook like they almost passed out. They were like, what in the world is that? Is that some kind of special toy from your home planet? The way he just deleted them was insane. If only our army had those. Equipped with this, Lai was probably wishing. Meanwhile, Do-jon is just chilling in the back, analyzing everything. She's like, is that a Cheong-na? It's spitting out metal slugs. It could probably take down a B-list assassin. Maybe even an A-lister. Very useful in the martial world for sure. But she's thinking it only shoots straight, which is cool from far away, but in a tight spot like this, he's gonna get clapped. Like, what if someone sneaks up on his blind spot? And girls speak of the devil. The second she thinks it, some creepy spirit jumps out of the shadows right at Yuan's back. Lai and Vucho are screaming their heads off like, Yuan, but our boy's got reflexes for days. He just yoinks a whole ass longsword out of his inventory. And with one clean slice swing it's in 2 pieces. The spirit got diced before it could even say boo. Yuan's like, ha, you almost gave me a heart attack, letting out a huge sigh just like Lai and Vucho. Phew, what was that, Yo Yuan? What's the deal with that sword? Lai asked. Yuan replied. Oh, this old thing. It's just my longsword with magic sword at 12, Slayer at 19, blood toxin at 9, and melt at 12. But you didn't know I had these moves. Hearing that, the other two just started gassing him up like crazy, while the group was just standing around gossiping. A whole tsunami of evil spirits rushes them from behind, trying to catch them slipping. So back to Yuan. He's hearing all this praise, but he's not getting a big head about it. He just plays it cool. It's no biggie for real. Compared to Lion Dujan, I'm still a total noob. As he's saying this, he gets a death grip on his sword, ready to finish off the rest. Dujan is watching his whole vibe, just nodding, totally digging it. With that slick gun and sword combo, our boy wasn't even sweating about getting jumped by these ghouls. It wasn't long before the whole second floor was basically empty except for just one sad, lonely-looking spirit just standing there looking all embarrassed. Yuen's just chill like, welp, don't see any more of them. Guess this is the last one. After we clap this fool, we can bounce. Let's take a quick breather. After saying that, he tells his little snake thingy to turn into chains, and it just wraps up the spirit super tight so it can't dip. The rest of the crew uses the chance to chill for a sec. Then Dujan kneels down to check out the leftover monster goo of the evil spirits. She's like, the blade just straight up melted them. He's using that power he picked up in the last room. Based on all this and his sword skills, it's so obvious he's never been in a real battlefield. So how did he get so good so fast? She's wondering. Meanwhile, Lai and Vucho are still on their hype train, just gassing Yuan up. Dude, coming up with that teleport move, you're a freaking genius. Only, like, a total pro could think of something that slick. Haha, for real. Yuen's just scratching his head all shy, getting praised for something so small. Even Dujan had to admit, good job. That final slash was fire. Huh, really? Well, thanks. Yuan replied all happy. But then, of course, she shakes her head and adds, I mean, you were a little too obsessed with going fast, but it was way better than some idiot who just flails their sword around wildly. And as she says it, she's stroking her chin, throwing some serious shade at Lai, which got the knight so triggered. What are you calling me the idiot I was fighting my hardest to? Dujan just plays dumb like, did I say your name, how'd you know, slashing into the darkness while screaming. If that's not peak idiot behavior, I don't know what is. She clapped back while Lai was still stubbornly arguing. Hey, that's how I was taught to use a sword, dark or not. Turning back to Yuan, he was totally ignoring their bickering, and just casually pulls a can of soda out of his inventory laughing, haha, you guys are something else, I swear. We're on a break and you've got more energy than ever. His voice kinda died out when he saw the other three just staring at him with their jaws on the floor. With this wild look, Dujan's face got all serious and she demanded, Yo, Yuan, what are you holding out on us? Vucho was also giving him major puppy dog eyes. I heard that fizzy sound, and then it smelled so sweet. Yuan quickly pointed to the can in his hand and was like, oh, this they sell 'em outside. Lai hit him with an ice-cold voice. Yeah, 'cause you get to go outside. We don't. Yuan was like, whoa, chill out. My bad for drinking it alone. I wanted to share it with you, but I don't have a lot. Besides, this stuff only really works when you're totally wiped. It's kinda useless for you guys right now. And with that, he yeeted the can back into his inventory. In reality, Yuan was just totally bluffing, but Dujan's crew bought it completely. What if I get exhausted, I'll take on the third room, the Sword Queen said, starting to warm up. Seeing this, Yuan was immediately like, huh, wait a second. Didn't you just say I needed to do it myself to get better? Why the sudden change of heart? Hearing that, Dujan just puffed out her cheeks and gave him the silent treatment, probably thinking, I've never had that drink before. I'm not letting him hog it all. Hey, that drink was originally for... Lai reminded Doyan with a total side-eye. Anyway, after they finished their break, Yuan finished off that poor evil spirit to stop it from being mentally tortured by the group's drama. The second it poofed, a teleport circle lit up under them, taking them to the next floor. All right, we're porting out, Lai announced. While they were waiting, Yuan took the chance to check out his gains from the last floor. This was his stat screen. Vitality 129, physique 72.8 soul, a whopping 350 mana, 101 martial arts 62, swordsmanship 36, Dongshu Yen 26, leadership 7, piloting 15, resistance 2, all poison eyes 115, all hearing ears 105, and all speaking divine lips 107. Dude, compared to when I first got here, my stats have gone through the roof. This is insane. This level is already the school average, and I've barely even swung my sword. Even my swordsmanship and that new piercing skill I just learned got a boost. With gains like these, I should totally focus on grinding my swordsmanship. That match coming up on Tuesday? Yeah, it's all gonna depend on how much I can level up my martial arts. My physique and my erectors are separated by like more than 200 strength points. NGL, that's a crazy gap to close. Catch up to him in like a single week, no matter how hard I grind. But real talk, after training with Doho-Jan, I get it now. Having skills is one thing, but actually leveling them up and making them your own, that's the real tea. As for leveling up my own skills, man, if Doho-Jan could just teach me a little more. He shot a hopeful look at the swordswoman, but then like immediately cringed at himself. Oh, what am I even thinking? Doho-Jan is a total beast, but relying on her is gonna make things super weird. It's just not a good look. Gotta think this through. I've still got time. He was totally spacing out, rubbing his forehead when bam! The teleportation magic popped off, zapping them to the third floor. And while Yu was lost in his own head, a blood-curdling scream from Lai totally snapped him out of it. Yo, dude, what are you doing? Wake up! Hearing that, Yu jolted and realized all three of them were just straight up plummeting. He glanced down at the rapidly approaching ground and his face went ghost white. What is this? Why are we falling? Oh my god, did the floor just peace out on us? Yu was in a total daze while Vucha was just losing her mind, screaming and trying to hold her skirt down. Yu looked down again, and yikes, a massive spike trap was just waiting to turn them into human kebabs. Without even thinking, he sicked his little snake on it, and it morphed into a chain wrapping around Vucho and yanking her from certain death with like 0 seconds to spare. Up top, Yu was just hanging onto the chain with one hand, catching his breath. Phew, that was way too close. Thank you, Yu, Vucho yelled out. He was scoping the place out, thinking, what the heck is this? What kind of messed up teleport is this? And why is this room so freaking huge? Plus a trap right where you land. Seriously, could this place be? An image of a certain dungeon flashed in his mind. But before he could even say it, the swordswoman's voice cut through the air. Hey, you! Move it or lose it! Hearing her, Yu whipped his head around to where the sound came from, and you'll never guess what he saw. Vucho was just casually standing on the ceiling like it was the floor. How did you even get up there? He yelled, completely shook. But Vucho didn't even bother explaining. She just warned him, if you just chill there, you're gonna get turned into a shish kebab. What, me? He was still totally clueless. And right then, these little windows on the walls flew open, and a bajillion spears and lances shot out right at him. This was bad. So bad. Crap, I can't just ditch Vucho. With that thought, Yu went full-on beast mode, swinging his right arm and flinging the chain and Vucho's entire body up into the air. At the same time, he summoned his flying motorcycle Lilith to keep from falling. With his insane reflexes, Yu managed to get them both out of the hot zone. After that, he quickly zipped the chain back and caught Vucho in a total princess carry. Gotcha! You good? Sorry, that was a little rough, but it was getting dicey back there. I didn't have a choice. Hearing him say that, Vucho's face went bright red and she was all like, I'm okay. Alright, then hang on for dear life, Vucho. It looked like this place was still packed with traps. Yu said, scanning the room and immediately seeing another volley of spears about to shoot out from some pillars in another corner. Nilai was also dealing with a storm of flying axes. But LOL, these basic level attacks were like child's play for him. With just a few flicks of his sword, Lai shattered every single axe, while 2 pairs of massive wings just popped out of his back, letting him just hover there. Still, Lai was confused, like, what is going on? Professor Alamanina said traps don't show up until the 20th floor. But we're only on floor 3. Isn't this difficulty spike like totally busted? And, Yuen, what the heck is that thing you just pulled out? Lai said, looking over at Yuen, who was busy weaving through spears on his flying bike. Back with Yuen, he was gritting his teeth, thinking, this is absolutely bonkers. Traps are just popping off from everywhere. This whole setup, what even is this place? Meanwhile, Vucho was, get this, actually having a blast on the thrill ride. Maybe she got a little too comfy because she remembered Yuen telling her to hold on tight and, well, Vucho decided to take that literally. She happily wrapped her arms around Yuen's waist and pressed her whole vibe against his back, making Yuen's face go nuclear. Whoa, okay, what was that? My back is suddenly on fire, he thought. Just then an arrow flew by and tagged the bike's tail, making Lilith yelp in pain and totally swerve. That was close, Yuen yelled, just as a golden blade swooped in and just wrecked the spears that were chasing them. It was Lai. He showed up and was like, you were flying straight, what was that spaz out for Yuen? Yuen slammed on the brakes and stared at Lai, totally stunned. Huh, Lai, what's with the wings? Before I answer that, I got one for you. What is that thing you're riding? Is this another one of those things from your world? Lai asked, super curious. This is a flying motorcycle. Bro, you've seriously never seen one of these. Yuen shot back a little surprised. A flying motorcycle, what's that? Lai just stared at him, completely clueless, with total confusion in his eyes. Seeing that look, Yuen knew the guy had zero idea what he was talking about. Not wanting to get stuck on it, Yuen looked around and asked, oh hey, where's Hojan? Hearing that, Lai totally blanked, realizing he'd completely forgotten about her. Oh shoot, you're right. I haven't seen her at all. You think she got by one of the traps? Lai asked, starting to freak out a little. Yuen immediately shook his head. Nah, no shot. She's way too slick for that. She's gotta be around here somewhere just watching how things play out. As they kept moving, Lai asked again, so what's the plan? How do we shut all these traps down? Yuen thought for a sec, then said, okay, so according to the guide, we basically just have to survive for a certain amount of time. I don't know exactly how long or how it works, but for now you head that way. Lai. I'm gonna try to figure this mess out. Lai nodded and zipped off where Yuen pointed. Meanwhile, Yuen was hyper-focused on the windows, spitting out javelins trying to decode the trap patterns. Okay, so they're all aggroed on Lai. Looks like they go after whatever's moving. I shouldn't have been so reckless. Ugh, I'm such an idiot. Yuen was beating himself up over it when Vucho called out, Yuen over there. Yuen turned and pulled the arrow that was stuck in the back of his ride. Tisk! This could have really messed up Lilith. I need to tell everyone to stop flying around like crazy. But if we stop moving, how do we get out of here? While he was trying to figure a way out of this death room without setting off every single trap, Yuan suddenly saw the arrow in his hand just dissolve into light. Whoa, hold up, what is even happening right now? Did I just absorb something? It feels like I just downloaded a concept. Why is this happening all of a holdup? What I couldn't read squat in the last room, so why now? This can't be random. Yuan's brain was doing backflips, but then he was like, nah, maybe it's just a fluke. Gotta test this theory out for real. So, my guy touches a sword nearby and bam, it totally dissolves in his hand just like that. Unreal Yuan's just staring shook at these two words floating over his palm thinking, wait, the concept I got is behead, not sword. Just like last time, the concept was way different than what the item actually was. But before he could even process it, Vucho starts freaking out like, yo Yuan, look. Yuan whips around and sees Lai getting totally yeeted by a massive wave. Lai, you moron, Yuan screams. My dude Lai is struggling for his life trying not to get washed away. He's thinking, dang it, I totally dropped the ball. I thought it was just the weapons I had to worry about, not some random flash flood trap. And he's like, yo, there's definitely something messed up in this water. My body's going numb and my vision's getting all fuzzy. He knows he's not going to be able to handle whatever's next. Then he sees a whole bunch of spears flying right at him and completely panics, because there's no way he can block all of them. He's basically thinking, I'm so dead. But way back, Yuan spots his boy in deep trouble, so he revs up his bike and peels out to save the day. As our main character speeds off, Vucho remembers what he'd just told her. He was like, my bad Vucho, I'm about to do something crazy and I can't drag you into it. Just hang tight for a sec. And she just whispers, go get him, Yuan. So back to our boy Yuan, he's driving and reaches out to touch the water shooting out of the trap. And boom, the second he does, he gets new concepts. From this concept, you have obtained more than 10 points for acid and wave. He's like, knew it just like before. I touched water, but the concept I got was wave, not water. Okay, now I get it. It's all clicking now why the last one was behead instead of sword. Meanwhile, while everyone else is scrambling to dodge traps, our girl Do-John is just casually parkouring across the pillars like it's nothing. Total boss. But get this! Her eyes are glued to Yuan as he's racing towards Lai. She can tell he's cooking up a plan. She's frowning like, Yuan, what the heck are you about to do? Back with Yuan, he's running through everything he's learned on the fly. It's all about the state of the thing when it shows up. That's what decides the concept. He's thinking, those hidden weapons before were aimed at the neck, that's why the concept was behead, not sword. And with that little epiphany, it looks like he's cracked the code on how to deal with these traps. Yuan screams at Lai. I got this, asterisk, and then my dude floors it straight up, charging headfirst into the flying weapons. As he's speeding up, he's preying on the low. Let the depths of the myriad venomy expand. Let me see through their asterisk, essence, or even better. Let me read the freaking asterisk intent asterisk of these traps. Asterisk. He activates the myriad venomy, and suddenly he can see the concepts of every single weapon below him. Lai has no clue what's happening, and his eyes are bugging out. He's in total disbelief, like, what is he doing? He's driving right into the traps. Asterisk. But Yuan's ignoring him. He's got a game plan. He thinks, I bet I don't even have to absorb them all. If I just mix them up and wreck their form, that should do it. Then, in his palm, this sphere of concepts starts forming. It's pulling in all the concepts around it, and the weapons just start dissolving. Poof. Gone. Seeing that Yuan knew, he nailed it. All right, asterisk, he yells. The second he stops, Lai runs over all worried like, yo dude, you good? Yeah, I'm fine. Lai, man, I'm just glad you're okay. Haha, for real, we were almost toast back there. Yuan laughs. So, what was that whole thing just now? Lai asks. Yuan shows him the concept sphere and is like, dude, your guess is as good as mine. It's like everything just mushed together into this thing. This blob. I think I just scored something insane. Lai is totally impressed. Looks like you just unlocked a new power-up, my guy. Charging a trap head-on like that was totally beast mode. But he barely gets the words out before they hear a ton of whooshing sounds. It's more spears flying in from a distance. But before Yuan or Lai even have to move, Do-John and Wujo just zip in and smack all the weapons away. Classic. After she's done John gives them this ice-cold warning. If you two don't stop being so reckless, you're gonna get yourselves into real trouble. Like serious trouble sooner or later. Ha, thanks you guys. I was seriously about to be a shish kebab, Yuan says, all relieved. Meanwhile, Do-John shoots a look at Lai and smirks. Look at you. Almost got seriously messed up and you're still this sloppy. What did you say? Lai snaps back, gritting his teeth. So after the squad finishes cleaning up the rest of the traps, this teleportation circle just pops up under their feet. Guess that means they cleared this nightmare of a floor. Oh, looks like that was the last one. Trap. We're getting zapped out of here again, Wujo says, looking kinda worried. Meanwhile, Lai and Doko-John are still going at it. What is your problem? Don't you think you're being a little extra with someone who almost just died? Lai demands. But Doko-John isn't having it. She claps back with major sarcasm. Well, whose fault is it that you almost got taken out by such a lame trap showing up right at the last second to act all cool? You totally planned that, didn't you? Lai is just grinding his teeth, and all he gets back from her is this little smirk. You're seriously still asking that, back to Yuen. He's just watching these two bicker and can't be bothered to jump in. He's thinking, LMAO, these two are a riot. Anyway, whenever we're in real trouble, we all have each other's backs. So what's the big deal? This just proves our teamwork is on point, right? Or so he thought. Doko-John immediately bursts his little bubble. Oh, of course I waited for the perfect dramatic moment. Now that you owe me one, I'm definitely gonna cash that in. With interest. The entire crew just stares at her, completely speechless, while Yuen is praying that whole teamwork vibe wasn't just in his head. All right, new scene. We're on the 4th floor and the gang is standing in some busted-up ruins. Yuen's scoping the place out and says, yo, the ceiling's way lower here. At least we won't get jumped from the sky like last time. That's a plus. But as he's saying it, he points behind him, and the little snake in its AK-47 mode just starts blasting at the spider nearby. But get this, when the spider gets hit, it just screeches a little, totally freaked out. And the bullets just bounce off, making a few sparks. So much for that plan. Yi immediately knows what's up and warns everyone. It's a tower spider. They're these weirdo monsters that can show up on literally any floor of the tower. Doesn't matter if it's a low-level floor or a high-level one. Yuen just gulps. He's thinking, they're totally fine. They literally just shrugged off Yi's attack. Yi steps in front of him and explains, tower spiders have totally random abilities no matter what floor we're on. Looks like your little snake gun isn't gonna cut it. You're up, Doggo-Jun. This room's on you. Looks like it's her turn to shine. I'm counting on you. Our sword queen just nods. Got it. Back to Yuen, who's totally ticked off that his weapon is useless, and he just clicks his tongue. Oh, the audacity! She's like, Tisk, are you kidding me? A monster this jacked is already here? Dujan just lets out this massive sigh and puts her hand up like, hold up, y'all. All right, fam, everybody back up. Yeah, you too, Yan. Peep this. This is what you asked for. And then bam, Kai Blast, she yells, and this freaking laser beam shoots out of her hand straight into the spider squad. And get this, with just one shot, she literally vaporized the whole crew. Poof, gone. Yu's just standing there with this crooked smile like, whoa, okay, so that's a asterisk, real asterisk, key blast. Way. More lit than my little pew-pew bullets. Like most of the spiders were already toast. So Dujan next to him barely even looks, and is like, aight, you can clean up the leftovers. Haha, you're never gonna find a boss as nice as me. Right. She said all cocky. Girl, the ego. But when a golden ticket like this just drops in his lap, you know, you ain't saying no. He immediately whips out his longsword from his inventory and turns to his crew behind him like, Lee you. Got my 6. And then Vuo, keep your eyes on the ceiling for any jump scares. And they're both like roger that, nodding like they're totally in sync. So back to Yu, who's now got his own personal bodyguards. He just strolls up to the messed up spiders to grind some XP. And he's thinking to himself, okay, this is kinda sus. Dujan ain't my boss, so why is she being so nice? But low-key, I'm kinda grateful for it. So while he's overthinking, my boy grips his sword and just yeets himself straight at a spider that can't even move. He thought one good slice would get him that sweet XP, but psych, it didn't. The second his sword hits the spider, you just hear this loud asterisk clang asterisk. Yu's whole body just vibrates from the impact. It was wild. Turns out trying to slice that spider was like whacking a block of solid iron. It's no good. This thing's too tough. Yu's just gritting his teeth, looking totally defeated. Down below, the spider starts bugging out, its eyes glowing like high beams, and it just launches itself at Yu like it wants payback. Yu jumps back real quick, thinking, nah, there's gotta be a way. Then he gets a running start and just asterisk stabs asterisk his sword right through the spider's dome. Guess it showed its weak spot, and my boy did not miss his shot. He got it, Vu's cheering, and Lies over there like, phew. But back to Yu. Even though he just took down a tower spider, he doesn't look hyped at all. But like, if slashing doesn't work, this whole thing is pointless. I can't be stabbing and yanking my sword out over and over with this many of them. He's thinking, maybe these tower spiders are just out of my league. Then plot twist. He remembers something and is like, haha, I'm such a dum-dum. I have that sick item from the last room. Why didn't I think of that? Now's the perfect time to flex. So he pulls out the concept orb of severing with 20 whole points, saved up, and slaps it onto his longsword. Instantly, the sword starts glowing like it's fresh out of the forge. Aight, let's see how well this vibes with my sword. Then a pop-up appears in front of him. Item evolved due to excellent compatibility. Executioner's severing longsword magic power 30. Lethality 19, blood poison 9, melting 12. Meanwhile, the rest of the spiders had a little power nap and bounced back from Dujan's key blast. They totally sense Yu's killer vibe and all charge at him at once, trying to dogpile him. But Yu just grips his sword all confident and slowly pulls it back to wind up. All right then, let's give this a spin. And with that, he swings the sword forward with everything he's got. With just one slice, he effortlessly carves through the bodies of 3 tower spiders, the same ones he couldn't even scratch before. Behind him, Lai's crew is just staring mouths wide open like, what in the world got into you to make him go Super Saiyan all of a sudden? Lai's all confused while Dujan is just watching, super intensely probably trying to figure out his little cheat code. But back to you, he looks kinda confused himself. Wait, the cut was clean, but something feels off. It feels so clunky. I think I swung the sword way harder than I needed to. Let's run that back. I gotta nail it this time. After that, Yu keeps swinging his sword, dicing up a few more spiders just to test his theory. Lai and Vuocho see that the spider party is still poppin', and they don't even think twice about jumping in to help. Bro, there's way too many, let us get in on this, Lai says, and they both charge into the mess. But Dujan, she's already clocked something weird. He definitely did something to that sword. She's thinking. In like 2 seconds, he bodied an enemy he couldn't even touch before. How can one dude have that much raw talent and power? And what's crazier, he's leveling up his skills without even using his built-in abilities. Usually when someone gets a new, stronger toy, they just go crazy with it. But not him. He doesn't have that flaw. It might not happen overnight, but one day he's totally gonna master that perfect slice. Still, though, there's no reason for me to jump in, but it would be such a waste to just let him figure it out on his own. After surviving the 3 calamities, I was so proud thinking I was the baddest prodigy in the martial arts game. But now I'm watching a talent. That makes my whole backstory look like child's play. No, freaking way. This guy, he has to be mine. And as she's thinking this, her eyes get this seriously dangerous glint. Meanwhile, our boy is just in the zone fighting completely, clueless that he's just been put on this girl's must-have list. All of a sudden, he gets this major shiver down his spine and stops mid-swing. Yo, you good? Lai asks. Oh yeah, it's nothing. Just felt a random chill down my spine. For a sec, I thought some final boss was about to spawn. Yu says, totally missing the fact that Dujan's face behind him just went full-on thundercloud. He turns to her and goes, Dujan, why are you just standing there? You not gonna keep shooting your laser beams? And she snaps back all annoyed. Huh, you're doing great. What do you need me for? Yu just smirks a little. Is that right? Well, I guess I don't need to give you this drink then since I'm doing so great. What? Dujan's eyes go wide like she can't believe what she just heard. We finally cleared this room, Lai says, breathing a huge sigh of relief. Yu then whips out 2 cans of soda, totally teasing her. Guess I'll have to split these with Lai and Vuocho. You just want to hog all the soda for yourself, don't you? Dujan yells as she starts chasing him. Then out of nowhere, Lai gets a text. Huh? A message from outside. And it wasn't just Lai. Dujan and Vuocho got the same ping. A message from the outside? Why now? Everybody get one. Lai reads the message and his face just fills with worry. The message is basically screaming at everyone to get out of the tower like right now. What? Why all of a sudden? This is a direct order from the headmaster. Does that mean... Wait, this is for the whole school hard pass. That wasn't even a warm-up for real. I haven't even cracked open my soda yet. Someone better have a good excuse or I'm out. Dujan was totally bugging, but before she could pop off, Vuo just screams, y'all, they're here! And the whole squad whips around totally bugging out cause bam, a bunch of freaky portals just opened up and legit countless tower spiders are pouring out. Ah, so that's the tea. This has gotta be why they're calling us out, Lai said like a light bulb went off from some boring briefing. Yo, this is that thing they warned us about, right? Dujan just nodded, looking all deep in thought. LMAO, no wonder this level felt so sus, you chuckled. The sword chick Dujan checked her ID necklace and just shook her head, totally defeated. Well, the collar's dead. Guess we're officially locked in this nightmare room. So, this is what the prof meant when she said students could actually get, taken out. An irregular space. Lai's voice got all tight as a whole wave of spiders rushed him, and he's totally flashing back to that meeting with Professor Aluminina when she was like, listen up, sometimes students can face a for real life-threatening situation. Apparently when newbies climb the tower, there's a chance these space pirates can just pop up. Hearing that, you just turned and asked, wait, hold up, what the heck are space pirates? I'll spill the tea later. The real problem is their whack invasion creates an irregular phenomenon. It's some super random event you never see on a normal run. Normally, you can't actually get wiped out, but once this irregular thing happens, the whole game changes. All the rules in the tower get twisted, the safe zones turn into death traps, and the number of cloned monsters just goes completely off the rails. The difficulty of the rooms just skyrockets like abnormally. You could basically call it hell mode. Plus a whole bunch of other problems pop up all at once. Hearing this, all 3 of their faces just went ghost white. Just imagining getting stuck in that mess was enough to scare them silly. Back to Professor Illumina, she said, as you can see, the tower doesn't guarantee you're 100% safe, so you better drill this into your heads. If you're unlucky enough to get stuck in an irregular phenomenon, remember that it is a real deal no respawn situation. Back in the now after getting the picture, the group was immediately like, yeah, fighting this endless wave of monsters is a stupid idea. You instantly fired up his ship, scooped up Vuo, and they just dipped while the other two booked it as fast as they could. But OMG, the spiders were like superglue sticking right on their tails, not giving them a break. We have no idea how long these things are going to keep spawning, so trying to camp out in this tiny space is way too risky. You frowned and said, "We should probably just assume it's infinite." Dujan muttered that right as spiders started pouring out of the hallway. She just unleashed a freaking palm blast, shooting a stream of energy that sent him flying. At the same time, Lai was just going ham with his sword, sending out these energy blades that sliced right through the spiders, screaming while he slashed, "Dujan, don't stop." "Just worry about yourself first," Dojan complained, as they teamed up to hold back the monster wave. But Yu was getting worried about their energy levels. Dujan had already taken out dozens on the way here. And so had Lai. Their stamina was totally tanking and Vucho's hair had gotten darker. My dude couldn't even talk anymore. Like if his hair goes full-on black, is something messed up gonna happen? These spiders are way too tanky. What are we supposed to do? You thought totally panicking. During a quick breather, Dako-John turned to you and was like, "Your little beast friend seems to have lost his mind. Who knew this would happen? I'm running on fumes too. It's gonna get very dangerous if I don't get a break." As she's talking, she's rolling her wrist, which was probably killing her from all that palm blasting. Without even hesitating, you whipped a can of soda out of your inventory and tossed it to her. "Whoa, what's this?" Du asked, kinda shy. "Just drink it. I got him. You chill for a second, power up." At his super suave words, Dujan's face got a little red as she grabbed the can. "Haha, you sure you can handle it?" "Duh. Watch this. Let's go." You said, pulling a grenade out of thin air, yanking the pin and just yeeting it right into the spider mosh pit. Kaboom! It went off big time, sending spider parts flying absolutely everywhere. "What was that? What is that power?" Dujan yelled, completely shook. "How about that pretty sick, right? I put a lot of work into that bad boy. Get some rest. Dujan," you said with a grin, then hopped back on your flying motorcycle to dive in and soak up that sweet, sweet experience. As you went, you took the chance to snatch concepts from the spider bodies and thought, Vuo still looks hyped, but she's kind of wilding out right now, and these monsters just keep multiplying. I have no clue how much time we have left. Letting Lai and Dujan recharge is the move. And in the meantime, I gotta take down as many of these freaks as possible. I need to buy them time to recover. You thought to yourself before getting distracted by a notification that popped up. Executioner's longsword's blood venom has increased by 15. You have understood and grasped a bit of the concept of severing. The depth of severing has reached level 2. The second that notification appeared, the sword in Yu's hand started glowing with this creepy red aura. Is my sword turning red? You frowned, staring at the blade. Even though I have no clue what this blood venom concept is based on, I'll figure it out if I just try it. With that, you gripped the sword tight and swung. Right after the attack, you totally noticed a difference. Well, wait, the sword's trail is getting bigger. So if sever makes the slash stronger, then blood venom expands the range and the attack distance. By draining my own blood, I can't just spam it. Every swing is like giving a blood donation. You thought in horror about this sketchy sword. From behind, Lai saw the sword change and asked, "Did you get another cool toy? What's up with that crazy sword aura?" You didn't answer and asked instead, "Vuo, where is she?" Lai just glanced over to the side and shook his head. "She's over there just wrecking spiders. We should probably stay away from her right now." You looked over at Vuo, who was literally roaring like a wild animal and punching any spider that got close into mush. You sighed and told the other two to hang back for a bit. "Just get some more rest." "Nah, we don't need to." I'm totally charged up thanks to you. You should take a look around. The spider swarm is way smaller now," Lai said, all quiet. That totally startled you, who looked around and realized the number of monsters really had dropped a ton. Now that you mention it, I'm just seeing it now, Dujan chimed in, also looking around. The vibe has totally died down. Usually when the monsters back off, it means the fight's almost over. Or something way scarier is about to show up. And right on cue, Vuo, who was going totally psycho, suddenly felt a weird vibe and stopped, turning to a freaky portal that was opening up. And get this, a giant freaking spider crawled out, gawking at this thing that was literally the size of a building. Lai just said like a total downer, "Yo, we're so screwed." Yuen's eyes were bugging out like he had no clue what the heck was even happening. Weren't these giant freaks supposed to show up on like a much higher floor? Beside him, the swordswoman saw his clueless face and couldn't help but throw some major shade. "Dude, are you ever gonna get tired of whining about every little weird thing? For real, my ears are gonna start bleeding." But plot twist, it wasn't just one giant spider, which basically made them all want to pee their pants. Facing that massive spider, it finally hit him how much danger they were in. OMG, I was talking so much smack a minute ago, what do I even do now? The little spiders before were easy, just a little slice and dice and some blood venom. But against a chonk this big, my attacks are probably gonna feel like I'm tickling it. The more he thought, the more he was totally spiraling. Just then, Dujan stepped up and was like, "Weren't you the one just telling us to take a break? So why are you acting like we've already lost? You still too proud to ask for my help? Is that your ego talking? Or are you just that stubborn? Then she gets all up in Yuen's ear and whispers, making my boy's face turn all red. Pink, huh? Yuen blurted out. You're into this vibe, aren't you? It's a little extra, but I guess it's not bad. Now you gotta pay the price for all that sweetness. It's gonna cost you, but don't go thinking you owe me or anything. And as she's saying this, Dujan slowly draws her sword. This was the first time Yuen had ever seen her pull out a weapon. A sword! She can throw hands like a boss, so is she just showing off for me or what? Yuen thought, and like she was a total mind reader. Dujan turned back to spill the tea. Chill, I just don't want to get gunk all over my hands. Don't make it a thing. Hearing that, Yuen's face went full-on tomato. Ah, sorry, he mumbled. Seeing him all flustered just made Dujan laugh. You're just missing one little thing. I'm only gonna show you once, and for you, this one single slash is gonna give you all the answers you need. After saying that, her whole vibe shifted and she started glowing with this insane energy, warning him, Hey, Yuen, you better not blink. She pulled her sword back in slow-mo and the air around her got, like, super heavy and intense. But right then there was a whole ruckus coming from where Lai was. Hey, Vuo, you idiot, stop hunting me! Go hunt the monster! Lai screamed, totally struggling to block Vuo with his sword. You've completely lost your mind, and you're attacking your own teammate. And while these two clowns were bickering, the giant spider behind them saw its chance and shot a massive wad of web right at them. Vuo, being all crazy fast, dodged it like a pro. But poor Lai, yeah, he got totally web-slapped and pinned to the wall. Oof! Vuo saw the spider butting in and got pissed, growling at it like, You did not just interrupt my fight! This whole mess made our boy break out in a cold sweat, thinking, oh man, this is a complete train wreck. And that's when Dujan snapped, Hey Yan, what are you even looking at? Where are your eyes wandering? Focus on me. Yuen whipped his head back around and tried to explain, I am watching, but the spider is over there. Dujan was super chill about it, like, I already told you it's fine. There's only one spider left over there now anyway. And with that, she zipped forward and swung her sword. With just one single slash, she sliced that thing clean in two before it even knew what hit it. Yuen watched Du Yan's movement with his jaw on the floor, an arm swinging up from below in a simple move that was just pure, unadulterated destruction. In that one move, he thought, I swear I just saw death itself crack the world in half. After seeing that ultimate skill, Yuen's brain went into total overload, making him feel all dizzy. Then asterisk, ding ding ding, asterisk, a flood of system notifications popped up. Heil skill has been instantly comprehended. Control over authority has been totally buffed. The depth of the myriad poison eye, the myriad listening ear, and the myriad tongues, God just went up by 5 points. Successfully comprehended a part of an extremely powerful and complex martial arts concept. Depth of the soul is 390. Depth of martial arts is 97. Depth of swordsmanship is 52. You have observed the essence of the slash. Depth has reached 15. But my guy had 0 time to even read all these pop-ups. His head was throbbing like it was about to split in two. Unbelievable. I just watched her for 2 seconds and my stats went through the roof. That power is just like when I broke Optimus's energy field. That had to be an upgraded version of that deadly move she's shown before. How can someone even channel that much raw power into a sword? That whole concept of death thing was so vivid it literally sent shivers down my spine. Just thinking about it, he couldn't help but tremble at the idea of having to face that attack. Yikes. Seeing Yuen totally zoned out, Dujan called out, Hey Yuen, were you paying attention? Don't expect to see that a second time. With that, she leaned her face right up to his, making him flinch and back up. Why you dodging me? She asked. You're standing too close, Yuen stammered. Then Dojan just casually yeeted the core from the elite spider at him. Huh, isn't this the core from that elite spider we just wrecked? Yuen stared in amazement at the stats of the 3-bodied life core. Stamina 11, demonic 12 core opus, 15 spiderweb 10 resistance 1. He was kinda hesitant. Dujan was the one who defeated it. So is it really okay for me to take this loot? He gave the swordswoman this totally unreadable look like she already knew exactly what he was thinking. Dujan just smirked. Hey, it's a reward. Don't be shy. Just take it. Hearing this, Yuen turned away, totally embarrassed. While these two were having their little flirty moment, poor Lai, still stuck to the wall like some weird decoration, was witnessing this whole public display of affection. He finally couldn't take it anymore and had to shout, Hey, you two lovebirds, stop making googly eyes at each other and come help me. Vuo has gone completely berserk over here. As he spoke, Lai glanced fearfully over at Vuo, who was busy turning the other elite spider into a literal pulp. Damn, it looks like Lai is totally useless right now. He's gonna get wiped in a second. There's only one person who can stop her. And who could that be but our boy Yuen, he thought, turning to look at the team's powerhouse. However, when he saw her just standing there with her arms crossed, looking like this had nothing to do with her, Yuen also broke out in a cold sweat. Don't even look at me like that. I've already done my part in this battle. She, the swordswoman, replied with ice in her voice. But since he knew he couldn't handle Vuo himself, Yuen had to try and persuade her. Look, I know you don't wanna, but this whole situation is messed up. If one of us dies, who knows what'll happen? He said, just as things were about to get crazier. Plot twist. The elite spider's legs started twitching like it was trying to get back up. Of course it was. Fine. I bet I'll go mess with that beast over there. Dujun sighed, finally stretching a little, and you could just see Yuen light up. Oh, thank God, that's what I'm talking about. He was totally stoked. But hold up, Dujun had a catch. But you gotta promise to take out that thing at your feet. Yo, beastie, stop camping up there and get down here. And as she said that, she fired an energy blast straight at Vuss's face, just to get her attention. Let's have some real asterisk fun now. Oh, she was pissed. Vuo started growling like a total psycho and just charged straight at Dujan. She landed so hard the whole ground cracked like for real. But Dujan just sidestepped it like it was nothing, still laughing at her. Over here, beastie, she giggled. And just like that, Vuo kept falling for it, charging like a brainless bull. She threw a punch, missed, and bam, Dujan snatched Vuo's wrist and yeeted her into the pavement. Oopsie, not over there. I said over asterisk here asterisk. Ha, is that all you got, just running head first at people stronger than you? Come on, get up, beastie. Still got some fight in ya. 'Cause I'm gonna play with you until you've got, like, 0 sanity left. Go on, throw your little tantrum, why don't ya? Dujan was just ruthless, and Vuo was getting even more heated. Watching this, Yuen was getting legit chills. Holy crap, she's really just toying with her. But while she was busy bullying Vuo, Dujan yells over to Yuen, "Hey, this ain't nap time, get to it, asterisk bang asterisk." That snapped him out of it. Yuen pulled out his sword and faced that nasty spider. Yeah, I get it, but isn't this like a bit much for me? He kinda stammered. He was thinking like even though Vuo roughed it up, that thing was still a beast. If you were paying attention to my moves, you can totally do this. Dujan shot him this super confident look, which just made him laugh all weird. Haha. And what makes you so sure about that? And right then, the spider just went for it, slamming a leg right down on him. Yun's body got launched like way over there. Yo, is Yun okay? Lai yelled, totally freaked out. What the heck just happened? Yun suddenly gasped like, whoa. In that split second he felt it, the spider was totally looking down on him. This thing's barely even standing and it thinks it can take asterisk me asterisk, I bet. Let's see you try. Yun shouted, all fired up. And just like that, these sick magic circles popped up around the spider, and then asterisk shing shing asterisk chain shot out and wrapped up its legs super tight. No way is he actually chaining up its legs. Lai was bugging out watching it all go down. Meanwhile, Yun wasted 0 time. With the spider stuck, he rushed in for the attack. Okay, plan is lock it down with these, hit it with some blood poison for extra spice, then get in close. It's go time. And then my dude Yun swung his sword like a total madman, slashing right across the spider's face. It let out this massive roar from the gnarly cut. Take that, he yelled, all hyped up. But Lai, still stuck on the sidelines, was looking super stressed like, what am I supposed to do? Yun, this is looking real bad. And way over there, Dujan, who was still just dancing around, muttered to herself. Piff, too shallow. If you want to end it, you gotta go for the head. What is he even doing? Back to our boy Yun. He was now also realizing that all he did was make the spider even more ticked off without doing any real damage. Was that cut too weak? Why did the blood poison not even work? On second thought, it makes sense. I've never tried to use 2 powers back to back before. And right as he's thinking that, the spider flexed like super hard, and the chains just exploded into a million pieces. Instantly, its legs came crashing down on Yun, and it was just this massive kaboom. Ah, crap, Yun cursed to himself. From far away, Lai was screaming his head off, and even Dujan looked kinda shocked for a sec. When the smoke cleared, there was Yun. Thank God he'd managed to get his sword up to block the attack just in time. But dude, even though he blocked it, the pure force of it made him feel like his whole body was gonna shatter. Asterisk huff huff asterisk. Man, I barely caught that one. I had to tilt the blade when it hit. If I'd taken that hit straight on, my sword and my arm would be toast for sure. But how did I even know to do that? For a split second, everything went into slow-mo. It's gotta be because I watched Du's sword skills, Yun thought to himself. And at that exact moment, he leveled up a little. While fighting this thing, he totally got the hang of this flow concept. His flow depth hit level 5. Yun used his sword to push himself up like, yup, I knew it. So that's what it was. Her sword moves totally rubbed off on me. Haha, that's wild. I can't believe you unlocked some fighting gene I didn't even know I had. Even though I can't copy your moves perfectly, I think I get what I gotta do now. With that thought, this crazy fighting spirit just flooded through him and he stood up all confident in front of that spider. Aight, Spidey, round 2. Let's go. As he spoke, he stared right into its creepy-crawly eyes with this stone-cold look. And to answer that challenge, the elite spider started going nuts, attacking with its 4 front legs. But get this, it was a miracle. Yun was swinging his sword like a pro, almost like he was a freaking machine, blocking every single crazy attack from that huge thing. Witnessing this insane showdown, someone on the side noticed something nuts, a move called parrying. It's basically when you deflect or smack away an enemy's attack. If you nail it, you don't just block the hit, you can dodge major damage and even open them up for a comeback. But yeah, that move is not as easy as it sounds in a real fight. Most people get wrecked before they ever figure it out, or they just pick an easier way to fight. I mean, you only get 1 life, right? That's just how it is. But how in the world is he pulling that move off so perfectly in a mess like this? Didn't he say he'd never even held a sword before? The more she thought about it, the more she was tripping over Yu's insane glow-up. Anyway, back to our boy Yu, who at this point looked like he'd cloned himself into 3 people, moving in 3 directions to parry attacks coming from all 4 sides of this monster. Through all the chaos, his eyes were wide open, totally locked on the enemy, just waiting for his shot. And the second that giant spider swung its leg for another attack, Yu knew this was it. Okay, here comes the front attack. Block it, then deflect the one from the right. And as he thought it, Yu swung his sword and smacked the leg coming at him out of the way. Right after that, so the spider just whips another leg at him from the side like a total cheap shot. But Yu, my man, is quick on his feet. He just casually pops the sword on his shoulder, lets the leg slide right off the blade and go flying somewhere else. After that slick move, he finally takes a breath like, phew, easy. Phew. Okay, things are finally starting to click little by little. Let's keep it moving. Meanwhile, the throwdown between Dujan and Wo was a total joke, completely one-sided. I'm not even kidding, the Beast Girl was getting played by Dujan like a cat with a string, playing with a little mouse. Getting bored of the whole game, Dujan literally just tripped Wo, sending her face planting into the dirt. LOL. Ignoring the poor girl, Dujan turned to watch Yu's fight like, what's the tea over here? No way. I thought you'd pick up a thing or two from watching that sword move, but you just showed me something wild. There's this martial art in the Central Plains all about the flow, but nobody studies it. Bouncing back an opponent's force is a move that needs you to snatch the moment in like 1/100,000th of a second. Cause the risk is insane, and it's way too much work, most people just go for easier techniques. But for someone like me who's all about that overwhelming power, you just totally blew my mind. I never thought some random skill I wrote off as lame could be this deep and wow, impressive. As she thought that, the swordwoman's face got a little pink, but then Wo's screaming totally snapped her out of it. Thanks, Beast Girl, for the reminder of my own cringy moment. Hey, let me go! She shrieked again. Not even bothering with that, Dujan kept thinking, but just deflecting hits isn't gonna win the fight. To actually win, you gotta see the whole board. If you've gotten this far, then show me what you got, you. If you've mastered the art of flow to redirect power, then you can for sure use that same power to clap back. Back to you, he totally got it. So he kept his eyes peeled, just waiting for his shot. Then, just as the elite spider shot its leg at Yu again, my boy proactively rushed in to meet it head on. In that exact moment, Yu used the enemy's own stabbing power, hit him with a spin move that mashed up 2 severing slash skills. He's thinking he blocks the spider's leg with his sword, and at the same time uses that push to power up his own slash. He mixes in 2 more traits, Poison Blood and Cleave, into the attack, and swings that sword right for the spider's noggin. The spider's face got a huge gash on it instantly. It roared out in pain like it was on fire. From the back, Dujan saw the whole thing and was clenching her fists all hyped up. That's it! That's how you do it! Yes, well done! She was cheering in her head. Back with Yun, after watching the spider go down, he just collapsed on the ground, totally gassed and panting. To give him props for his work, the system popped up a notification like, "Good job, kid," temporarily mixing up the origin of the concept to make a stronger one. The conceptual depth of poison air and language has increased by 5 points. Peeping the notification, Yun couldn't help but be shook. Whoa, I did that. It went up by that much, he was wondering. But before he could even check his stats, he heard Lai and Dujan yelling for him. Hey Yun, Lai begged for help. Can you give me a hand with this? All while he was still stuck in that spider web. Meanwhile, Yuko was still going absolutely feral on Dujan. And this one too, Dujan added just to remind him. Yun could only pull a face. Are you kidding me? Everyone's asking me for help just cause I beat one elite monster? Hey, you're the all-powerful genius here. Lai's eyes were literally welling up with tears. I'm sorry I'm stuck and I can't use my magic. Dujan nodded like, for real. This monster has insane strength and defense. I kinda wish I were trapped like that idiot, she grumbled. Dujan's words suddenly sparked an idea for Yun. That's not a bad idea, he muttered. He immediately started cooking, analyzing the concept of the spider silk trapping Lai and feeding it to Yan. I just need a monster catching net. He yoinked the concept from the spider silk and fed it to his little snake. Yan, you have acquired the concept of spiderweb. The conceptual depth van is 25, which is greater than the level 16 spiderweb. After slurping up the concept, Yan's body morphed into a cage made of chains. Yun yeeted the chain net right at Yuko, who was totally caught off guard. Next thing you know, her whole body was tangled up in the chains. And the more she thrashed around, the tighter they got. Yun smirked. Ha ha! Go on, struggle all you want, Yucho. It's way tougher, and it's draining your mana too. The more you fight, the cozier it's gonna get. Meanwhile, the chains started wrapping around Yucho's body in a very particular way, making both Lai and Yun blush like crazy. Lai immediately covered Yun's eyes and was like, dude, you should not be looking at that. Yun just gritted his teeth, all annoyed. Then what about you? I'm fine, Lai replied, all awkward. Dujan scanned the area and nodded satisfied. Phew, thank God this room hasn't been transformed yet. That chain thing seems pretty useful. Just then, Yun's ID card started beeping with warnings again, making him feel the pressure. He rushed the group. Yo, my ID card is spazzing out again. We gotta dip like right now. Hearing that, Dujan totally agreed. Right, we should bounce immediately. As soon as she said that, Before the crew could even make a move, this red orb of energy just popped up behind them. From inside the orb, this freaky voice echoed, "You the ones who passed the test up ahead." Yun's group was totally startled and on high alert, and our boy immediately whipped his head around to the sound and demanded, "Who's talking?" In response, the energy orb started to morph, revealing the shape of a woman. She reached out to the group and offered, "I'm gonna grant you your reward now. I'll give you the chance to make a contract with the overseer of the Myriad Eyes." Time flew by and the scene zapped to outside the tower. At this moment, Professor Illumina was still freaking out waiting for her students, since they hadn't come out of the tower yet. But she didn't have to wait long because Yun's group got zapped outside by a teleportation circle. "Is anyone hurt?" Yun asked. Where are we?" Lee asked, all confused. "This is where we came in, duh," Dojan shot back. Seeing her students were back, Illumina rushed over looking super worried, asking, "Are you all okay? Is anyone injured or suffering from any side effects?" Looking at her face, which was about to burst into tears, Yun gave her a reassuring smile. "We're fine, Professor. We're all good. Please chill out." Hearing this, Illumina's heart was still racing. Even though the emergency evac notice was busted, I was still so worried when nobody came out, but thank goodness you're all safe. "So, what went down in there? Spill the tea." Aluminina's question totally threw the whole squad for a loop, and Yuan's over here tripping, stammering like, "Oh well, about that. Let's just find a room and talk first." So boom time jump and they're in a private spot. Now our boy finally gets to be like, "Okay, spill it. What happened in the tower?" So get this. He's like, "What even went down here? We got yoinked into some super weird place after the fourth room went all kinds of crazy on us. So for real, what the heck happened out here?" Hearing Yoon's question, Illumina drops this bomb looking all bummed out. "Okay, so a student was actually taken out by some rando from the outside. The academy's trying to get a handle on it, but that student's crew is totally wrecked. That might be what caused all the weird glitches earlier. We've talked about these gate crashers before, right?" And then asterisk bam asterisk what Illumina said before hits Yoon's brain. The dimensional robbers, they go after the freshmen, unalive them, and snatch their certification cards. They can't get revived and are just stuck there for good. Thinking about this, Ewan starts sweating bullets and asks all hesitant, "So, did we catch this intruder dude yet?" Illumina just shakes her head. "Nah, they dipped." The students who were there couldn't stop them. Hearing this, Duho-jan, who's just been chilling on the side, chimes in with his theory. "Yo, this whole test smells fishy. It's like even if they ain't students here, there are still other beings trying to climb the tower with them. And freshmen who just got here, they're total sitting ducks. So they ice the newbies who passed the exam, trying to mess up the academy's whole vibe and sneak in using the stolen certification cards. And from the school's side, fighting the intruders becomes like a required class, putting all this pressure on the students. Am I right?" As he's saying this, Duho-jan shoots this cheeky little look over at Illumina. And what he said was so on the money, it left Illumina totally speechless, just staring at Duho-jan. Seeing her all flustered and scrambling for words, he just sighs and then hits her with this smirk. "For real, this place is wild. Intruders can just waltz into the tower, which is supposed to be on academy grounds. And the school can't even stop them from offing its own students. This is putting the rep of the greatest academy ever on blast for real." Behind them, Ewan's crew is just dead silent, probably having a whole existential crisis or something, leaving just the professor. But Illumina wasn't having it. "You've got it all wrong. Look, Dean John, protecting students is the academy's job for sure. But once they're in the tower, they're on their own. Plus, the tower letting invaders in is something we can't change. It's the will of the tower." After she said that, Illumina kinda looked down like she couldn't even face the students. The sword-wielding girl heard that and was fuming, gritting her teeth. "The asterisk will of the tower asterisk if that's how it is. Then I'm out." And just like that, she uses her necklace to peace out, not even giving Illuminina a chance to stop her. Next to her, our main character steps up to explain. "Yo, Professor, please cut her some slack. Some seriously messed up stuff went down in the tower." Turning to Illumina, she finally realizes that ever since they got back, Yuen's crew has been acting super weird, and she's like, "Yuen, you need to tell me what exactly asterisk happened in there." In response to her question, our boy looks a little hesitant, but then he just spills everything. "Right before we came back, we met a guardian of the stars." The second he says that, Illumina's face just goes pale. The all-powerful protectors, aka observers, they absorb a bajillion dimensions. And when they find someone they vibe with, they make a contract through that person. They're these next-level beings with major pull across dimensions. They hand out power, magic cred, insane skills, epic artifacts, and a ton more just to make people do their bidding. But trust me, they ask for a lot back. Even so, you still got people who turn them down. But then again, in a world where power is everything, you can't get a better deal than what they're offering. The Guardians of the Stars are like the ultimate hookup. Back to Illumina after taking a sec to breathe, she asks, all curious. "A Guardian of the Stars showed up in this world." Yuen just nods like, "Yup, the observer of all beings told me so in this super weird way. This thing promised to juice me up with power. In return, I just have to do whatever it asks." As he said this, our MC looked totally baffled, but Illumina didn't even seem to notice. Instead, she's looking at him, literally glowing and congratulating him. That's amazing. To get offered a contract with a Guardian of the Stars right after getting into the tower is literally unheard of in this academy's history. Nailing a contract this early just proves the big leagues have noticed your talent. She was so hyped not even seeing that the more she gassed him up, the more bummed out our main character looked. Meanwhile, our boy was just not buying that he was all that. Is that for real? He asked again, looking super sus. Professor Illumina is just nodding like a bobblehead, dead serious. You're not messing with me, right? He keeps asking, because getting all this praise wasn't making him happy. It was just making him more sketched out. Professor, so what's the Academy's take on these contracts and the Guardians of the Stars? He just asked straight up. Illumina seemed curious at first, but then shot back. Oh, of course they stay neutral. But if a real opportunity comes up, they'll push you to grab it. Yuan nodded, getting the picture. So the Academy is basically telling us to take the deal, he said just to be clear. Alamanina explained it more. Exactly. Out of all the dimensions, the tower is like a total magnet for the Guardians of the Stars. And nobody's better at climbing the tower than the people who have contracts with the stars. Hearing this, Yuan felt even more suspicion bubble up. It was just so hard to believe that a place like the Academy had zero defenses against intruders. Even if they seemed friendly, there was way too little intel about them to be sure. This whole thing is a mess, he thought to himself right before Illumina's question snapped him out of it. So, Yuan, what exactly did the Star Watcher want you to do? Illumina asked, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. Yuan replied, his face slowly getting dead serious. That thing, it demanded I take someone out, promising to hook up 2 members of the group with a pact if one of us iced the other first. And Illumina went dead quiet, her face just full of worry. He went on. That was the Star Watcher's whole deal. It was like only people thirsty for power were even worthy of its vibe. It seriously wanted us to off each other to prove it. He flashed back to when the Star Watcher dropped that psycho demand. Take out your homies and serve them up to me. I'll make you my number 1 until you hit the top of the tower and get everything you've ever wanted. My love is ride or die. Now get to it. Its ice-cold voice was echoing. And it was literally gesturing for us to start a battle royale. Yuan thought the whole thing was beyond ridiculous, like killing your friends for a power-up. Dude was unhinged. You think I'd actually fall for that? He thought, throwing a sketchy look at Dakoyan. For real, if that guy went postal, nobody in the crew could have stopped him. And Yodu-Jan did not disappoint. He stepped up, eyes like ice, staring straight at the Star Watcher. Get lost, he said, flexing his power like a total menace. Back in the present, Illumina was just floored by the story. So that's what went down. That kid must have gone all out, huh? She asked. Yuan just nodded. Oh yeah. He basically made the star freak back off. But for it to treat our lives like some game was legit terrifying. He paused for a sec before asking, so does this mean the tower's off limits for the rest of the week? It sounds way too dangerous now, Illumina replied. They're gonna have the tower on lockdown until the end of next week, to keep anyone from sneaking in. Yuan started scrambling to redo his plans. He had to level up to face Erector, but now climbing the tower was a total no-go. The duel with Ite. So the Erector challenge was supposed to be on Tuesday, but Homeboy can't even climb the tower now, and he's totally bugging. The pressure is seriously getting to him. He's just thinking, yo, this is so messed up, totally freaking out. Like, how am I even supposed to use the time I have left now? While he was spiraling, he suddenly remembered something and turned to his professor. Professor, I was going to report what happened in the tower, and I even have an audio recording. Would that be cool? Professor Illumina thought for a second, then gave a nod. That's fine, but honestly, I'd love to hear the whole story over a meal. But, it looks like that's not happening right now. As she said it, she glanced over at Vuo, who was just sitting all quiet in a corner. Seeing the whole mood was wrecked, Yuan could only shake his head. Yeah, everyone looks totally drained. Turning back to Professor Illumina, she started comforting her students. I get it. You and Vuo, you all did so good. I'll make sure nothing like this ever goes down again starting next week. I really hope you don't start thinking the Academy is lame because of this. For today, just get a ton of rest. Hearing that, Lai's vibe seemed to get a little better. He turned and said, I'd bet. If you'll excuse me, have a great weekend. And just like that, both Lai and Vuo used their pendants to poof out of there. Just as Yuan was about to do the same, Illumina suddenly went, Hold up a sec. Yuan, I gotta ask you something, and I'm just gonna be straight up. That thing, the spectator of all beings, it didn't just promise a deal with 2 of you 4, but it also specifically called out you and Du-Jan, right? Her guess was so on point it freaked Yuan out, and he just nodded, totally bummed, remembering when the spectator literally pointed them out. You 2 can for sure make it to the top of the tower together. That's right, 100%, but only if you ditch these burdens. The spectator of all beings said it while pointing at Lai and Vuo with this tired look, and both of them were just stunned, but it totally ignored them. The spectator of all beings kept going. All right then, my sweet little children, go handle that dead weight. I promise you 2 will climb this tower side by side, and you'll be left with nothing but pure uncut potential to wreck everyone. Take the power I have. It's what makes this world spin. Back in the present, Yuan got back to his room and found Lai all curled up in a chair looking completely zoned out. He's finally back. Is he not gonna wash up or something? Yuan mumbled before saying out loud, That's a whole mood. Even Wu Cho couldn't get you to cheer up? You comfy sitting like that? It looks seriously awkward. Lai turned to look at Yuen with this super cold stare. Are you clowning on me for how I'm sitting? Yuen quickly tried to explain. Not at all, dude, I didn't mean it like that. Lai just looked down, his voice all full of shame. Sorry, I honestly just want to dig a hole and bury myself in it. Go ahead, roast me. I didn't mean that, Yuen replied, all flustered. But for some reason his words just made Lai laugh like bitterly. For real, I'm not even worth the breath it would take for you to flame me. The more Yuen listened, the more he felt like Lai's head was in a seriously bad place. Why is he acting like this? He's usually so cocky, Yuen wondered. Out of nowhere, Lai said coldly, Hey you, I actually kinda hate you. Yuen didn't even flinch and shot back. Haha, so what, I hate you too. We finally have something in common. That's what he was thinking. To himself. But he didn't dare say it out loud. I really want to say that, but I gotta chill. I gotta hold it in cause it's just rude to call a clown to his face. Yuen clenched his fist so mad. After a few seconds of getting a grip, he sat down next to Lai and said, Yo Lai, if you got something to say, just spit it out. No matter what you need to vent about, just spill it. I'm all ears for real. And while he's saying this, he gives this intense look at the knight right in front of him. And get this, only after our main man says that does Lai finally start to open up and spill the tea. Me too. Back in my world, I was considered like one of the biggest deals, a total genius. No cap. My family, my crew, everyone looked up to me and hyped up my skills. They trusted me with the holy sword, not because they were sucking up, but because they had total faith in me. I made a pact with the holy sword and came to this academy with everyone's hopes on my back. But what is this? What the hell am I even doing? Why did it treat me like some useless baggage? As he said this, Lai's mental state seemed to be cracking, making Yuen jump in to try and calm him down. Hey Lai, don't even trip on what that sacred being or whatever said. It's not worth your time. Before Yuen could even finish, Lai cut him off. Whether it's a sacred being or not, you can call it whatever, cause you're the chosen one. But I'm different. I'm just the extra, the third wheel between the two who got picked. First off, they're like god-tier beings, super powerful and all-knowing. They know way more than humans do. With an offer like that, how could you and Dujan just turn it down so easily? Lai basically screamed at Yuen, making him go dead silent for a sec. Then Yuen was like, dude, cause it's totally pointless. There are a million ways to get strong without having to sacrifice anyone. You and we didn't sign up for that kind of messed up stuff, right? Yuen asked. Back. But like it wasn't getting through to Kay, Lai at all. He just flinched and shook his head. You can say that cause you're some kind of crazy genius. Me, if that's what it took to get picked, I'd probably just fold and throw it all away. I couldn't say no like you and Dujan. I'd make that call. And honestly, it makes me sick, I'm scared, and I can't even forgive myself for even saying this out loud. Manlai's face was a whole mess. So time skips and who knows how that whole chat wrapped up. But now Yun's fresh out of the shower and sees Lai just laying on the bed. It's like Lai could feel him looking cause he spoke up. Yo, Yun, my bad for being such a drama queen earlier. It's not on you. I'm the one who brought up all that messed up stuff. Seriously, I'm sorry, Lai said, sounding totally wrecked. Hearing that, Yun just kinda smiled and brushed it off. Dude, we're friends. I'm always down to... Listen, whenever. I gotta dip for a sec. If you want the hot chocolate, it's all yours. Usually some sweet stuff helps make the crappy feelings go away. And boom, Yun drops the cup of hot chocolate on the table. Lai just mumbled, thanks. So back to Yun. He shuts the door, hits the hallway, and thinks to himself, damn, he's changed so much since we first met. Gotta be more careful with how I word things next time. Just then, Dujan comes strolling down the hall and spots Yun. She runs over all hyped like, oh, you're back, perfect, saves me a trip inside. What a relief. Yun literally jumped and was like, what are you doing here? This is the guy's dorm. His eyes were huge. Dujan was quick, putting a finger to her lips like, shh, it's only a crime if you get caught. You know the rules, right? Then she flashes this sneaky grin and grabs Yun's shirt, yanking him away before he could even start complaining. Cut to them on a wooden bench outside. Yun's like, so you came all the way here because the cafe was too packed? Ignoring Yun's last question, Dujan just switched it up. I came to check on Lai. Was curious. So how's your little project doing? Is he okay? In response to this, our boy got low-key heated. Seriously, what's with the project thing? Why do you keep saying that? Hearing this, Dujan just cleared her throat. I mean, am I wrong? All he knows is how to go full beast mode with zero strategy. Just a helpless, talentless guy who can't adapt, am I right? Lai is not talentless. He's a beast with a sword and has tons of other skills. Yun shot back, defending his roomie. But Dujan had already read the knight's whole deal. The problem is, all of that is thanks to the sword. You know it too. His crazy physical strength, his sharp instincts, his special moves, it's all coming from that sword. Without it, he's basically a nobody. Can't even read the room. He always panics when things get real, getting himself captured and turning into a complete liability. She was just rattling off all of Lai's L's, making Yun just rub his forehead like, all right, I get it. Stop. If I keep listening to you, we'll probably be here a lifetime. Hearing that, Dujan actually stopped her roast session and her voice got dead serious. Look, that's how bad it is. If he completely loses his confidence and his fight, it's game over. There's no point in us rolling together anymore. I mean, that monster was practically a pushover. If he'd just stayed quiet, I wouldn't have said a thing. But yeah, he totally got what she was putting down. Still, he couldn't tell if Dujan was trashing him or actually worried. With that in his head, he turned and asked her, "So what about you? You were acting hella weird when you met that god, and you were all moody with the professor too. You good?" His voice was all concerned, which made her face heat up and she got kinda awkward. "Are you worried about me? Why don't you just use that ability of yours to check?" Dujan stuttered out. He just sighed. "I don't need to use my powers. It's written all over your face, dude. I just wanted to ask if you're okay." After saying that, he pulls a cup of hot chocolate out of nowhere and hands it to her. Dujan took the cup looking low-key pleased. "Right. He's trying to cheer me up, isn't he?" She took a sip and gave a little nod. This is sweeter than I thought." "Hot chocolate is supposed to be sweet," Yoon replied all casual. Dujan's mood instantly got better, and she started opening up. "Thanks for looking out, but it's not that deep. I was just really ticked off at the time." Yoon got curious. "What had you so mad?" "Well, I'm not even sure myself. You think that me, the observer with 10,000 eyes, and that thing, think the same? Is that what you believe?" Her words totally caught him off guard. "What?" Dujan just kept going. "Basically, it's the same deal. If those two couldn't pull their weight, I was thinking of just leaving them behind." The more he listened, the more he felt like something was way off with her story. And he shot back, "What the hell are you even talking about?" Dujan's expression got super cold. "That's why I'm so pissed. If I was more of a savage, I would have only brought along the ones with real potential. If I was serious, I wouldn't even have to get my hands dirty. I could have just let them get taken out by looking the other way. Maybe I was an idiot for agreeing to that plan in the first place," Dujan said, sounding totally salty about it. Meanwhile, our boy just takes a chill sip of his hot chocolate before asking again, "Is that right?" "Yeah, it is," she replied calmly. "So, that means you're just being dramatic, right?" His playful jab made her face flush bright red. She whipped her head away, muttering, "I pour my heart out and this is the crap I get." Then she spun back around and asked again, "So you really? I think those two have what it takes." Yoon looked her dead in the eye, totally confident. "Of course. No matter how OP the gear is, if they were talentless, they never would have gotten this far. Lai's a natural. A gift with a blade, but he relies on that holy sword way too much so he can't improvise in a fight. As for Vuo, she's got a crazy build and tons of potential, but she's totally held back by her own headspace. If they can just cover for each other and get past their own hangups, their talent will blow our minds for real." He was smiling as he laid it all out. His whole speech made the white-haired girl just zone out thinking hard, she thought. Like she wasn't 100% sold on these two clowns yet, but she decided to bet on you. "Aight, fine. I'll trust you. If they actually grind, the results will speak for themselves." And hearing that, OMG's eyes totally lit up like Christmas came early. "So you're really down to help them?" she asked. "Look like you said if they actually get their act together and level up, I'll eat my words and say you were right. But if this whole thing blows up in my face, it's all on you, got it?" she said while staring daggers right at you, and you could tell he was a little shook. Before my guy could even say anything, Dujan just kept going. "You got me wasting my precious time on those clowns, putting my own judgment on the line. So you better think about that. See you then. And don't forget to bring those two brats with you tomorrow morning." And with that, she was out, just leaving you standing there completely stunned. So fast forward, and the next morning training is on. Lai and Dujan are going at it hand to hand, and you can literally hear their hits echoing all over the place. Everywhere. And yeah, the outcome was not a surprise. Lai was getting absolutely bodied, couldn't even touch Dujan, and then she just sends him flying towards you with one hit. "Hey, you!" Lai gasps out all weak like he's about to say his last words or something. Will and Testament for real. "What's up? I'm here," Yu says, rushing over. Lai just gives him this major side-eye, totally salty. "Dude, you said you were gonna teach me stuff, so how come I'm the only one getting wrecked out here?" And Yu's just like, well, you see?" Totally tripping over his words, trying to cook up an excuse. But before he could, John stomps forward, slams her foot down, and just yells, "Are you kidding me? This is body conditioning, you dummy. This is totally normal. You're not the kind of guy who can just watch something once and get it like you. So quit your whining and get back on your feet." Lai, shaking like a leaf, reaches out, literally sobbing. "My sword, please give me my sword." "Nope, not happening. Until you learn how to throw hands without it, you're not getting it back. This is giving me major back in the tower vibes." John just shut him down cold, and her words made poor little Lai's eyes pop wide open like he just saw a ghost. "But I'm a swordsman taking away my sword. Like, how does that even make sense?" "At all." John just gives him this look like he's the biggest idiot on the planet. "So if you drop your sword, you're just gonna, what, lay down and die?" Lai snaps back instantly. "No, I'd never lose it." Oh, this kid's slick talk just made John even more mad. "Oh, so you want your sword back to fight me, bet. I guarantee you'll lose that thing in like 3 seconds flat." That epic shutdown left Lai completely speechless, just mumbling to himself, all sad-like. But without my sword, Seeing things were getting heated, Yu jumped in to hype Lai up. Yo, this is all part of the plan to help you level up. It's something John and I cooked up together. Just trust us on this one man and train without the sword. It's for your own good, promise. And it looked like Yu's heartfelt speech was actually getting through to Lai's heart, and you could see him slowly getting his game face back on. If Yu has a plan, there's gotta be a reason. Okay, I get it. I'll trust you guys and give it a shot. Alright, let's run it back, Lai yelled, all pumped up. But before he could even finish his sentence, John was on him, hitting him with a crazy spinning kick from above that sent him flying like a ragdoll. Again. You left an opening. What are you even doing? Your stance is trash. You gonna block or what? Don't just rely on your eyes to fight, feel it with your whole body. If you get it, then focus. Are your instincts really this garbage without your precious holy sword? John screamed while unloading a crazy flurry of attacks on him like super fast. So fast that all Lai could do was throw his arms up to block. And from the sidelines, Yu was watching this whole beatdown and it finally clicked. Everything John was screaming was 100% true. Right now, Lai's stats were literally dropping over time. Normally, this dude's an absolute beast who can take down an Erector no problem, but for some reason without his sword, he's just not it. He's got the potential for a major glow-up. But if the sword is what's causing all this, then his situation is way worse than I thought. And you could see Yu's face get super serious. Meanwhile, John was still on his case. You're getting weaker. Is your whole identity just that holy sword? Are you just a sword? I'm not, Lai screamed back. Then what's that supposed to mean? Are you completely useless without a weapon? John pressed. That's not true, Lai ground out between his teeth. If you really believe that, then stop looking for a sword that isn't there and fight me, John? Screamed her eyes wide. And OMG, her words must have hit a nerve, cause something inside Lai just snapped. His whole body starts glowing with this insane bright light. Then Lai lets out a yell and throws a punch so fast it made John flinch and whip her head back to dodge it. That punch was so strong it kicked up a gust of wind that blew everything away behind him. But get this, the craziest part was that Lai's whole look had completely changed. We're talking long silky hair and a brand new, feminine body complete with a very generous chest. This whole new vibe left both Yu and John completely floored. John was staring at Lai deep in thought and was just about to say something when bam, Lai's body starts changing again as these rays of light shot out and covered her body. They all got sucked into this cross-shaped mark right in the middle of her chest. And whatever was happening, it was not a good time, cause Lai just screamed in pain and collapsed. Seeing that, Yu immediately bolted over to check on her. But John shot out a hand and stopped him cold. Chill, he's fine. But this isn't gonna be an easy fix, she said, her eyes narrowed, looking dead serious. A little while later, Lai slowly changed back to his normal self and said coldly, John, and you were right. I can't keep going on like this. So then John was like, all right then, let's have a rematch. And first things first, my bad. I apologize for misjudging you. Lai just scratched his head all embarrassed and was like, nah, you don't have to apologize. You're the one who helped me out? He sounded kinda happy for a sec, but that vibe lasted for all of 3 seconds before John went on, I used to think you were just a clueless idiot, but it turns out you're an idiot with a freaking bomb strapped to your back. I just really asterisk hope that thing doesn't go off inside the tower. After dropping that bombshell, she let out this super tired sigh. And Lai could only scream, I am so not feeling you right now. And get this. Vucho was just on the sidelines, totally eating up the drama between Lai and Dujan. She got all hyped and was like, yo, Yuen, we should totally do that too. And as she was saying it, she was totally vibing off Lai and Dujan's whole scene, getting all giddy and telling Yuen, for real, we gotta try that. But then my boy Yuen peeped something was way off. Like, what even was that just now, Holy Spirit and some demonic energy? How in the world can two totally opposite vibes like that even crash in the same body? Okay, that's gotta be why he just exploded. I wonder if Lai is even clued in. Man, I'll just have to spill the tea when we get back to the dorms. Yuen was all in his head, then he snapped back to Vucho. Oh, my bad, Vucho. You were saying, I've been calling my name for a hot minute, huh? My bad, I was totally spaced out. Vo mumbled, looking all awkward. It's all good, but more importantly, maybe we could spar or something. Yuen got a flashback of her going totally psycho and was low-key shook. Is that really a good idea? Vio jumped in like, okay, I mean, it's not asterisk good, but you've got that secret sauce to lock me down, right? I just want to get a handle on my powers for real. I want to be useful, you know. The way she was practically begging him, my dude Yuen just couldn't say no. I bet. He nodded, strolling over to the weapon rack. As he was walking, he was thinking, damn, Vo is on one today, super proactive. Bet yesterday's whole chaotic mess really shook her up. Then he just tossed Vo a wooden sword and started to explain. I think we should just vibe and set our own pace, you feel me? No need to be all extra and loud like those two over there. Let's just ease into it and ramp it up slow. Okay. Vo nodded. I got you. Yuen raised his sword. You ready to do this? Vo shot back. Heck yeah. I'm gonna give it my all too. And right then it hit Yuen like a ton of bricks. Hold up a sec. Now that I think about it, isn't this that good? Isn't this my dream school life scenario? The whole youth thing I was picturing wasn't some crazy battle royale. It was this A guy and a girl pushing each other, getting stronger together. This is IT, haha, I'm so blessed. Shout out to Vo, my dream is finally coming true. He thought so cheesed up that his nose started turning a little red. Vo, looking kinda worried, was like, so, should I start? Yuen just replied all soft, I'd bring it. And girl the asterisk second asterisk, he said that. The pink-haired girl's whole vibe flipped. We're talking a full-on berserker mode that scared the ever-loving heck out of my boy. After like 5 measly minutes, Yuen had to scream for why his little snake homie to morph into a chain and tie Vo down. Like why hold on tight, my dude? Don't you dare let go no matter what. Yuen was basically screaming in a full-blown panic. It all went down super fast as the chain started slurping up the mana from Vo's body, letting her slowly come back to her senses. You back with us now? Yuen asked, his eyes getting all watery. The second Vo saw the look on his face, she knew she'd messed up big time. She covered her mouth all worried, asking, Yuen, are you okay? Are you hurt? How many times did I do that? Yuen, looking totally wiped, just answered. Bro, I lost count, but it's gotta be more than 10 times. Then he added, it's cool though. All my limbs are still attached, so we're good. Hearing that, Vo just broke down crying and blaming herself. I'm so sorry. It's all my fault you're going through this, Yuen. Her eyes were all teary, and she looked so freaking sad my guy couldn't take it. He just reached out and gave her a comforting head pat. For real, it's okay? I promised I'd help you, and I was totally ready for stuff like this to go down, so don't be sad, Yuen's warm voice made Vo's face go all red. But like that sweet little moment lasted for 2 seconds before Dojan's loud-ass voice rang out, making them both jump like they'd been caught red-handed. Ha ha ha, so while I'm over here training my butt off, you're getting cozy with a beast, Yuen. Dojan sneered, dragging some poor soul's limp body behind her. Yuen shot back instantly. Cozy bro, can't you see I almost got unalive just now? Dojan looked totally unconvinced, muttering about him, whispering sweet nothings to some innocent beast. Her voice was dripping with shade, and Vo jumped in to explain. It's not like that, Yuen was just worried about me. Dojan just gave Vo this super sus look? Is that right? Or does this beast have some other ideas? Her words made Vo blush like crazy. Then Dojan finally dropped the teasing and got all serious. Yo, it's mad disrespectful to your opponent to get distracted during training. Beast, you better squash whatever thoughts you're having. Meanwhile, Yuen was just sitting there thinking about Vo. She used to be so upbeat, and now she's all shy and timid. And she lets Dojan walk all over her. But then he's like, but she really is trying her best. Isn't she? So Yuen decided to do something to cheer the pink-haired girl up. He spoke up, all right, listen up. I asked the professors if I could bring one of you with me when I dip off this floating island. And guess what? They just gave me the green light. Dojan, of course, flips her hair, already picturing it. Oh, that's lit. It's so stuffy here anyway. Yuen completely iced her out and looked straight at Vo. So Vo, from now on, let's go out together. Let's go on a date. And bam. His words had the other two totally shook. So time skips, and just like he planned, Yuen and Vo are on their date, hitting up a clothing store. Of course, Dojan's voice starts blasting through the comm screen. Nah, I already told you before I left, Yuen explained, sounding so over it. We're not staying overnight. We're just hanging out for a bit. I'll be back. Like back before it even gets dark. Hearing that, Dojan seemed a little less pressed and shot back. Fine. Guess you've been in another world for so long you think it's just normal for a guy and a girl to just go out all willy-nilly at night. Then from another corner of the call, Lai just couldn't hold it in. He's full-on crying, his voice all choked up. Yo, Yuen, is that it? You're just gonna go out with someone who's not me, your own roommate. Before Lai could even finish his little tantrum, Yuen immediately cut him off like, bro, are you my mom or something? And right on cue, Vo steps out of the fitting room, her face all red and embarrassed. Sorry, I just tried on the outfit you picked out. Does it look okay? It feels like I'm showing off a little too much skin. But even though she was embarrassed, the fit was hugging all the right places, and Yuen was so stunned he had to cover his mouth. Then he shot her a big thumbs up and was like, nah, it's straight up beautiful. Meanwhile, on the other end of the call, Lai and Dojan were absolutely losing their minds. Lee was literally screaming, just you wait till you get back, I want to go out too. Yuen just ignored all that noise, and he and Vo started their little walk. It was Vo's first time ever being off campus, and she was totally buzzing. Whoa, this is insane. I had no idea there was a huge city like this right outside the academy, she said, her head on a swivel, trying to see everything at once. Yuen just smiled gently and nodded. Pretty wild, right? I've only been to the edge of the city like 2 times myself. Come on, let's walk around. There are a bunch of stores and a whole shopping district over there. Yeah, okay, Vo agreed, and rushed to keep up with Yuen. However, she pretty quickly realized she was getting totally swallowed up by the crowd. She started panicking like, oh crap, I'm gonna lose him, and just shot her hand out. Fortunately, Yuan caught on to what was happening and quickly grabbed her wrist, his voice all apologetic. Oh shoot, you good. My bad, I totally forgot this was your first time in a place this crazy. It's okay, I'm fine, Vo said, shaking her head. Seeing how she was, Yuan gently took her little hand in his and suggested, it's super packed with people in the shopping area, so let's just hold hands from now on, yeah? After saying it, he totally turned his head away, probably trying to hide the fact that he was blushing too. Vo just nodded softly. Okay. And so the two of them spent the whole day just happily exploring the city. From they were hitting up street food spots, checking out a teddy bear shop, just vibing in the park. Straight up, Wu's mood was better than it had ever been. At the end of the day, they pulled up to this outdoor food stall. Yoon got all concerned like, are you for real cool with this dish? The stuff at this place is all monster meat. And yeah, it was, but his worrying was totally pointless because Wu was already chowing down like there was no tomorrow. OMG, this is why I'm obsessed. It's insane. So fire, she said, looking completely blissed out, which even got him to nod along. Whoa, this is way tastier than I expected. Wucho just kept on munching, even humming a little happy song. I can't even believe I get to eat meat this bomb after coming to the city. It's all because of you, Yun. But then, bam, total vibe shift. Her mood just tanked, and Yun caught it right away. Yo, what's wrong? You not feeling it? Wo answered all sad. No, it's not that. It's just, I think I got way too carried away. This is the first time in forever that you've taken me to the city. You even hooked me up with nice clothes and treated me to this amazing meal, but I haven't done a single thing for you. Is it even okay for me to be having this much fun? I don't even know if what I'm doing is actually helping me get a handle on my powers. As she kept talking, she sounded more and more lost. Hearing this, Yun got all thoughtful for a sec. Then he slowly put his hand up, like he was pulling a whole concept into his palm and said, hey, can you look at this for a second? That whole vibe you're feeling right now, it's literally showing up in my hand. Wucho just stared, her eyes totally bugging with confusion. Then she shook her head. I don't see anything. Yeah, well, let's just pretend it's there, he replied kinda awkwardly and then tried to explain. Look, up until recently my power could only read anger, but it's different now. Even though we've only kicked it for a short time. I've been able to pick up on these other emotions. If we get tighter, I'm 100% sure we can find a way to fix your problem. Wucho looked down, her face all sad again, and quietly mumbled, my problem. You already know about it, don't you? Yeah, but all that worrying is over now, Wucho, he said as he freaking crushed the little orb of sadness in his hand, and then declared, I promise you I'm gonna solve it. Every single problem. So for today, just chill and have a good time. No stress. And OMG, his words totally worked on WU's mood. She replied super softly, okay, and then thought to herself, that's crazy. What he said is like actual magic. Turning back to him, he was scratching his head all embarrassed, like he just realized he had been way too confident. And maybe I went a little overboard. Next time we hang out, I won't call it a date or whatever. Wu jumped in immediately. No, it wasn't overboard at all. For real, I want to get closer to you. I want to understand you better, just like Dujan. She might seem super scary to everyone, but she's seriously really into you. He just shook his head, totally denying it. Nah, she's not into me. She just wants to own me like I'm some sharp new toy or weapon. Wu just burst out laughing. Dude, you really think that? He looked so lost. What's so funny? Wu replied gently. No, it's just, I feel way more relaxed now. I used to think you were this all-powerful, untouchable mage, but maybe I was dead wrong. So I feel like I can actually try harder now. Come on, if you're done eating, let's bounce. You've bought me so many gifts and clothes. So to say thanks, I'm gonna pick out a super sick street fit for you. He just smiled and nodded. I bet. Don't even trip about the money. Let's just have fun. Wo was beaming. Haha, for real, going out with someone as talented as you feels so bougie. Meanwhile, get this, back at the academy, the professors were in a meeting and the whole vibe was so tense. The little robot on Professor Aluminina's shoulder looked totally freaked. I'm fine, she whispered, telling it to chill. It's just a little awkward, but it'll be fine. Then in the meeting room, a shout just cuts through the air. How did info about the tower leak this bad? Who's gonna take a tower climbing leaderboard seriously? The absolute nerve of them. A female professor spoke up. The tea is spreading way too fast. There's no stopping it now. Exactly, because there's no beef involved. Someone else shot back. But then another professor just slammed his hand on the table, totally pissed off. We messed up from the very beginning, letting people from the lower world just run around doing whatever they wanted like this. In the middle of this super tense meeting, one loud voice just shut everyone up. That's enough, Professor Aluminina. I don't care how you feel your student going rogue has crossed the line. This is a clear-cut violation of the Academy's rules. Isn't it? Are you even aware of your responsibility for letting him do whatever he wants? The professor with the purple hair was just glaring, his voice dripping with shade. Okay, let's rewind a bit before this whole faculty meltdown. Happened Illumina had watched the video Yu's crew dropped. And girl, she was feeling her head spin. Oh my god, he actually filmed the entire thing inside the tower. At first he just said he was gonna climb the tower and vlog his journey. I didn't say no, but I never in a million years expected it to be a massive success. I mean, obviously all electronics and artifacts totally die inside the tower, cause the energy flow just overloads them. That's like day one stuff in this world, but he somehow got around it and brought back these insane results. He probably has no idea how huge this is. Not only did he get footage from inside the tower, but he also made a gadget that could actually work in there. It's truly unbelievable, and the idea got even wilder. Illumina was thinking to herself, remembering her chat with you when he pitched it. What you're planning to post that footage on your UFirm channel? Alamanina asked, totally shocked as he answered all chill. Yep, I think it'll get a ton of clicks. Rebel, that's what we're calling our crew. It'll help boost our image with the other students at the academy. Illumina didn't stop him. But anyway, Yu was just sitting there quietly thinking about Vuo. She used to be so upbeat, but now she's so timid and she's way too much of a pushover with Dujo. But on second thought, it's not like she's totally simping for him. Yu decided to do something to get the pink-haired girl's spirits up, and he spoke. All right, I asked the professors if I could bring one of you with me when I leave the floating island. I just got the okay. Dujo flipped her hair all smug. That's awesome! It's so lame here anyway. He totally ignored her and looked straight at Vuo. So Vuo, let's go out right now, okay? Let's go on a date, yeah. His words completely shook the other two as time just stopped. So as planned, you and Vuo are on a date in this clothing store when Dujo's annoying voice comes through the comm screen. No, I already told you before I left, he explained, totally fed up. It's not a sleepover. Just chill, we're just dipping out for a sec. I'll be back before it gets dark. Hearing that, Dujo got a little less freaked out and shot back. Hey, bro, have you been living under a rock? You really think a guy and a girl can just bounce and hang out at night? No big deal. And in the other corner, OMG Lai is literally in tears. Her voice is all shaky like, yo, for real, that's it. You're going out with someone who isn't me. Your own roommate. Before she could even finish, you just cut her off cold. What are you, my mom now? Why are you tripping so hard? And right then, Vuo steps out of the fitting room, totally blushing. Sorry, I just tried on the fit you picked out. Does it look okay? It feels like I'm showing way too much. And even though she was embarrassed, the outfit was a total knockout and you just had to cover your mouth, give a huge thumbs up, and were like, nah, it's straight up gorgeous. On the other end, Lai and Dujo were basically losing their minds watching this. Lai just screams, oh, you just wait till you get back here, I want to go out too. Anyway, ignoring that whole mess, you and Vuo start making your way around. This was Vuo's first time ever off campus, and she was so hyped. Whoa, this is insane. I had no idea there was a city this huge right outside the academy, she said, her eyes darting everywhere like crazy. You just gave a little smile and nodded. It's wild, right? Though low-key, I've only been to the city outskirts like 2 times myself. Come on, let's check some stuff out. There are shops and a whole shopping district right over there. Ya bet, Vuo agreed and hustled to follow you. But like she immediately realized she was getting swallowed by the crowd. She's thinking, oh crap, I'm gonna lose him, and just shoves her hand out trying to find you. Luckily, you saw what was up and snatched her wrist. Your voice all apologetic. Whoa, my bad, you good. I totally forgot this is your first time in a place this wild. It's cool, I'm fine, Vuo said, shaking her head. Seeing this, Yu gently took her little hand and was like, it's super packed in the shopping district, so let's just hold hands from now on. After he said it, he totally turned away trying to hide his blushing face. Vuo just gave a little nod. Okay. And just like that, the two of them spent the whole day vibing and exploring the city. From grabbing street food to checking out a stuffed animal shop and just chilling in the park. All of it made Vuo feel like the best she's ever felt. And to top it all off, they stopped at this outdoor food spot. You asked her all worried, you sure you're cool with this dish? The food at this place is all made from monster meat. But for real, he didn't need to worry because Vuo was already grubbing down hard. That's what I'm talking about. This is absolutely fire, she said with this super satisfied look, making you nod like, damn, this is way better than I thought. Vuo just kept on eating, even humming a happy little tune. I can't believe I'm getting to eat meat like this. It's all thanks to you for bringing me to the city. But then bam, her whole vibe just dropped and you noticed it right away. You, what's wrong? You don't like it? Vuo replied, all sad. No, it's not that. It's just, I think I got way too excited. This is the first time you've ever taken me to the city. You even got me these beautiful clothes and this bomb meal, but I haven't done a single thing for you. I'm just wondering if it's even okay for me to be having this much fun when I don't even know if what I'm doing is actually going to help me control my powers. And the more she talked, the more messed up she sounded. Hearing that, Yu just paused for a sec. Then he slowly raised his hand, gathering some kind of energy into his palm and said, hey, look here for a second. That whole vibe you're feeling right now is right here in my hand. Vuo just stared, looking totally confused, and then shook her head. I don't see anything. Just roll with it, okay? Yu said, all awkward, and kept explaining. Look, until recently my power could only really work with anger, but now it's different. Even though we've only spent a little bit of time together, I'm starting to be able to pick up on these other emotions. If we get closer, I'm 100% sure we'll find a way to fix your problem. Vuo looked down her face all sad and whispered, my problem. You knew the whole time, didn't you? Yeah, but now all that worry is gone, Yu said as he straight up crushed the little ball of sadness in his hand. Then he looked her dead in the eye. I promise you I will fix all your problems. So just enjoy today and don't even think about it. Yu's super confident words seemed to totally chill Vuo out, She whispered back, okay, and was thinking, that's insane. It's like whatever he says is actual magic. Back to my boy. He scratched his head, all shy. Like he just realized he was being way too extra. Maybe I went a little overboard. Next time we go out, I won't call it a date or anything. Vuo cut him off fast. No, it's not overboard at all. For real, I want to get closer to you. I want to get you more just like Dujan. I know she acts kinda scary to everyone, but she's totally into you. You just shook his head, denying it hard. Nah, she doesn't like me. She just wants to possess me like I'm some kind of ultimate weapon. Vuo just busted out laughing. Ha ha, you for real, you actually think that. You looked totally confused. What's so funny? Vuo replied softly. Nothing, I feel way more chill now. I used to think you were this all-powerful mage, but maybe I was dead wrong. So, I feel like I can try harder now. Come on, if you're done eating, let's bounce. You bought me so much stuff I gotta thank you properly. And then plot twist the scene cuts to him talking to Professor Illumina. So tell me, Professor Illumina, shouldn't you probably share a little more of the tea from that footage so the other professors can get what's going on? Instantly, every single pair of eyes in the room snapped over to her, full of curiosity. Wait, there's more, Professor Illumina. What's the secret info? You holding out on us? Getting put on the spot like that? Illumina looked completely shook. She was literally at a loss for words. What was that? Sio looked at her confused face, his eyes flashing with a bit of surprise, then he explained. Maybe Professor Illumina isn't clued in on this. Aight, then let me spill Banyu, and his crew are the only ones out of all the tower climbers to get chosen by the Guardians. Yo, that piece of intel just dropped, and all the professors in the room completely lost their chill. Professor Thalia literally jumped up from her chair and had to ask again. Whoa, the kid who climbed the tower for the first time yesterday. He got chosen by a constellation. But before Sio could even answer, Professor Illumina jumped in real quick. Vice Chairman connecting with a constellation is a student's personal business. If you're gonna be out here just carelessly spilling their tea. But Sio straight up shut her down, hitting her with, then answer me straight up. This is me asking as the Vice Chairman. Capiche, did Banu and the other kids sign a deal with a constellation? And yo, she was cornered because it was a boss asking his employee, so Illumina had to spill the tea whether she liked it or not. Nah, Banu and the crew didn't sign squat with any constellation. So Sio hears this, right? And his face gets all pensive like he's deep in thought. Damn, so they really turned him down. Knew they weren't your average Joes. Mad respect, it must have been crazy hard to say no with all that pressure from the constellations. Thinking this, he claps his hands like, bet. In that case, we're good. I'm letting Banu and all the 11th graders into my special lecture. And OMG, this decision totally sent the other professors in the room into a meltdown. What, hold up fam, Vice Chairman, didn't you literally just say they don't have a contract? So why the heck does he get into your Bouget advanced chem class? Hearing this, Sio looked so done with these clowns as he broke it down for them. Look, professors, the important part isn't the contract, it's that they got scouted by a constellation in the first place. Getting chosen by a constellation is already proof they're the real deal. And since they said no, other constellations are gonna be all over them now. So like, duh, aren't they the exact asterisk students who should be in my lecture? I'm the professor who coaches these chosen ones. If Banyu got picked by a constellation, then he's my student, period. Y'all feel me, professors? As he said it, his eyes got this crazy glint and he scanned the room, dropping this heavy-ass vibe that made the other professors just fold. Yes, sir, the whole group mumbled, looking weak. Seeing that Sio was like, good, now we're gonna keep talking about the leaked tower video. And just so we're clear, the school ain't gonna do jack to punish that student. As for his skills, y'all can ask him stuff one-on-one that's cool. But I swear, if we find out anyone is pressing the kid or messing with him in any way, I don't care if you're a professor or a student, you're getting kicked out of this academy. Everybody better remember that. And with that, this meeting's a wrap. I hope y'all have a good week. After that mic drop, the VC just strolls out with this little smirk, and that's when it finally clicks for Professor Illumina. Oh, I see what's up. This meeting wasn't about a punishment. The Vice Chairman's real play. This was a message from the chairman himself. This is the big boss through the VC sending a warning shot. Don't mess with Ban Yuan. Phew, what a relief, Ban Yuan. I seriously never thought he'd get this high up on the chairman's good side. I don't have to stress anymore. As she's thinking this, Professor Illumina breathes this huge sigh of relief, and then out of nowhere, this clown Professor C slides up to her all smooth. So Professor Illumina, what do you say? Want to grab a drink at the bar? I'd love to, celebrate your student's success with you? And in response, her little robot sidekick just gives him the absolute death stare like, bruh, are you for real after you were just trying to jam her up? And now you have the audacity to ask her out. Right next to him, Illumina gave him a look that screamed, I see right through your BS, and then just dipped from the meeting without another word. Savage. Seeing this, a couple other dudes could only let out a cringe laugh and try to console C. Haha, oof, my guy looks like you got shot down. Hey, Professor C, come have a drink with us instead. Anyway, time flies and we're on to the next day. The scene flips to the cafeteria where, for some reason, Yuan is totally mobbed by a sea of students. Everybody and their mom wants a piece of him. OMG, you're Ban Yuan, right? I'm Mira from the Hater World. You ever think about joining the student council? Yo, Yuan, can we talk for a sec? I'm Eureka. Is it true you're from that world with no mana? That's wild. Hello? Are you even listening? I'm asking you out, dude. Let's hang tonight. What'd you say? Should I put this in my diary? The student council always has room for talented people like you. He's getting hit with a million questions at once, and Yuen's face is just pure confusion. My dude is buffering, he has zero idea how to react. Seeing this whole mess, dude Joe can't help but be like, what the heck? Why is it a mosh pit over here? To fill her in, L pops up puffing out his chest all proud. You remember that channel we made? It totally blew up, fam. Right after that tower climb video dropped, we shot past 2 million subs, and the tower video itself is at a crazy 5 million views. For real, you'd be hard-pressed to find anyone in this academy who hasn't seen our channel. Back in her head, dude Joe is just thinking to herself while watching Y get swarmed. Honestly, compared to his actual powers, I low-key didn't think this whole video thing would be such a big deal. But seeing everyone freak out like this, man, Banu's creativity and talent are actually legit respectable. Time zips by, and finally Yuen breaks free from the mob, collapsing at a table totally wiped out and complaining to his friends, "Bruh, it's not even noon on a Monday, and I'm already this drained." Across from him, Vuo just grins and is like, "You killed it, man." Of course, Lai jumps right in to clown him. "Well, look at you, Mr. Big Shot, loving the spotlight?" Yuen hits him back with a sarcastic smirk. Hey, it's probably still better than getting dragged through the mud just for existing. Then something clicks and he turns to Lai. "Oh hey, you got a ton of fans, dude. If someone wants to talk to you, maybe try not to be so scary. They're saying they're too shook to even come up to you." Lai just gives this chill smile. If they're coming with good vibes, it's no problem. But of course, not everyone was on the UN hype train. A few haters started running their mouths. This is so lame making a big deal over some fake-ass video. There's zero chance they cleared 4 floors that fast, especially that crew from a backwater world. And look at the size of that spider that's so obviously fake. How are they letting these clowns run around like this? Just you wait. But tomorrow all their lies are gonna come crashing down. Chung gives Yuen this nasty side-eye, and those words totally jogged Yuen's memory. Oh shoot, that's right. Tomorrow's the day I gotta fight that struggling giant after all this drama. The people who think the video's fake or just straight up hate me are probably hyped to watch me get totally bodied tomorrow. Hearing that, Lai and Vuo get these super worried looks on their faces. But for real, besides being his hype crew, there wasn't much they could do. Meanwhile, Dooho Jun, who just finished eating all classy, dabs her mouth with a napkin and was like smiling, "Aight, so you just gotta put on a killer show for the haters asterisk and asterisk the fans, right?" Yun just cracked up, "Haha, you ain't wrong." And low-key he was thinking, yo, tomorrow's gonna be a prime opportunity to snag some new followers. Aight, fast forward. We're in the training arena and bam, there's Yun and his rival Ector ready to throw down. The ref steps up like, "Yo, this showdown's going live on the school's channel. We good." You both gotta give the okay. If you're down, just sign the thing. And just like that, this system window pops up in front of him. Yun's eyes went wide, reading it like, hold up. What in the world are these disclaimers? Like, if someone taps out or gets knocked silly, the fight's over. No cheap shots to the important bits. But if you get wrecked, that's on you. Are they seriously telling us to go at it till one of us is basically toast? The more he mulled it over, the more he was like, this school's policy is whack. But then Ector sounding all high and mighty chimes and yo, Mr. Negotiator. Yun, totally caught off guard, was just like, huh, and Ector just kept on trash talking. What you getting cold feet now? If you're scared, just tap out. All you gotta do is crawl between my legs and bark like a puppy and I'll let you off the hook. Oh, hell no. Yun was fuming. This dude's a total meathead. What is he even talking about? And get this, all the goons that Lai already put in their place were on the sidelines still running their mouths. That little scrub actually has the nerve to make a scene. Yo, Ector, wreck this dude. Meanwhile, in another corner, Optima was watching from the stands, looking deep in thought. Not even noticing Dooho Jun turns to her bestie Lai, who's also streaming this whole thing, and asks, so what's the chat saying? Hearing that, Lai shoots back with a totally grim face. We've got over 10,000 people watching live, but dude, they're all just flaming Yun in the comments. Seeing how it was going down, Vuo was all worried like everyone's ganging up on Yun. This is so messed up. But Dooho Jun wasn't even sweating it. She was just casually thinking, honestly, this isn't even a shocker. Like the number of people in our corner, you can count them on one hand. So yeah, this reaction is pretty much expected. And now with this many eyeballs on him, Yun's got no choice but to shut them all up. I mean, if he wants to prove he's the real deal, he's gotta do the work. Anyway, back to Yun. Ector's whole speech just made him bust out laughing. He was thinking to himself, crawl between his legs and bark LMAO as if, I seriously can't believe I just heard that line for real. It's like something straight out of a super cringy comic book. Yun knew he just had asterisk to clap back at this clown, or it would bug him forever. Yo, did you rehearse that little speech just for me? Not gonna lie, that line was kind of fire, but you got the game to back it up. Ector shot back from across the way, looking totally triggered. Let's see how long you can keep that cool guy act up. Yun just shrugged, turning and walking off like, guess you'll have to come over here and find out, won't ya? And with that, he pulls a sword out of his inventory and hits Ector with a total come get some gesture. That move made Ector grind his teeth and he let out this crazy growl, just dying to absolutely destroy Yun. He immediately starts screaming at the ref, Professor Jun, let's go start the match already. I gotta rip this punk to pieces. His psycho tone had the professor next to him sweating bullets, so he rushed it like, Okay. We've got Ector from Class 1 versus Ban Yoon from Class 11. Let the match begin. And the second he said it, Ector just blitzed forward, no hesitation. He balled up his fist, swinging that massive arm like a freaking wrecking ball aimed right at Yun. Die, he roared, like he was trying to send Yun straight to the Shadow Realm with one punch. But Yun, he was just calmly watching, thinking, aren't we a little cocky? But for real, moving that slow, what are you even gonna do to me? He took one tiny step back, twisted his body, and dodged Ector's swing like it was nothing. In the same move, the sword in his hand smacked Ector clean across the face, whipping his head to the side and sending his whole huge body crashing to the floor. Yo, going up against a tank like him. The best play was to use that sick movement technique he'd been learning. Yun's mind flashed back to that night after his date with Vuo back in the Class 11 training room when Hojan started drilling him. Her voice was echoing in his head. Look, before you can pull this move off for real, it takes a whole lot of trial and error. Otherwise, it's just a half-assed skill. When you're up against a new enemy or a new attack, you gotta use your brain and adapt on the fly. You might feel a little overwhelmed, but you gotta stay chill and watch every move your opponent makes. To master it, you have to grind so hard that you can bust out this footwork anytime, anywhere. With this staff, I'm gonna come at you with different speeds and styles, and every single hit will have a different goal. If you can land even one single counter, you pass. Faced with Hojan's sharp-as-attack voice, Yun was shaking like a scared little kid legit with tears in his eyes. But back in the now, Yun was watching and analyzing everything. This absolute rock for brains can't even lay a finger on me. If he keeps throwing these useless punches, he's gonna leave an opening sooner or later. On the flip side, Ector was still totally dazed. How did I get hit? Wait, what even just happened? A crazy scream ripped out of Ector, but right as it did, the rocky skin on his face just cracked open. He grabbed his face and just howled in pain, and Yun he just watched, nodding totally satisfied. Looks like my new technique is a total success. See, before I hit you, I juiced up my sword with wave energy. A body as tough as rock like yours. Turns out it's a great conductor for that energy. That's why you're hurting so bad right now. In response to Yun's little science lesson was a psycho glare from Ector. He roared like a caged animal. How dare you mess up my body? Yun turned back, giving the screaming Ector an ice-cold look before slowly strolling toward him, saying, excuse me, but can you stop with the whining and just fight me already? If you don't want to get hurt anymore, just tap out now. But Ector, being the arrogant dummy he is, just couldn't handle being clowned on like that. His whole body was literally shaking with rage. Then out of nowhere, he swung that giant arm at Yun, trying to snatch him up. But pleased with his snail-like speed, how was he ever going to touch Yun with just a little hop? Yun dodged it easy peasy. And that just made Ector even more ticked off. You some scrub from a trash-tier dimension, you dare look down on me. His eyes went pitch black and white smoke just started pouring out of his mouth and the cracks on his head. Then, he busted out a skill that made his already massive hands swell up even more, like, dude, it was bigger than me. I'm about to end you, Erector screamed, hoisting that giant hand up and slamming it down. The hit was so insane it shook the whole arena. But making his arm that huge just made him even slower. My boy Jan wasn't even sweating it. He was probably laughing inside like, what a clown bro, after getting rocked like that, you'd think he'd try something new. If you keep pulling the same lame move, I'm just gonna have to wrap this up real quick. But Erector had no clue what Jan was thinking. He had totally gone rage mode. Dude was just charging in, throwing hands with zero strategy. Meanwhile, Jan was moving smooth as butter, juicing up his sword with energy. Right before Erector's giant fist came crashing down, Jan's blade just flicked up and tapped his stone arm. And bam! With just one little slice, a million cracks spiderwebbed across that massive arm, making Erector squeal like a little baby. Elsewhere, Vice Principal Zoe was just chilling in his office watching the whole thing. He lets out a little laugh and shakes his head. What a total blowout. And it wasn't just him, all the haters who were trashing Jan were now blowing up the chat with question marks. The comments section was on fire, and Lai was absolutely living for it, haha. Even seeing it live, they probably think it's fake. Vio jumped in all hyped like, for real compared to when he first got here. Jan is on a whole other level now. Those goons that Lai had put in their place were totally bugging out over this result. Is this even real? How did Erector get clapped the second the match started? And he lost to some dude from a lower world. No way those skills on that channel were legit, right? They were all saying, looking super confused. Meanwhile, Professor Jun, the ref, was just standing there completely shook by the scene. He was thinking, what the actual heck is going on? Like just 1 week ago, he was nowhere near this strong. What in the world happened in just a few days? And right in front of him, Jan was now lit up with this insane golden aura giving off some serious main character energy. However, before he could get a better look, a pop-up from the professor's council hit him with an urgent message. When he looked back, he saw Erector just laid out on the floor, not moving, all kinds of messed up. Jan was just wondering to himself, alright, so, what now? Like hitting a guy who's so wrecked he can't even move is a total punk move. Get up and fight, dude. But before Jan could even finish that thought, Professor Jun threw up his hand to stop everything. That's enough. Stop right now, by order of the supervising professors, we're calling it. Erector is unable to continue. For the safety of you both, this match is over. This announcement totally floored both Jan and Erector, especially Jan. He knew this was some BS stopping the fight right when things were getting good. What are they even talking about? You know, if I was the one laid out, they wouldn't have done a thing. Jan thought totally sarcastically. Then he spoke up. Professor June, hold on a sec. But Professor June just shut him down flat. You don't get a say in this, Jan. The match is over. Get out of the arena. Now. His tone was so final, Jan was literally fuming. He was so frustrated. And even though he was pissed, he couldn't just defy the professor's counsel. So Jan just turned and walked off thinking, so it's a draw. How lame. But hey, at least I didn't lose, so whatever. I guess I can live with that. But then Professor June started screaming, totally panicked. Wait, Erector, don't move. You can't fight anymore. The match is over. Right then, Jan turned around and saw Erector all beat up, shaking as he struggled to his feet. He roared, Who says it's over? You want me to bow down to some nobody from a lower world and take this disrespect? You piece of trash, I'm gonna end you. And with that, he popped a skill that made his right arm blow up like a freaking tank and started charging at Jan, cracking the floor with every step. All Professor Jun could do was stand back there and scream his head off. Stop, Erector, get out of the way, Jan. Being played like that had already ticked Jan off, and now this idiot Erector was charging him again. Jan was so done playing nice. He pulled a sword out of his inventory, muttering, Dodge, why would I dodge? This dude's trying to take me out for real. I'm sure he heard the warning, right? Or does he think the rules don't apply just because I'm from a lower world? The professors hype up the fight, then just end it whenever they want, and now this clown is throwing a tantrum just for his pride. Man, the way this school is run is seriously messed up. With that thought, Jan's whole vibe went ice cold. He swung his sword in a flash, and just like that, Erector's right arm went flying through the air completely detached. Erector's eyes went wide in total shock. Then he grabbed his stump, just screaming his head off. Up in the stands, everyone's jaws were on the floor. They literally couldn't believe what they just saw. Professor June ran over, trying to chill him out. Calm down, Erector. We can reattach your arm. I'll get you to the nurse's office right now. While he was saying that, he was frantically tapping on his system window. And right then, Jan got a wild notification from his own system. System alert. Do you want to yoink the following traits from Erector's arm? Vitality, Titan's body, volcano, monstrous strength. That pop-up made Jan break out in a cold sweat. Like, what is this? Is this even a thing? While Jan was still tripping over that crazy notification, Jun finished messing with his system window and zapped Erector's body and the arm straight to the infirmary. After that, the assistant professor turned and got right in Jan's face. What was that all about? Jan, I told you to move, didn't I? Jan just calmly put his sword away, shrugged and was like, my bad, Assistant Professor Jun, but it all went down so fast after the match was already over, it was kind of hard for me to react in time. Jun was not buying it for a second and yelled, Is that seriously your excuse? But just then a call screen popped up next to him, and the super calm voice of Vice Principal Jean came through. That's enough. Assistant Professor Jun, I'll take it from here. The second he heard that, Jun's angry face just vanished, and he answered all meekly, Yes, I understand. The screen then turned to Jan, and John's voice got super serious. Hello, Ban Yuen. I'm speaking for the entire Professor's Council. We saw everything that just went down. From now on, I ask the questions you answer. Think very carefully and tell the truth. The Vice Principal's sharp, cold gaze was locked on Jan through the screen, grilling him about Erector's reckless attack. You're not seriously going to tell me you couldn't have dodged that, are you? With your skills, dodging would have been a piece of cake. The power gap between you two was so massive that the Faculty Council decided to call the match. So spill it. We need an answer that actually makes sense. Why didn't you just dodge that hit, Ban Yuen, bro? The pressure from Zan's question had Yuen sweating bullets. He didn't just blurt something out, nah, he was deep in his head like, okay, so I'm a beast with my words, but I've never really thought about the soul behind him. Yuen was feeling the heat, totally freaked out by this dude behind the screen. He was thinking, who is this guy for real? Then Yuen finally spoke up. Yeah, like you all probably figured I didn't dodge Ector's attack. I went for the counter because I saw some clown who thinks it's cool to disrespect the teachers and gets a kick out of it. And that dude deserved to get checked. The consequences. Sun was like shook. Wait, did you say the asterisk teacher's authority asterisk? Yuen just nodded. You heard me. And on top of that, this was an official match with, asterisk rules asterisk. I had to make it crystal clear. That nobody gets to just ignore the rules or think they can pull a cheap shot on someone and walk away clean. Sun kept pushing. And why's that? Yuen was super chill and just said, because a ton of students and viewers from other dimensions were tuned into this match. Ector totally blew off the signal to end it and kept coming at me. If I just dodged, it would have sent a messed up message that when you're fighting students from these so-called weaker dimensions, the rules don't matter. Look, I made the call in a split second, but I'm 100% sure I did the right thing. I did it to protect the Academy's rules. Yuen shot back with this crazy, calm and confident vibe, and OMG, his slick answer using the school's rep as a shield. It made Vice Principal Sun low-key smirk. Haha, this kid is smart. He totally knows everyone's listening and just flipped this personal beef into a problem for the whole Academy. Can't even argue with that logic. But just as he was thinking that, Sun's voice got all serious again. Student Banu breaking the sparring rules asterisk is asterisk punishable. But and this is a big, but figuring out who gets punished is my job, and the academy's not some students. Am I wrong? Ufsun's words hit hard and you could totally see Yuen's face fall. And right there, Assistant Professor Run was grinning like a total creep. All smug. Ha, you love to see it. Talk all you want slick, but you're going against the VP. You're toast Banu. But Yuen got the memo loud and clear. There was no way he could fight the vice principal's power. So he just tapped out. You're 100% right, Professor. If I accidentally stepped on the faculty's toes, my bad, I'm seriously sorry. Whatever's coming, I'll take it. Hearing that, Sun just started laughing, and the whole vibe got way more chill. Haha, punishment nah, bro, not even. I was never gonna punish you. I was just curious what was going on in that head of yours. After saying that, Sun paused for a sec, giving Yuen this intense look like he was sizing him up. Damn, this kid can talk, and he's got this insane drive to get the constellations on his team. With that, Sun just wrapped it up. Anyway, the real fault here is Ector's. He ignored the stop signal and still tried to come after you, so I'm calling Banu's move legit self-defense. Up in the stands, Vuo immediately started going wild and celebrating. The only one not happy was Assistant Professor Run, who was just standing there totally shook before he tried to butt in. Professor, but what he did? Before he could even finish, Sun just turned and shut him down. That's enough, Assistant Professor Run. You need to stop this embarrassing act right now. If you had actually stepped in and stopped Ector from losing his mind, maybe none of this would have happened. That's right. You're partly to blame for this mess, too. Assistant Professor Run's face went ghost white and he clammed up real quick. Sun just ended the whole thing. Look, putting Ector's arm back on is no big deal, so we're done here. All you students watching, get back to your seats and get ready for what's next. And Yuen, good job. You can bounce now. Speaking of Yuen, he was totally floored that he got off scot-free. He just froze for a couple seconds, then gave a quick thank you bow and started to head out. But right then, this super faint whisper hit his ear. So see you again. And that OMG got Yuen super curious. He kind of glanced back at the screen for a sec, then went to find his crew. Seeing Yuen just wreck Ector, Lai, and Vuo were totally hyped. There he is, welcome back, dude. That sword move you pulled at the end was sick. Lai gushed. Vuo, on the other hand, was just breathing a huge sigh of relief. Bro, more importantly, I'm just glad you're okay. Yuen nodded back at them. You guys came all the way out here. Thanks for the support. Guess fighting those crazy monsters in the tower really paid off, huh? Over on the side, the Swordmaster Hojan chimed in too. Not gonna lie, that was a good match. You leveled up again, didn't you? So how's it feel getting a new power-up? Is it any good? Hearing that, Yuen? Kinda scratched his head and looked at her. Thanks. It's all 'cause you keep making me do those weird A training routines. But Hojan cut him right off and her whole vibe got serious. I'm not talking about that. That guy's arm. You yoinked its power, didn't you? Hojan's words made Yuen totally freeze up, and he started replaying what just went down. Yuen had decided to just absorb the juice from Ector's arm, figuring might as well grab a little something just in case. So first Yuen thought about it and smashed that confirm button. Instantly, a notification popped up from the system. Life Force deprived 22.9, Body 27.9, Titan 14, Volcano 14, Super Strength 14. Whoa, Giant and Volcano are stats that humans can't even get! After reading that, Yuen was just stunned for a few seconds. Snapping back to reality, he fessed up to the crew. So far, I can't just control the stats of living things whenever I want, but it looks like I can jack specific body parts by chopping them off. So in the end, I decided to just absorb the power from Ector's right arm, Yuen said, looking super bummed out. Seeing his face, Hojan hit him with a cold reality check. Isn't that like a good thing? Why do you look so dead inside? Yuen tried to explain. At first, yeah, I was stoked about getting stronger, but then I thought about it and it just felt wrong. I mean, I lopped off a person's arm, not some monsters. Getting hyped after dismembering someone to get a power-up just gives me the creeps. Yuen's voice got real quiet, and you could tell he was super sad. This got Vuo, who was standing right there, all worried too. But Hojan was about to set him straight, like, what? Yo, what kind of nonsense are you even spouting right now? Get your head up, dude. That guy literally tried to end you. An arm is the price he paid, period. You won, he lost. The scoreboard is crystal clear. It doesn't matter who they are. If someone is coming for your life, you absolutely do not need to play nice. You get me? Hojan's sharp words totally snapped Yuen out of his funk. His head started clearing up and he let out a little chuckle and nodded. Yeah, you're totally right. Haha, my bad everyone, I was just getting all up in my head for a sec. Seeing Yuen was back to his old self, Hojan started complaining. Seriously, worrying about that kind of stuff is a total waste of time. So what if I just went around and politely asked for an arm from each of those so-called special kids? What do you think? We could just, yoink their powers, let them live, but totally crush their spirits. Hearing this absolutely terrifying idea, Yuen could only manage a super awkward smile. Haha, dude, you're scaring me. Lai just shook his head, totally not vibing with Yuen's pity party. Don't sweat it. compared to H. John, you're still basically a saint. This totally set H. John off, and he shot them both a death glare. Hey, what the heck are you two whispering about? All of a sudden, a screen popped up right in Yuen's face. He totally freaked. Oh, come on, what now? His little outburst got the other three to look over. Right in front of Yuen was a notification for a class taught by Professor Zhou. This made him break out in a cold sweat. Oh no, it's a mandatory pop-up course and you can't even say no. Professor Zhou's Babylon Constellation class for all final year students 4th year and up. Professor Zhou's voice just started booming from the screen. How to get constellations to sponsor you. How to finesse better contracts with constellations. All the hot goss and prep you need to avoid getting smited by a constellation. How to easily switch constellations and all that jazz. This course gives a special shout out and welcome to the students of Class 11. Time flew by, and Yuen's crew started making their way over, but everyone around them was giving them some serious side-eye. Look, it's the freshman squad coming this way. Ugh, look at that dude walking around like he owns the place. It's such an eyesore, so freaking annoying. One person just had to run their mouth, but someone else had a totally different take. For real, I mean, even though he's a freshman, he's kinda cute. And his duel was seriously sharp. But like, why are they even up here? This is the 4th year's floor. Someone wondered out loud. Yeah, for real. The only thing on this floor is Professor Zhou's lecture hall. Back to Yuen. Our boy noticed his friends were all super quiet while the haters were hating. To break the super awkward vibe, he was like, hey, did I ever tell you guys this? Back in my world, we have a saying, the more people curse you out, the longer you live. Yuen just gave him this look like he was a complete 3-year-old. Huh? Then you must be like immortal, right? She deadpanned. Meanwhile, Lai was scowling, totally dissing the haters talking smack. Do they seriously think we're deaf or something, bunch of cowards? Vivi, the tiny one, tugged on Yuen's sleeve and whispered, are you okay? After what went down yesterday, I was so worried everyone would ghost you. They don't even know you, and they're already spreading all these nasty rumors. Her eyes started to get all watery like she was about to cry. Yuen realized that OMG, maybe Vivi was the one who needed the pep talk. It's all good, Vivi. It's a little annoying, but hey, it's way better than being looked down on like before. Thanks for worrying about me, though. As he said it, he gave her a little head pat, which totally seemed to cheer her up. But like the happy moment lasted for 2 seconds before they heard Shun literally grinding her teeth. Haha, you two go out for one weekend and you're already this lovey-dovey. Her comment made Lai flinch and jump out of the way. June glared daggers at Vivi and snapped, you really like that outfit Yuen gave you that much. If you're gonna be all cute and cuddly, take it somewhere else. Monster, Vivi shot back, which was so not expected. What are you jealous? Her words totally shocked Yuen, while Heejin went full-on feral like a cat that just got sprayed with water. Guess getting your butt kicked in the duel wasn't enough for you, Monster Heijin growled. Vivi immediately ducked behind Yuen, but she still had this fiery look in her eyes. Yuen had no choice but to jump in and play referee. Whoa, wait a minute. Chill out, Shun. Class is about to start. Let's not throw down right now. Vivi peeked around at Shun smirking and said, you're acting like you didn't start it by bullying me first. Her words made Shun tremble with rage, while Yuen shot a glare at Vivi. You too. Time zipped by and the crew finally made it to the Babylon Constellation lecture hall. Before they went in, Yuen asked, okay, this is the Babylon lecture hall, right? We're not like late, are we? Lai said, all worried. Dude, there was a class last week too. If a bunch of freshmen like us just crash it halfway through, what are the seniors gonna think? Yuen just grinned. You're worried. Worried about this asterisk? Obviously they'll think we're some kind of genius freshmen. Right. He swung the door open and strutted in, and bam, every single pair of eyes in the room locked onto them, and the pressure was insane. HJ had to admit, just as I thought, these are upperclassmen for a reason. Even I can't just brush off their power. But while HJ was keeping his cool, Lai was nervously clutching Yuen's arm, his face all pale and stressed out. He was picking up on way more than his friends were. Oh my god, I knew this was a class for crazy talented students. But what even is this? A flood of blurry notifications popped up in front of Yuen, showing just how terrifyingly strong the upperclassmen were. Yuen's current level wasn't even high enough to scan their stats. The system pinged. You have successfully understood and interpreted a portion of the concept held by a transcendent being. Your understanding of the Book of All Poisons has reached 137. Totally clueless to what was going on in Yuen's head, Professor Zhan, after seeing the group of newbies had finally shown up, spoke up to greet them. Welcome, Class 11. I'm so glad to see you all decided to join my class. Let me introduce myself. I'm Zhan, your supervising professor. Feel free to grab any empty seat. As for you, he instantly knew this was the voice that had talked to him during the throwdown with Erector. After Yuen's crew found some seats, the vice principal kicked off the lecture. So in the syllabus, I passed out. The goal of this course is super clear to understand the origin of the tower and the constellations. Since we've got our freshman friends joining us today, we're going to start with a little Tower 101. At first glance, the tower might seem like it has no rules and just goes on forever. But really, it's more like a living, breathing thing. When we're climbing the tower, we have to beat trials and find the hidden treasures inside. Now you might think you're getting rewards asterisk for asterisk beating the trials. But that's not actually how it works. It's not that you're hunting for treasure. It's more like the tower itself has set this stuff aside for you to grab. The whole point is to pick out the absolute best of the best, the most elite people with more, like super rare loot, even more epic treasures and magic that's totally off the charts. The tower's basically scouting for peeps who get its vibe, spilling more tea to those who are in the know. It's like a basic requirement for any smart being. You feel me? With a big brain. Anyway, back to our boy Yuen. He hears the vice principal and is totally rolling his eyes on the inside. Like, what a load of crap. A janky system that some random invader can just hack using weird-ass methods, and this dude's out here saying, the tower chooses people, bro. That's such a reach for real. Who would even fall for that? But then hold up, Yuen starts getting all thoughtful. He's replaying the whole tower climb in his head and is like, wait a damn minute. Okay, so the principal spammed out those letters right after some invader crashed the party. So we all just figured that's why the spider swarm went totally nuts. But like thinking back on it now, the difficulty on the first floor was super sus. That thing that one-shotted Louis was no joke, definitely an elite tier baddie. If the tower only got glitchy after our crew hit the 4th room and the invader started messing things up, then the whole hell mode. Difficulty in rooms 1, 2, and 3 makes 0 sense. Like, what is even happening right now? Could the tower actually be like alive? I know it sounds totally bonkers, but what if I flip the script? Let's say the tower's difficulty didn't get jacked up because of the invaders, but for some other reason. Could it be because of asterisk? That asterisk for real, was that nightmare level difficulty actually what the tower wanted for us? Or was it maybe because I'm basically the tower master's heir? Like, is asterisk that asterisk why it went down? OMG, that sounds so full of myself it's not even funny. This is so confusing. Yuen's brain was basically turning into scrambled eggs so much that his hybrid buddy next to him was like, yo, Yuen, you good? Up at the front, the VP is still yapping, but he's totally locked onto Yuen. He sees our boy looking all stressed out and just cracks this super shady smile looking back at Yuen, who's still doing the whole chin-stroking thinker pose. Yuen's like, Aight, no need to fry my brain over this. If the tower really is handpicking its climbers like the prof said, then dude, this is the best possible setup. At the very least, our class got hit with a way harder challenge and a whole different vibe than everyone else. You know what they say? High risk, high reward, baby. The loot the tower's got waiting for us has got to be on a whole other planet. So why can't I wrap my head around this? What is this class even for? And then across the room, Vice. Principal Zoe catches Yuen's I'm so lost look and is like completely shook. Whoa, did you already spot it, that barrier thingy around it? Some kids go years without seeing it. And you clocked that orb on your very first day just sitting in on the class. That's it. You've got a sharp eye, Banan. I'm impressed. Even as a freshman, you totally deserve to be in this lecture. And as he's saying this, the prof just reaches up into the air and snags this purple orb that was just chilling above everyone. He goes, I got a question for you, Banan. What do you see inside this thing? This super cryptic question makes Yuen stare hard at the orb, but his system is only giving him, like, super vague deets. So Yuen just kinda awkwardly says, I don't see anything. Hearing that, Zoe just smiles. Nah, you gotta focus harder. Look again. Still blank. Yuen shakes his head. Come on, focus up. There's gotta be something you can see. Try and spill the tea on this orb. So with that little pep talk, Yuen squints real hard for a sec and starts to catch a few vibes from inside Shield Sever Protect. But that's all he's getting, he says with a super confused look. Zoe realized he'd hit a wall and didn't push it. Nice. You can close your eyes and chill now. Yuen breathes a huge sigh of relief. Zoe couldn't help but be surprised. I seriously didn't think you'd figure out 3 of the orb's powers. Dude, you are not a regular person at all. Now I totally get why the principal is so obsessed with you. Then he asks, so do you get what this is? Not a clue, Yuen just straight up says. That answer kinda made the VP glitch for a second. Okay, points for honesty, but you gotta use your brain more. I want to stress to all of you that in school and in life, expanding your mind and feeding your imagination is super important. Like, a bigger mind equals bigger power straight up. If you want to level up your skills, you have to work on your thinking game and learn how to aim it. You gotta train your brain. Even if you don't see results right away, you can never ever stop thinking. All this talk just made Yuen more confused, constantly thinking, bro, what does any of this have to do with the orb? He thought to himself before just blurting out, so if someone's got like super high perception or a crazy imagination, can they control this orb? The question totally caught Zoe off guard, but he nodded. Exactly. One day, if you can figure out how everything is built, break it down and then build on it, this orb will basically turn you into a god. The whole class went dead silent. Everyone just processing that. Zoe just laughs. Look, it might sound like a lot to take in right now, but as you go through the learning process, it'll start to click. This is the main tea of my lecture, and it's all connected. Now let's get to the main event, the Constellation War simulation. And that's a wrap for today's class. For homework, I want you guys to brainstorm all the crazy ways you could use this thing. See y'all next week. Meanwhile, Yuen's brain is still buffering from the lecture. He's scratching his head, mumbling, man, this is way too complicated. A god is a god, but what the heck is a pseudo-god? A wannabe god or a fake one? What's the secret recipe to becoming a god anyway? Is it 'cause we're in different grades? This class is way over my head. Yuen thought his brain about to short-circuit. While he's spiraling, the other students start bailing from the lecture hall. Lai turns to the squad and is like, Aight, let's dip. Once they're outside, Yuen is still completely lost and needs a recap bad. Can someone please explain that lecture to...
Me again. Lai's eyes practically bugged out of his head. Huh, bro? I was counting on you to break it all down for us. Right then a voice they all know pops up next to them. So class is already done. Hearing this, Yuen literally jumped and spun around yelling, Tima, what the hell are you doing here? In reply, the bougie blonde gives him the nastiest look. You peasant, zip it. I'm the one asking the questions here. He looks around the group and asks, where is she? The whole squad was just like, ah. Lai kinda spoke up all hesitant. Her, you don't mean... And OMG, they all got the same picture in their heads instantly. Just then, Hojan's voice cuts in. What's all this racket about? As she walks over looking super curious at the crowd, but her eyes like immediately locked on Optima. She was all like, OMG, I thought some real tea was going down over there. The second Optima saw Hojan, he made a beeline for her. He got right up in her face and said super serious, you're Hojan, right? Hearing that, Hojan just calmly crossed her arms and was like, yeah, that's me. So what? Optima kept going. I got some business with you. His whole vibe was kinda ticking her off. You wanna throw down again? If you've got a death wish, go for it, I won't stop you. But trying to duel inside this academy is a total pain. But then what Tima did next, y'all, was absolutely wild. He just drops to one knee, poof, and pulls this insane bouquet of roses out of his inventory. He holds them out to Hojan and deadass says, Hojan, I wanna ask you out on a date. The second the words left his mouth, his face turned bright red. Yuen's crew in the back were just staring with their eyes wide open, totally sweating bullets. They were genuinely scared for Tim. Like, who has the guts to say that to Hojan? And speaking of Hojan, her face got so dark, giving off this killer aura that was about to swallow everyone. Nobody could believe their eyes. Lai and the other guys' faces went pale. They were shook that this dude had such a weird type. He's for real into the girl who basically beat him into next week, Lai said all chill. Bro, you just answered your own question. Yuen was horrified, like no way, looking completely defeated. Meanwhile, Jian just calmly goes, you guys are all the same, so just quit it. I'm actually super curious what his game plan is here. The three of them just stared at her with like literal question marks over their heads. What plan? Jian then says all cool, y'all really don't get it, do you? Then she starts walking over, explaining as she goes, he's gotta have some other motive cause I am not seeing any I'm into you vibes in his eyes. Yuen just lazily glances back and shoots his shot. Nah, you're trippin'. You're looking pretty cute yourself, though. Hearing that, Jian, who gets flustered super easily, started getting all shy. Her whole body was shaking as she stammered, Yo, why are you just dropping compliments on me like that? I mean, I already know I'm a baddie. You don't have to scream it. Someone next to her was like, girl, don't even listen to his game. That dude is a certified player. Jian replied all shy, duh, I know that. All right, you don't gotta say it. Next to them, Ducho was wondering to herself, is he really playing some kind of angle? But that look in his eyes was 100% for her. Thinking back to a few minutes ago, Xion had just straight up rejected the blonde dude with an icy voice. I'm not interested in you, so don't come around anymore, she said cold as heck as she walked away, leaving the poor guy still down on one knee. Just then, Ruo looked back and caught the expression on his face. Man, he was clearly heartbroken and totally bummed about being shot down. He looked so crushed, just trying to get back on his feet. Like, why even mess with love at this age? It's so exhausting. You're way better off just watching recaps. Anyway, a minute later at the training grounds, he gets a random system notification. You have revealed yourself to multiple beings, engraving your existence into their minds. You have awakened a new concept, charisma and honor. The value for charisma and honor is 10. And he's thinking, did I just unlock a new concept right after I uploaded this week's video to my channel? Bet. Charisma 10, the power to charm and influence people. Honor 10, the street cred you get when other people recognize your greatness. These stats seem pretty sick, but are they gonna help me climb the tower? Curious, he immediately spins around to Ducho and asks, hey, have I been looking extra handsome lately? She was totally thrown off and confused, but then she actually complimented him, saying he seemed even more handsome. My guy immediately got all smug about it, but this just pissed Xion off, who started radiating this terrifying jealous aura that spooked everyone. She screamed, you two focus on what you're doing. Stop with all the PDA over here. Her eyes were literally screaming murder, and she was holding Lai, using him as a human punching bag to get her anger out. He tried to ask Duco if she noticed anything else different, but before he could even finish, Xion shoved him right in the face. She was blushing and said, did you not just hear me? You should be focusing on your training. Then she started nagging him, all frustrated. At this rate, we're gonna be training till the sun comes up. Yun saw all this and called Ruo over to practice. Meanwhile, Lai looked like he was about to cry, begging, please just let me rest for a sec. And poof, his wish was granted and he just collapsed on the floor. In the training yard, Yun was sparring with Ruo. They were moving and blocking hits at insane speeds, and her fighting skills were seriously leveling up. The power from their attacks clashing was massive. From the sidelines, Lai decided to play coach. Ban, you've gotten way stronger. I think it might be time to level up to some more advanced training. But Xion immediately shut that down. Not yet. Leaning against the wall, she broke it down. He's gotten better.
But he's still not even close to your guy's level. The only reason he can even hang is because Ruo is holding back.
She watched him fight her mind, running a million calculations. We're going into the tower tomorrow anyway. Did you figure out a way to deal with that monster? Ban, if not, it's just gonna be a repeat of last time. If we don't figure something out like now, we're just gonna fail again. Meanwhile, Yun activated his all-seeing eye. Golden sparks were flashing in his eyes as he thought. After training with Ruo for a whole week, I'm finally starting to get how she works. Her rage is totally triggered by her emotions, and her whole state changes based on what's fueling her. When she's powered by negative emotions like anger, she gets way harder to control. But on the flip side, when she's fueled by positive vibes like joy, her rage totally chills out and she's stable again. But in the middle of a fight, getting angry is basically guaranteed. And that's the exact reason she can't control her power. He dodged her attack, then used the flat of his sword to literally send her flying. With a loud thud, Ruo's body got knocked back and she was just laid out on the ground. Seeing this totally shocked the other two. Ruo looked like she was getting pissed while he looked like he just had a eureka moment. Right then, his hands formed a magic circle as he was silently doing the math. He had spent the whole week with Ruo basically collecting little pieces of her emotions from when she was happy, relaxed, and quiet. Not the fake stuff, but her actual real-deal feelings. In his hand, he was holding those emotions. He then lunged forward to hit Ruo with her own happy thoughts, just silently thinking it would totally work. But yo, right, when his hand was about to make contact, Ruo just smacked it away. She bared her teeth and full-on tackled him, sending them both to the dirt. Yun was basically helpless, my dude. He could literally only watch as this girl Ruo went full beast mode and was about to slice him up with her claws. The other two were scrambling over, freaking out. But then out of nowhere, the little snake's chains just zipped around her arms, locking him down. Sides. And get this, Ruo was screaming her head off but couldn't bust out. Luckily, she snapped out of it and Yun was like *phew, crisis averted. Thank God that whole rage mode thing was short. But for real, do we have to do it like this? For real. It's hella dangerous every time they throw down. Something's definitely different. But what's the trigger? Then out of nowhere, she's all cutesy thank you, 'cause of you, she can go all out. Bro, that alone was a major level up. Forward. I'm so glad you're here. And my guy was pumped to help her, 'cause you know helping gets you the goods. But then Bam John pops up scaring the life out of Yuen, who's immediately we're just training, no funny business, I swear. She was just all chill about it though, and was I know, it's cool no one got wrecked. More importantly, everything was... And then she just stops, leaving everyone hanging. What is her deal today? Then she's just training's done for today. So the next day was the big one, tower time again. You are not gonna believe what goes down next, but you'll have to wait for the next part to get the tea.